want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Hello everyone, Funker here. I'll be walking you through the process of buying our special StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 items. The 5th edition of the National Team-based tournament will offer special in-game items and an exclusive t-shirt. Thanks to our partners, Matcherino and Blizzard, you'll be able to show your support for your country and the tournaments inside and outside of game. Here is how you do it. First, connect to matcherino.com/NW5. You will be warped into this page. Click on Sign in the top right and choose your preferred account to link to Matcherino. It can be your Battle.net, Facebook, Google, Twitch, or even Twitter accounts. Now, scroll down the page and select the package you want. In terms of in-game items, you can buy any of the 32 national portraits to represent the country you love, support, or wish you were born in. I see you, South Korean portrait buyers. These portraits are at $2.47, and 30% of this will go to increase the prize pool of Nation Wars 5. You can get as many portraits as you want, but if you are a true hardcore fan of Nation Wars, we got you covered. The complete bundle for StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 will cost you $18.59 and will offer the entirety of the 32 national portraits as well as the 4 emoticons and 3 sprays created for the tournament. All of those are designed by the talented Nicolas Chaussois. Once again, 30% of the price will go to the prize pool. Last but not least, if you want to represent StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5 in real life, like a boss, you can get your exclusive t-shirt designed by Nicolas Chaussois for $23.57. Once you selected the item you want, click on it. Select your region in the top right, the quantity you wish to acquire, add a contact email, type in the amount of money you need to pay for your items, and click on deposit. From there, you'll be able to use your PayPal account to add the required funds to your Matcherino profile. Once it's done, go back to the Matcherino page, check the tiny box to agree with the terms of service, and click on purchase. You made it! As the stretch goal will get closer, some surprises will be unlocked for you guys. Visit the main page of Nation Wars on Matcherino to check this out. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to visit the description section of the page. You'll find plenty of useful information about all the process of buying Nation Wars 5 items. Enjoy the StarCraft 2 Nation Wars 5!
Welcome back with us, and we are about to play the last series of this round of 16. I'm here with Funky Grub.
Wow.
See, it sounds good. I like it.
Yeah, Funky Grub.
The Funky Grub.
I like
That's
it.
pretty good.
You like it, Jess?
It's better than Zombica
Yeah. I agree.
by a large
Now
margin.
that you say it with your accent and everything, I like it as well.
with my accent.
Yeah.
What's your full ID, Funka? I think it's Funka.
It's Funkadelic.
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 I
Zombidelic.
have no idea.
Zombidelic sounds
Funkadelic.
fine.
Yeah, because Delic sounds good. And it's also a really great funk band if you guys don't know about it.
I would hope that they were a funk band.
Yeah, they are.
It'd be very
They are.
deceiving if they weren't.
Yeah. No, it's actually a heavy metal band, you know.
Okay, so now we're about to play the last series because there's only one spot left. I can remind you that 7 nations already qualified for the round
Can
of 8
you?
because we're going to have a group draw just after the series. So we have Italy, Mexico, Finland, and Netherlands as first seed of the group, and Norway, Korea, Brazil, and Germany or Sweden in seed 2. So how do you feel about this last series?
It's great memory. Good job. Good job. I
You're
like
asking me specifically. Supposed to be heartbroken,
Aw.
torn up.
Yeah,
Are you?
actually,
Gonna start
we have a
crying.
sad casters in France,
it's,
USA.
you know,
Yeah.
sad casters. You know.
The Sad Casters Club.
Yeah.
The thing is that this was a tough group for me to even like cheer just solely for USA for. You know, there's definitely a little bit of like, well, I have to. I mean, come on now, because the
have to.
Netherlands has, you know, one of my favorite Terran. If not my favorite Terran in the foreign scene for sure, Euthermal. And then Germany has my favorite Protoss probably. Like Neve is like second, and then Showtime is actually first. Well, of the foreigners again. 'Cause, you know, Hero can never be replaced. But
Aw.
anyways, so it was just always like, well, you know, we might be beat, but some of these remaining countries are just that amazing.
It was a really tough group, to be honest, and we said it at the beginning when we did the draw. It was supposed to be the group of death, and that's, well, if you have a group of death, then suddenly you've got a guy like Neeb that will go out in 4th place. That's just the way it is, you know, it can happen, and it happened definitely here. So the upset is Sweden being in this deciders match. So now, can they actually make it against Germany? It's going to be a rematch. I don't know, it's still up in the air, we said it before, and I think it didn't change. I mean, Germany did well, but they also didn't look as comfortable as they could have been against the USA. So I still think what happened yesterday could happen again today.
If they could have been comfortable at placing a couple more buildings down. Then they would have been very comfortable. 4-0 comfortable.
Drop a pylon, mate. No, yeah, he totally forgot about it, and we caught us by surprise.
All right, now let's take a look at the Swedish lineup. So Sorov is their captain, and he is with 2 other Zerg players, Namshur and Zenster.
Oh, I updated Namshur's photo.
Yeah.
He's in a fighting pose.
Slightly more badass photo on the side of
Ready to
Namshur.
fight.
I'm sorry, but he's just a face that just screams, "I'm a friendly guy." Like I just, it's not convincing.
you can't see him being a badass or an aggressive person.
No,
just a nice guy.
Just a super nice guy.
Imagine him with a mustache.
Yeah, with the mustache, make it.
That was just comically.
I
don't know.
I see. So who's the more badass then?
I gotta go with sort of, man.
Sort of?
I mean, that's a pretty good
What
picture.
about Zenster though?
He has kind of like that.
The punk style, you know?
Yeah, the
like
punk.
On that photo, yeah, but like when you see him in real life.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. When he,
Yeah, we get to see him yesterday in his prime. You know, just walking around, just
with
saying he has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So that just struck fear into my heart, you know.
But no, yeah, I guess the Swedish lineup doing pretty well for themselves this time, beating Germany yesterday in the deciders match today. They have to do it again, and they. Well, they showed that they could be, they could play almost any style of Zerg, and that's good considering they've got 3 of them. So they're quite, you know, they're quite fitting. All those 3, they have different style. They have different way of playing the Zerg race, which makes it a little bit tougher than if we had like, you know, total copycats of each other. We're all like, you know, Zerg that likes to play macro with Roach and High-Rise, for instance. No, it's not the case. Zenster showed he likes the Zergling way of playing the ZVP matchup, for instance. He likes those counterattacks. I think we've got considering they are all 3 of the same race, I like how diverse they can be.
Yeah, I was really impressed not just with their results against Germany, but also in the cohesion they almost had in doing so, you know? Like, it felt like sort of was doing just fine, like, and then he got maybe a surprise by the Nesrum not working, but then Zanster was right there to, you know, pick it up and have an amazing game, and then even Namshar was able to take it too. Like, they all seem to really help each other out, basically, and that's better than just one person performing very well and the next person getting, like, a cheese. Like, oh, I did my job. Like, no, everyone had a really great macro games.
Yeah.
And now they will have to face the German lineup.
Yeah, we know all about those guys, but we'll show you a little bit more in case you guys forgot about those players that we just saw a little bit before eliminating USA. So for now, I'd say, well, I'm a little bit sad that TLO is not there yet, right? Like, obviously, it's the last match. It's the deciders match, and I mentioned it when we interviewed him a little bit earlier. He clutched last year. 3-3 against Mexico in quarterfinals. He was able to get the win against Special. Showtime being, you know, quite stable, doing its job. And then Hero Marine was not having the best tournament, even though he's got great stats historically in the tournament. Well, now he did it. He got that win against Neeb. That's good. That avoids Showtime to go back into a PvP against Neeb. So that was good on him. But they need to wake up, and they need to wake up now, I think, those 2.
Well, I think that they've, you know, they're warmed up now. They have had a very nice showing, although TLO probably still wanting that victory against Neeb one of these days. But I do believe it'll be better. I know there's definitely some issues with these players. You know, now that we go into Sweden's lineup, you know, 2 of them are in Korea, and they have more issues with ping. Then, of course, versus Neeb on the East Coast, or they may even be playing on Europe. Neeb generally doesn't seem to care too often. So that is a huge issue. But I feel like even with that considering, you know, the big mistake I think that TLO and Hero Marine made in their games versus Sweden was missing +1 armor, which isn't so much a ping-related thing as it is maybe the just the results of being like stressed out because of the ping. And then Tilo has said in his interview, "Oh, I just I had a good position, and then I played kind of bad
autopilot.
after that." Yeah.
Autopilot. He said.
Yeah, autopilot is what he said exactly. So I feel like that's just not like the ping bothered me so much that I missed my bailing shot or something like that, right? So I really believe in this group.
Okay.
Yeah, there's just one thing I want to add. We talk a lot about the ping, the servers. On the Nation Wars website, you can find the rules, and we have an admin and the tournament director, of course. They make sure that it's the fairest possible. And the players agree before the game where to play on, and so no need to worry about this.
No, I guess it's important. It's important to actually mention it that it's also the case. Like we can't get all those teams, we can't get all those players to be at the same place at the same time, or else we couldn't have like 32 teams as we had at the beginning of the tournament. So obviously we need to play on different servers, but we make sure that it's the fairest possibility, the first server for every single game. I guess.
And that said, how about our predictions for this last series?
Everyone predicted. Oh, finally we have someone not predicting along with everyone else. Funka does believe in Sweden.
No, I'm going for the second upset, basically. I think I expected every single of you guys to say that Germany would take it, and I think you guys do think it's going to be quite close. Actually, you are the one that predicted 4-3. I think 4-3, the opposite way is still possible. I want to look cute by saying getting the unexpected prediction, and I think Sweden can do it. I do believe it might happen again.
I think Funka wants to help my score in these last 2 days.
Is it that bad?
Well, I had to vote for USA, and you guys didn't, so
we didn't today, but we
lost.
did yesterday. So you lost with us yesterday. We said USA against Sweden.
Really?
We all missed.
No,
yes.
it was USA versus Netherlands.
Oh yeah, USA versus Netherlands.
Yeah,
and I'm saying
everyone guessed Netherlands.
Yeah,
I've been alone. Okay, don't take away this pity party.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, can we check we will check the score, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah.
For all the round of 16.
Yeah.
Who do you think is winning right now?
I really haven't paid attention. I know I had a pretty good day 3 days ago and 4 days ago. Actually, I was doing pretty well, I believe.
I didn't check the results yet, so I would not be able to tell you. But I do agree that if you went for USA twice in a row, that doesn't look good for you.
I'm so sad because I was influenced twice because I was thinking about Chinese Taipei and these kind of countries, and then
And you missed your
I
prediction?
was trusting you. You're the pro. You're the talented casters here. Now I'll just follow my heart.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, so now we have the interview with our captains from Germany and Sweden. Oh, we have Zanster and Tielo.
Not a captain.
Yeah.
We
Hello.
actually have Zanster this time.
Yeah. We can't hear you.
No, Zanster. Tielo, we can hear you, but Zanster, we can't.
Yeah.
Maybe your microphone is muted. Anton?
Can you hear us?
Okay, he's trying to talk.
Okay.
He hears us, but
It's just
Oh, hello. Hello, Juan. Okay, well, while we're figuring out what's going on, so Dario, congratulations on your win against USA, and now you're going to play the deciders match against Sweden. So yesterday you lost against them. How do you feel right now? More confident?
Well, it's all going according to plan, isn't it? It's better to be second because then it's more likely, well, you're gonna dodge Korea in the round of 8, right?
Okay.
And also, considering the curse of the rematch, we also have a very good chance to win now. So this is perfect.
Nice.
Couldn't be better.
So you're dodging Korea.
Is it working now?
yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're dodging Korea, but what about the other teams that made first? Like, are you confident against any of those in the quarterfinals?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Even Finland?
Anybody is. Finland is tricky, but it's still in the end it's just a single player, and I guess we're just gonna have to grind several replays if we make it through and get Finland. You're gonna do the drawing after this, I assume.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So that gives us, a good night to try to figure out what Cyril is up to and how to counter him.
Okay. Sounds good. So now that we can hear Zanster, first of all, hi, how are you doing, man? You good?
Yeah, it's 4:30 a.m. here in Korea, but I'm doing pretty good.
Classic pro gamer schedule, you know?
Yeah, of course.
Easy peasy.
It's totally normal. So I guess we didn't really get to talk to the Swedish guys after their victory. We just went into their winners game. But did you expect to win over Germany? Do you agree that it was an upset? Do you think that today will be the exact same?
I think Germany is slightly favored, but not by as much as most people probably think. So I wasn't too surprised.
Okay.
So does that mean that today you guys will go into the best of 7, thinking that you can do it? You can do it again. You know, like I mean, the fact that you won the first game is making you feel comfortable about that second opposition against Germany.
Yeah, of course. Showtime felt somewhat beatable, and yeah, I think we can take Big Gabe and Dr. Dario as well. So yeah, should be fine.
Do you have any specific strategy? Have you been talking with Namshar as well to play against Germany?
I mean, we did most of our preparation for the last match, but the same information still kind of applies. So we have pretty good preparation, I think.
Nice. Do you want to say any last words to your opponent and your fans as well? Well, let's start with Cielo.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Well, I'd like to wish the team of my opponents very good luck on turn. So, just so you know.
Okay.
Thanks, Dario.
What about any German words or any Swedish words like to your fans back at home?
Well, danke für die Unterstützung und hoffentlich schaffen wir es wieder nach Paris.
I think I almost got that.
Jag tänker
Sorry. Go, Zinser.
Jag tänker bara nämna Darios namn här och Telos namn lite då, så han tror att jag snackar skit nu och gör honom lite nervös. Det kan redan se att det fungerar, men ja, vi ska göra vårt bästa. Jag hoppas att Namshar kan allkilla.
Bra.
Så, ja.
Namshar can all-kill? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Yeah, that's our game plan.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so who's your starting player, Zanster?
Sort of.
I don't know, not even.
So Sorov is coming up for Sweden, and what about Germany?
This time we're gonna be starting with Hero Marine.
Okay,
right,
so
nice.
Hero Marine and Sorov is gonna be on Abiogenesis. Good luck, guys, and maybe see you after the game. So Sorov, Swedish captain, is coming up, and
Yes.
Hero Marine said, right?
Yeah.
Hero Marine.
ZVT to start things off.
It's on Abiogenesis, so I
Yeah.
think that makes sense. I think, of course, TLO was sent out last time. It started on Abiogenesis, and then while it was a good hold, he admitted he went to autopilot. Maybe he doesn't want to play that stressful situation again. Where Terran, I think, even gets some advantages on this map versus Zerg, which it obviously would be since Sweden is all Zerg.
Okay, interesting. We'll see if the Zerg player tries to go aggressive or not. We've got the results of the votes. You can still vote, actually, in the chat. But for now,
Keep voting.
it's quite in favor of Deutschland.
That's what happened last time, though. Even as Sweden kept winning more games, the points still went up for Germany. So it's like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Just a lot of fan favorites there. And I think that there is still a lot of bias even against Zergs. Not necessarily balance-wise, but I'm thinking more like entertainment games-wise. They're like, oh, they're just going to give us more ZVZ. Like, oh, how the hell are these guys? But they've been giving us really exciting games.
Yeah.
So I think they deserve more credit for multiple reasons.
It's going to be a tough game, that's for sure. And, if they manage to do it twice, like if they beat Germany twice, considering it was a top 4 nation in the last season of Nation Wars, well, it will confirm all the good that we think of those players on the Swedish lineup that really did... got better during this year and are showing a lot more this year in the WCS system or even in Korea qualifying for GSL.
So do you think like practicing in Korea helped them that much?
I think that it almost never doesn't help, but it isn't a question of like how long does it take and how long do they really spend there? Because if you go there for 2 months and then expect to be winning all the WCSs 2 months after and you never kept up the same training regimen, then why would you ever put those together, right? But if you go there for 4 months or maybe 2 months, then 2 months again later, you keep the due diligence with the practice regimen. I think that it's proved very effective for all the foreigners that have
Yeah,
gone there.
yeah, no, definitely. I always think that when they go back, right after a trip to Korea, when they go back in their first WCS events, usually we're like a little bit disappointed because it's tough, you know, to go back to something else and go and train on against different players and, you know, go in a different environment, go back into like a proper tournament setup. So usually we're a little bit disappointed at first, but then we see how good it is for their career in like, well, if you look ahead of time, right? Like they will get better eventually because of that training.
It's always really harsh, I think, because people, ever since like 2010, you know, when Idra went back to Korea, they expected him to go there and then come back and immediately win everything. And he said, you know, he appreciated his time there. He thought he got better, but it's not a magic tool, you know? Like, it just doesn't instantly make you the greatest person on earth.
Yeah, we had a funny discussion in Katowice with the foreigner players, and we were wondering why is it good to practice there? And obviously it's because on the ladder is different, like the general level, like in the pro level is better. And I started thinking like, okay, so the problem is we need a server actually. If we could have a server in the middle of Earth, it would solve the problem of the ping, because the problem, like a player in America can't play normally, it's just because of the ping. Like we did a lot of calculus with all the speed of light and stuff. And if we could make a server, I'm an engineer. Like,
that's the reason. I can see it
with
now.
the ping and considering the speed of light is like the fastest we can do with the kind of internet connection. If we could build a server strong enough to resist the temperature in the middle of the Earth, and of course if you could
Okay, at the center, at the core, you mean at the, at the core, right?
But we need to find the perfect place, you know, to have the best ping for all around the world, and so that every player on Earth can play with the best players. That'd be awesome.
That'd be amazing.
We should tweet Elon Musk, please build.
This is #1 priority, man.
Yeah, of course. Going to Mars? No, I'm not sure about that. But yes, make it in a first server for everybody on the planet to play with each other. Well, I mean, it's beautiful to think about, and it will also be quite helpful. Helpful for us with Nation Wars as well.
Yeah, it would.
Yes. Okay, so now you're ready for the first game, and it's going to be start off against Hero Marine and Abiogenesis.
I can't believe this best of 7 is starting with such a weird map. It's going to be Abiogenesis in a TVZ. So, Jess, you said that you kind of think it's a decent map for Terran. Like, is there? Do you care to elaborate?
Well, so basically, unless you die to something early on, like Road Ravager all in, which in a way it's almost too obvious. So it's maybe that's not even good. Then you have a very small map to easily rally across, and then you get to push very hard with tank pushes. And there's a couple of specific chokes and just setups you can do as well, which I guess we'll elaborate on later. But just as for instance, you know, the U-Thermal versus Neeb game kind of abused a couple of those spots. But okay, let's do the introductions. In the bottom right, for game #1 between these two countries, it is the red Terran for Germany, Hero Marine.
And in the top left, his opponent for Sweden, he is sort of the blue Zerg.
Now, I do think the one downside to this map for Terran is that eventually, when they don't die to a couple of the first tank pushes, maybe they get to even like Blinding Clouds, you know, like a fairly late game, is that, man, this map is small, so they respond to things fairly quickly. It feels like you can't drop them too much, but it's kind of made up for the fact that you do just get to push really, really hard. So
yeah, well, obviously you don't want to play a passive game as a Terran on this one, because also at the same time, of course, we're looking at a really tiny map, so crossing it will be quite fast. But at the same time, I also feel like you can see most of this map being covered in creep in super fast. So it might be another problem on the side of Terran, but I agree there's a lot of positioning that you can abuse with tanks, and we'll see if Big Gabe here, Hero Marine, will be able to exploit that as he goes for a CC on the high ground, respects how hard this map can be in defending those all-ins. I don't think he went for an SCV scout, so quite the greedy version, went for a gas first Marine into factory, into CC, into a factory. And without any scout, he has to, take that defensive stance because he doesn't really know what's coming his way.
That is pretty interesting to see. I feel like it's always better to SCV scout than it is to take the high ground command center. Because, okay, you successfully deny any 2, 4, 6, 8 fast speed Ling shenanigans. Like, that's an instant denial, and they just screwed up. But you don't get to see if it is something a little more all-in-y, right? Like a Roach Ravager rush or or well, a two-base bailing bus, I suppose.
Yeah.
Who does that, right? But I guess I see more of why he considers this still a very safe option or a preferable option as he goes into 2 Cyclones immediately. They're just not very likely, again, that a 2-base bailing bus would happen, and that's maybe what the Cyclones are weak to. It's a lot more likely that these would help against Roaches making their way across the map right now.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he's basically blind countering a potential Roach Ravager without, deciding to scout it with those early 2 Cyclones. But as you said, wow, that's an awfully early armory. So we should see a timing with Cyclones and Hellbats at some point on the side of Hero Marine. I like it on this map. I also like the strategy in itself in general, but I think it's a really good strategy on this map, obviously, because of how short it is. And if sort of tries to go for too early of a 3rd base, he might get punished for it.
This is crazy. You don't really see very fast armories anyways anymore, but much less with 2 Cyclones started first and foremost. So this is going to be very interesting. It's a very low amount of units, but now you have these 2 tanky machines that can help against the Queens, which are really the backbone to such an early defense. It's incredibly unlikely they have a Bailey Nest or a Roach Warren at this point in time. No. So we'll see how this goes. I mean, sort of does not realize this would happen. I mean, he's so probably enthralled in that he already got the CC on the high ground. Probably thought this was going to be a great game for him, and now it's a little scary.
Yeah, it's going to be 4 Hellbats, 2 Cyclones. For now, Hero Marine pulls back a little. Maybe he thinks that most of the Zerglings have already been produced, but at least we have a Roach Warren, so that's a lot of money that were invested in defending that potential timing. That's not really coming. He went back, goes back to defend, actually going to pull the barracks away. Oh, lost the lock on this one, but that overload is still totally dead. He will get taken out now, but sort of also sees that our Terran player went back, so now goes back to droning, goes in, queues up 4 overlords, which is a lot.
Yeah, it almost feels like he's going to actually Roach Rush because of how many overloads he made. You always typically see that that supply buffer, because Roaches are very supply intensive before you see a big Roach swell. But that would be, I think, the wrong call. Yeah, no, I'm going to go with that. I think it's a wrong call.
Yeah.
2 Cyclones are already out. He knew that, but he's probably guessing there's like a 3rd CC or something behind this, like something super like greedy behind aggression. But there's 2 more Cyclones, and there's going to be a Banshee. So unless he's planning on also bringing the Queens across the map, which I guess is possible on here, it would be difficult to really ensure this did a lot of damage.
Yeah, he still keeps on producing out of this factory. So two other Cyclones are being added into this army. Those Hellbats. I don't think he wants to take that fight. Hero Marine doesn't really realize that there's that many Roaches. But at the same time, Banshee with Cloak will deal a lot of damage to the natural, as we've got some Zerglings that wait for the counter attack. That will kill some SCVs as well. But I think at this game, that Banshee without any detection available yet on the natural is going to deal way more damage.
This game is just a whole mixture of just unexpected builds, and you really think it's going to be from the Zerg on such a small map in the first 6 minutes of the game, but it's from the Terran. So now sort of is moving across the map with this, but the Cyclones still live. The Banshee is still there. He's not really finding the awkward time where sometimes those Banshees don't see this at all and aren't at home. So I still feel like Hero Marine is going to take the potentially better trade, but here come the Queens.
Okay, you will have some anti-air at some point, but those Queens, they are super late to the party. Now there's no Cloak available on that first Banshee, so this one will take some damage from the Queens. But for now, the micro from Hero Marine is actually quite perfect, not eating any balls on those Cyclones. As I said, the Hellbat dies to it, but that's most of the army that's actually gonna get pushed back already.
I mean, it's killing a lot of SCVs, but is this really enough with a 3rd CC already on the way, and now I guess it's done? I mean, he brought the Queen to this too, knowing that there was a cloaked Banshee, but probably already feeling like he committed so much to it. He's not even going to get all these weak Cyclones, only grabs the 1, and now 3 Banshees still live. A 3rd CC is done for Hero Marine, and sort of late to his upgrades, late to, any sort of Baneling defense, just going back into Roaches.
Is he going to go for it again? I mean, we have a lot of Zerglings on the map. Might be useful for a counterattack, but we see more Roaches, so still the main problem in this army is that you don't have any reliable anti-air, and those Banshees, they rule the sky, and Hero Marine, he knows it, he keeps on producing those. We've got 4 in the air right now.
It's a little tricky being only on Cyclones if they do also make a huge Ling swell. So it was like I see how many Lings that are waiting there, and it's a little scary. But Hellions now are on the way. Queens are found by the Banshees, and even though they have Overseers, there's just not enough of them to tackle 3 at a time.
Yeah, and at the same time, sort of did try for that counterattack with the Zerglings, and he was pushed back quite easily by most of the units that were remaining on the side of Hero Marine. That's 3 drones that is already down. 2 Queens were taken out, and this base, even the hatchery, is quite exposed here against those 4 Banshees.
Yeah.
He might want to go for that cute Ravager that doesn't have that much HP. There's not even a Spore here.
This is a beautiful sight for Hero Marine, though, isn't it? Not just there's no Spore Crawler, but there's just no drones. Like, that's already good enough. Not to kill him anymore if there's none there. And this is just a terrible game now for Sort of, who really, he can't do very much. Even with the shortness of the map, there's no possibility for a counter or desperate push because the Banshees are controlling it. So what do you even do?
What do you even do? There's a lot of Hellions, a lot of Cyclones back in defense. Sort of can't really get some damage done with that counterattack. Ravager a little bit out of position, will get one-shotted. The Queen will fall after that. Nice split from Hero Marine. Not going to take any corrosive bile to the face. Still losing some drone, and Sort of is slowly dying to that opening. Cute opening from Hero Marine. Quite technical as well, but just worked out perfectly in the end.
I guess you sort of, got a Banshee and even got damage on the one with the corrosive bile, but now here comes the rest of the army, I guess. He doesn't have too many tanks. It is just the Hellbats and Cyclones here, but with the help of the Banshees, it should be enough. Sort of is not going to get such a great start like he did last time.
Yeah, not going to start with a bang, and it's going to be a German victory to start things off as 2 tanks are rolling down here onto the natural of our Zerg player, and the last anti-air will get taken out. GG is called, and Hero Marine takes game 1.
What a weird game, though.
It was a really weird game.
It was almost like you don't expect Hero Marine, I think, to have like the drunken master style of fighting, but that was really weird. He did the early push and then decided, no, never mind, not so much. Then he continued building Cyclones when most people would have transferred over to Hellions, and I'm pretty sure Sort of was expecting a very different game. It was all in, just wasn't going to work against a style like that. Not if you continue building Cyclones. If it was only Hellions here, then it's still like enough damage perhaps to warrant it, although the Banshees would have been trouble.
Yeah.
But with Cyclones, I don't even think it ever was really, truly close.
It's interesting that this game was such an aggressive one, and at the same time, well, he was able to squeeze out some delayed Banshee with Cloak, and that just caught Sort of quite bad, actually.
Yeah.
Lost 10 drones, I think, on the first harassment by those Banshees, and then it pushed Sort of into that kind of, aggressive tactic with massive amounts of roaches and Ravagers, but the Queens, they were a little late. There were only 3, and Hero Marine didn't go the greedy way. He just kept on producing those Banshees, and it was obviously the right call on the side of the German player.
Yeah, it was a fantastic call. I don't expect the games like this from Hero Marine. I feel like the other Zergs here for Sweden should feel like that is just an abiogenesis weird game, and almost like kind of scratch that one off and just be like, well, sort of that sucks that you're the one that died to that, but I don't know if we would have done like too much better. I guess it's arguable that they would have gone for the Roach all-in, which would have put them in a better position, but it still would have been quite the shocker of a game. And then you go into mech after that. And
yeah, there's not that much to take out from this game, strategically speaking, for the rest of the Zerg of the Swedish lineup. But it's still like one early point for Germany, which is quite good for them in the best of 7. They have to do better than yesterday. They were defeated back then, and now they've got a second chance, and it already starts way better. I mean, Hero Marine was close enough to get that TVZ. It was on Blackpink, I think, yesterday.
Yes.
Really intense map, a really intense game. But he did lose it in the end, and it started with 0-2. So this time starts way better. We expect the second Swedish player to be
a Zerg player.
A Zerg player. Namchar.
Okay, cool. I didn't really check what the second map was, but I feel like someone had to be almost sacrificed for that.
On abiogenesis?
If they knew it was going to be a Terran also being thrown out, but there was that high chance that it was either a ZVZ again, in which sort of would have felt very confident, or it was a PVZ, which just would have been, insane from Germany to Showtime.
I think they knew Showtime wouldn't be the first player, and then it was just a matter of, do we send out TLO again, or do we have a Hero Marine that has a proper build on this map? And they said yesterday they were. They said today that they weren't super happy with the way they planned out the maps and the order of the players yesterday, the German players. So now, I guess they're actually right. They did it better this time. They opened with Hero Marine. He gets that game. And now I think second map is Catalyst, which is also quite decent, I feel, for Hero Marine.
Sure, yeah. It's really hard to say that there's non-decent Terran maps in this matchup,
you're right,
to be honest. But I think abiogenesis is always one of those, like, who feels comfortable regardless of what race you're facing, and then also what race are you facing. So it almost always seems like you can just kind of throw that one away. But that was still so cool, and sort of try to make the best out of a bad situation that I don't want to throw it away, but I feel like for the sanity of a Swedish team who had such a strong start last time they faced Germany, now maybe they should just be like, no one cares about abiogenesis. Let's just forget that.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. And, even sort of can still play if they do decide to revive him. I think last time it was Namshar in their game against the Netherlands, but could be a different story today. But we're not here yet. It's only 1-0 in favor of Germany, but a way better start for our friends from Deutschland. Catalyst will be the second map in this TVZ. We will see nothing but VZ matchup today, as we have 3 Zergs on the side of Sweden. What do we expect from Hero Marine on this one? Do we see mech? Do we see bio?
I think so, and I don't. I guess I'll elaborate more after we do the introductions because it's not just the map here. So let's do it. Game number 2. This guy already has 1 win under his belt for Germany. It is the Red Terran, Hero Marine.
And in the bottom right, his opponent from Sweden, the blue Zerg player, has to make it 1-1. He is Namshar.
So, yesterday on Blackpink, it was kind of a surprise in general that Hero Marine was pushing so hard in that mid game. I was also surprised that he forgot +1 armor. But, at the time, I was like, well, this guy can do anything he wants, and I think he'll do quite well with it. But considering that he does sometimes have issues with the cross-server lag, it is now, in retrospect, kind of shocking that he chose to do something so mid-game oriented, so timing-oriented, so control-oriented. I feel like mech is going to be a bit safer of an option for this particular experience. And I think Hero Marine also has fantastic mech, so it also could be just, well, time to bring this out instead on some of these good maps.
Yeah, what do you think? Like, what do you think is the best approach here in TVZ for this map particularly? Do you think bio is just worse than mech on a Catalyst? My mind is not made up, actually. I'm just wondering.
Right, yeah. It's like really hard to say because I also consider Blackpink a better mech map than some others. So I'm still out of, like, I'm just going to admit I'm wrong one day, or I'm going to stick to it. I think Catalyst is a good mech map, too. There's only a couple where I really prefer bio, to be honest.
Okay.
One of them being Eastwatch, the strong pushes, and Acid Plant, with the strong mobile tank pushes combined with drops. I think Catalyst is such a straightforward map that while you could just do a rally push of 2 tanks like we saw from Kelazur, that's a strong one in this map, and that's totally fine. You get a stronger, more direct push a bit later on with mech, and you don't have to worry about being countered. And I don't know. I think I like it personally, but we'll see what Hero Marine does.
Okay, for now, quite the standard opening, but still the second refinery will get picked up by Hero Marine, so the transition into the starport is quite anticipated. We'll see what he decides to go for. Banshees worked horrendously in that last game, but I don't think we can take anything from this one, as it is a different start, obviously, for Namshar that goes for a 230 third hatchery, not going to go for something quite as aggressive as we've seen on abiogenesis. The Reaper is not getting any damage done for now, just a couple of Zerglings that were bruised a little bit. And now Hero Marine can't really intercept that drone that went for the third base. It's already down there. Even the Creep Tumor is going to be tough as the Reaper is not full life. Yeah, that was super greedy. There you go. He was punished for it.
Not quite worth it. You do want to get later scout after the third base, but the Hellions do the trick on that one, technically. So I guess we talked a lot about what Hero Marine and Terran can do in this map. We didn't really talk about what Namshar can do. Honestly, I'm a little in the dark about what his playstyle is currently versus Terran. We had such an updated view of Namshar yesterday when he was able to take out Showtime finally, right? And it was actually very clean, very current meta of ZVP. Maybe for his lurkers a little bit more than some other people, but I don't know what he's doing in ZVT, and I still stick to that. I feel like he is one of the older styles of playing. He sometimes just relies on roaches so much, and roaches I feel almost make it an easier game. But if it is going to be mech from Hero Marine, then that is obviously the better option. We'll see.
Okay, we see 4 Hellions into 2 Cyclones. We'll see what indeed Namshar decides to go for. Maybe an earlier game plan, as you said, maybe a roach pressure from the side of the Swedish player, or the more standard Hydra Bane, more how do you say, well-rounded composition against mech.
Yeah.
Can go a little bit further down the line because, as you said, if you go for roaches in the early game, you need to make them worth it, right? If you just throw them away and you don't go for something a little bit later down the line in the game, well, you'll have a problem against the Terran that will have mech, that will have some upgrades already down with the Armory quite early in this game. So we should see that Cyclone Hellbat timing, followed by Banshee a little bit later. Once again, quite the late Banshee transition.
I mean, he didn't commit to this last game, and it was so much earlier. I feel like you would have to, and I don't know if he's going to commit to this one either. Namshar is already preparing for something by building a ton of lings. He only has queens and lings, though, nothing easy peasy like roaches or banelings. And these two Cyclones do provide quite the punch. It looks like Heromarine is going to commit a little bit more here.
Yeah, he didn't go for it, yes, the previous game, but there's a lot of queens on the side of Namshar. Not that many transfuses available, but they're kiting, and they're kiting pretty well at the moment, so no real damage inflicted on Namshar at the moment. The transfuses, they go down. They were used quite properly. For now, the Zerglings, they don't really want to take that fight. They get roasted, though, by going closer to the Hellbats right there. Nice defense from Namshar. I mean, didn't overproduce in units, defended with only minerals, which is quite important. Did go for a spine crawler that he could maybe cancel.
I was going to say, he's adding on queens as if he expected to lose some.
Yep.
Because it's already so many, right? I think he canceled one to get the lair, and that makes more sense, as that was a little bit delayed to compensate for the push. No Spore Coil was put down, but this is a cloakless Banshee, so its time is quite limited.
Luckily for Namshar, imagine if this one had Cloak. I mean, no lairs, once again, no Spore. Heromarine on the left side tries to get some more damage done, but still the Queen, they hold the front quite well. Didn't lose that much on the side of Heromarine, but Namshar might feel quite comfortable right here. We've got a lot of Zerglings that are going to go for a counterattack. That wall should be enough to hold them. But double upgrade already started on the side of Namshar. The Spine Crawler will get transfused. Can he keep it alive? That's a lot of energy for just a Spine Crawler, though.
Oh, Liberator's going to catch a Queen. Namshar
nice.
is really being tested here as he finally pulls the drones. He's still going to lose quite a few, and he can't really respond to it with the Queens from the front line. So, okay, he does bring one from the front line. But that's some really clever just poking and prodding from Heromarine. He's also going to maybe take care of these Hellions, or Lings. Yeah, 2 more Hellions on the way.
Perfect micro on the side of Heromarine here, not even losing a single Hellion. I liked it for him. Those 6 extra drones, even a Roach, I think, died to it, and the Queen on the natural was taken out. So everything going Heromarine's way in this beginning of the game with like nice harassment, not losing that many units. I believe that the army, yes, was brought home. He didn't lose that much. I mean, a couple of Hellions, 9 Hellbats, and that's about it.
Yeah, if Namshar had a Roach Warren already ready to go, and I think he trickles in Roaches instead of just building more Lings, and that's probably Heromarine is giving up on this push. But with the combination of Lings floating into the Hellbats and Queens never quite being able to kill them, it just is like so tempting to keep them there, and it worked out so well. And now Heromarine, with that, has the upgrade already done for him. He has a 3rd CC already kind of getting saturated with the gases without fear of being attacked. And now he has further harassment to do with double Thor drops. And if he goes right to the 4th, that can sometimes be a free kill. But the army's fairly close, so I don't think that'll be the case.
Yeah, I don't think the drop might get scouted before it actually happens, but it's been expected quite well by Namshar that already has the units in place. The 3 Queens will make it tougher for those Medivacs to do whatever they want. 1 Queen will fall, but now you have to evacuate too many Roaches for those stores to deal enough damage.
Why is he getting...
Double eBay?
That must be a mistake.
Fake mech? I love that build, though. It was so good.
Yeah. The people who try and make bio to mech and mech to bio work, you're the real heroes.
Yeah, they are the heroes, definitely. Now I forgot about that eBay.
I think so. That's only a little awkward. It's gas you're worrying about currently, but money will be an issue a little later on. Namshar is already on his way up to Hive. He had a bit of a blip dealing with that Hellbat attack, but I think he did lose some of the pacing. You know, his lair maybe was a little bit late, and he got lost a couple of drones, but he's more than made up for it now with slapping like everything down almost at once. Did miss the Spire timing that was so perfect with Hive, but now he's getting that too.
Yeah, and the Spire is already done, which means some Vipers will be part of this army. Super important when you're facing mech, and especially with tank-heavy composition. which is not already the case, but we're seeing a lot of tanks being added on right now, as Hero Marine already has a couple of them. 6 actually, a lot of Hellbats as well. Vikings, and I like it. It's important. It is a pivotal point in Terran mech armies to have a little bit of units to control those Vipers and maybe kill them if they do go for an Abduct or a Blinding Cloud. So Hero Marine has got a pretty decent timing here. He's actually maxed out, or almost maxed out, with 123 supply. Quite tank heavy. He still kept his 2 Thors alive.
That was a lot of creeps already has to clean up. So I like that Namshar forced him to siege there and took a couple of Hellions with him. Oh, these Hellbats transforming, it's so much easier to not have to pay attention to them. But if they were Hellions, they probably would have gotten a lot more.
Yep. And I think, though, that Namshar was trying to figure out what was happening in his main, so he didn't micro properly that last fight. Gave out a lot of Roaches and Hydras for free, and now the Viper is just not here. So yes, there is a massive amount of creep. It is quite dangerous for Hero Marine to fight here, but the tank split is pristine. It's magnificent. And those Hellbats, they have nothing to defend against those. The Vipers, they will come in. First, Blinding Cloud will connect with 3, 4, 5 tanks, but that's still a lot that can shoot. And this is such an awkward fight for Namshar. That's getting demolished for now. No, enough Hydralists to get all of tanks out. That's good. He will defend, but he lost a lot of economy in the process.
You know, once he pushed back the Hellbats, that's when things looked really grim, as the Blinding Cloud was still in effect for 2 seconds more. I feel like Blinding Cloud doesn't hit as many tanks, or there's 10 more Hellbats still alive, and that's Namshar being just utterly demolished, you know? He was kind of balled up. But it is what it is, and Namshar holds. He had 2-2 at the time, I think, as well, and just there wasn't even Blue Flame, which might have been able to help out against the Hydras.
Exactly. I think this is a really important upgrade when you're facing against that many Hydralists, that your Hellbats do way better against those Hydras if they try to go and get close to those tanks. So nice fights in the end from Namshar, who doesn't miss a bit. Now we'll start his 3-3 upgrades on Hydralisk, on Roaches. Will make a lot of difference, especially on Hydras. They will pack a punch. Quite bad. Now we've got 5 bases for Namshar, as Hero Marine is taking it 4th. It was quite a late 4th, I should say.
Yeah.
He could have planted it while he was pushing, but he was giving a lot of attention to that push, and just waited a couple more minutes.
It's always hard to get the 4th base perfectly with that push, because you are trying to pay attention to see if they have Vipers and trying to split, maybe trying to clear up creep as well. And that creep is still a serious issue. I brought it up briefly when Hero Marine was cleaning it up, but then he decided I got to go, so I'm not going to start cleaning it up. And now it just encompasses the entire map. Hellion run-bys are going to get more and more difficult, as he'll see them just from across the ways. And Hero Marine now has to worry about what he's going to do against a Greater Spire.
Yeah. I don't think he knows yet, but
don't think so.
Yeah, he might anticipate it. And once again, nice positioning. There was a Roach that gave the information that his Hellbats run by was happening. So the base on the right side is for now quite well defended. And you're right. We're looking at more than 50% of this map covered in creep. And even though we're looking at a Terran mech army, which basically doesn't really have that much problem with creep, it's not as bad as if it was playing bio. It's still a major issue in terms of vision.
This is very dangerous from Hero Marine. He must even realize that that's just going to be a very good Blinding Cloud if it hits.
Yeah.
I kind of wish Hero Marine had a couple of Medivacs in here. And I also am hoping that he adds on something a little bit stronger against the upcoming Broodlords. But he's really trying to make this push work. He grabs one Viper. No, it still got the Blinding Cloud off.
Okay, only one Blinding Cloud. The second one will be used. The third one, and that's most of the tanks that cannot shoot. The first one will expire. But he's so Hydra heavy. And tanks, they don't deal that many damage against Hydras. And he will push this army back once again, as he's got the Broodlord transition almost ready to go. We see 10 Corruptors in the production tab. Let's see if he can defend that 4th base, that planetary. Namshar is not going to even try it, but maybe with +3 attack he can do it.
Yeah, that's a very good army supply to look at for Namshar, but he could also just wait for the Broodlords and still have a very good shot here.
Yeah.
A guy like him at such a high level is not going to make the mistake of overestimating his position and letting a couple of Thors kill a bunch of Broodlords. I feel like Hero Marine, every time he's engaged, he has lost the Hellbats just a little too quick, or they weren't Hellbats, they were Hellions, and they got picked off. And then his tanks just don't have anything buffering so they can get those multiple shots off. It's all come down to a fairly poor position for Hero Marine, as he is now facing Broodlords without any Thors, with only a handful of Vikings.
Yeah, he's got 4 Vikings left.
Yeah.
It's not a good number, and I do think that Hero Marine has no clue at the moment. Not building that many Vikings. Okay, now he knows, and he starts 2 Thors right away, but that's not a good sight when you're a Terran that is actually in trouble to get a 5th base. It is quite tough for him. He will try to take it now, but it's a little later than expected.
Uh-oh.
And we already have Roaches and Hydras with +3 attack that are making their way there.
Yeah, there's no... Oh, well, the Sensor just got up, but I wouldn't have seen this anyways. That is an instant kill on the 5th, which he absolutely needed, and it's not any small feat to remake that. He's not banking minerals.
Yep. Let's see if those Hellions can take care of most of the Hydralisks. They might have a pretty decent line of fire.
I don't think it's a fair
It's still
trade,
going to cost you a lot of Hellions, and at this moment in the game, Namshar can afford losing a couple of units. Hero Marine cannot.
Yeah. It almost seems like he's overestimating Blue Flame Hellions sometimes. Like, they're very, very good, but I don't know if they take on 30 Hydras. Even the Roaches giving them a tough time as they get to the last hits on some of the weak ones. Nicely done. Namshar rounding out his Broodlord composition with a couple more, +1 Carapace, and now Corruptors to make sure he doesn't do something silly like walk them into a concave of Vikings.
Okay. 5 Thors are about to pop, though.
That's a good number.
It's
still
number.
very tricky, though. Like, the Broodlings rain down your Thors, your tanks kill them more than the Broodlings do, especially if you have armor, which Hero Marine does have, what, +2?
+2.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, +2. So the Broodlings really wouldn't, like, absolutely kill them. They don't have any of their upgrades, but those tanks would, and controlling that engagement is so difficult. In fact, Amper's even going to have creep whenever he engages. That's crazy.
It's a sick creep spread on the side of Namshar. It's going to help him that super much here. The Spores, they have to relocate for a moment as the Terran army is trying to push down the map. Now he scans, knows the position of those Broodlords, will get a free shot, free volley on those Broodlords. Might take out 1 or 2. Namshar slow to answer, slow to respond here. The Thors, they're actually demolishing most of the Corruptors. That's not a good fight at all from Namshar. Namshar is messing that up quite bad. I can't believe. I
can't believe this is happening either, and the tanks aren't doing it at the friendly fire course because they're just pushing. The Hellbats didn't provide enough cover for them. The Thors, without having to worry about that, do need just to worry now about getting into range of the Broodlords. A couple more Vikings come out, and this could be very bad for Namshar, who is very gas-starved currently.
What an amazing fight from Hero Marine. I just can't believe it. Looked like the composition was just not good enough on the side of Hero Marine, but the way he approached this fight was quite great, and I think just Namshar didn't expect Hero Marine to go straight through his throat like this, and well, might lose another Broodlord. The Transfuse, this is their rain down, but now the Broodlings, they're doing their job. Yeah,
they're stopping the Thors from getting too close, but they're also they are demolishing the Thors because there's no Hellbats at the front to help them here.
Exactly. He needs some more Hellbats. He's losing so many Thors. The Corruptors, they don't have anything to do. Finally, the tanks will siege to take care of all those Hydralisks. He will target them down. He needs to because the Broodlings will rain down, but certainly the Broodlords, they do their job, and he will GG tap out of this game 1-1 between Germany and Sweden. But whew, it was a close one. I mean, Hero Marine doesn't have a 5th. He gets like literally crushed every time he tried to attack, and then suddenly he doesn't have the proper army and yet gets a super engagement for himself.
He did get a very good engagement. So the first time we see Zerg players just accidentally leave their Broodlords alone against a surprising number of Vikings. I wonder what would have happened had he had a 5th base, because maybe then he is rallying forward Hellions too. I didn't see how like mineral starved he was, but if he has a row of Hellbats on top of the Thors for that second Thor engagement, and he sieges his tanks a little bit earlier and focus fires on the Hydras, I wonder if that would have continued his role, because Namshar was probably feeling, he's starting to sweat a little bit. Without that gas bank, he was like, wait, can I replace this army?
Yeah, it was a tough one. I just didn't expect that fight to go this way, but Namshar held his own in the end and was able to take down Hero Marine after a pretty aggressive mech style coming out from the German player. He will drop this map, he will lose it and push Sweden, now tied 1-1 against Germany. I'm just wondering why he didn't go for the. I don't know the English name of the upgrade. The fast Hellbat transformation servos. They're so good though against Broodlords. Like
it is. But he was
Broodlords or Swarm Hosts.
Yeah, he probably just didn't think of it. He was late to the Blue Flame a little bit, and then after this fight, it probably felt a little bit desperate for him. This other fight didn't go so well once the Hellbats were mostly taken care of, and just how big the concave was. Like, the Catalyst is such a tricky map. It's Trickster, right? You see this choke and you're like, this looks beautiful for tanks. And then you're like, wait, no. When the tanks push through, it's terrible for them.
see how it started. I mean, 2 Broodlords, they die for free. I think a third one will fall. So he goes for the parasitic bomb with some decent splits on the side of Hero Marine.
And that one Viking killed 4 Vikings.
4 Broodlords. And then
no, I meant 4 Vikings
sorry,
with the parasitic bomb. Yeah.
Sorry. But then the Thor, they were able to get close enough to target down those Broodlords. And
Hero Marine, he was banking enough to remake the Hellions, but I mean, even if he had a wall of Hellbats there, that's still kind of a questionable engagement. But man, I do wonder though.
With some Hellions, maybe early siege.
I feel like 10 Hellbats all in front of there, tanking, and maybe there's like a couple medevacs too, and the tanks siege earlier and target fire. That was so key.
I mean,
there might have been a continued push.
The instant the Hydralisks die, when he sieges the tank, suddenly like the units, they don't die as fast, right? Like we had 3 Hydralisks, and we couldn't see it properly, but it was almost like maybe 20, 25 Hydras on the ground that were raining down on those tanks, those stores. I think an earlier siege and a couple of Hellions, and maybe we're looking at a Deutsche victory here. German victory.
There you go.
So Namshar evens up the score for Sweden after a game with a lot of back and forth, some messy fights from both sides, and now Germany has to send a new player against Namshar.
Give us the map and maybe we can make a proper
Neon
prediction.
Violet.
Yeah, you sent Showtime?
Yeah, Showtime.
Yeah.
I think.
Showtime. And yesterday, Hearthstone all killed Sweden, so maybe now they're prepared against Protoss, and it's going to be Showtime.
Well, I just had to say TLO to make sure that right, you know what I mean?
People know that you meant Showtime. It's just you didn't want to jinx it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do understand.
Okay.
Good job. I think great map, obviously, for Showtime. Has to take at least one map. Maybe you can make it 2. Maybe you can just finish the game right away. But yeah, they're sending Showtime. He's got a decent map to play that PVZ on. I think it's time for Germany to take the lead here.
Time for Showtime to show that his PVZ is still really, really good. He slipped a little bit. He slipped twice, right, against Germany or against Sweden last time. But I feel like that only happens every once in a while. He'll have a greater shot here, now helped up by his teammate.
Yeah.
All right, so this is the last series, let me remind you, in Germany against Sweden. And the next game is going to be on Neon Violet between Showtime and Namshar. Stay with us and see you after the break. Hello, welcome back with us. We are live from your gaming studios in Paris, and now I'm joined by Rotterdam and Funka.
Yeah, we needed to add a Protoss expert to this amazing game that's coming up with Showtime. It's Namshar. What do we think? Like, what's happening here?
I mean,
Sweden, can they make it twice?
I mean, if Namshar gets another victory over Showtime here, then I think we're starting a little bit of a streak. I mean, then it's actually all right. Now it's getting dangerous. I'm not exactly sure what to expect. I mean, yesterday we did see Hearthstone kind of just dismantle the Swedish lineup in PvZ, and Showtime is obviously not worse than Hearthstone. You can never make a valid point for him still being better than Hearthstone, of course. Curious to see if he takes some notes out of Hearthstone's play as well, and if you can also see him go up to 3 bases at 3 minutes and 40 seconds if he has a pocket, and 4 bases at 5 minutes and 20 seconds, because, I mean, that was pretty mental.
Now we have some tweets coming up.
What's the name of that guy again with that
Mapu.
kick?
What's his name?
It's
Mortal Kombat, but I can't remember his name.
I remember the sound when you used to make the kicks like...
Liu Kang, apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
I will not keep calm because it's time for revenge.
Okay, Borsty. I hope he doesn't do anything stupid if Germany actually loses this game.
I honestly feel like we should just rename this instead of tweets from everyone. Let's rename it to the Borsty segment.
Borsty segment.
Borsty is officially part. He should have had his image on the announcement of people that are working on Nationwide Season 5 as well. And part of the show is the Borsty element. Maybe one day we can fly Borsty out to these events and we'll just give him a TV, And then
official memer.
Yeah, and then after this, it's what do you feel about this series? And he's not allowed to speak. He's only allowed to show memes on the television.
Let me check some GIFs. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got it.
He tells us a story. We're like, all right, thank you very much, Percy, and then he just salutes us and we move on.
Yeah, so obviously thanks, Percy, but keep tweeting at us, share how you're enjoying this show. If you have puppies, please tweet it for Roti.
Of course.
I like cats too.
Puppies
Anyway, the game is now starting. Amazing PVZ, Namshar against Showtime.
And it's showtime, all right.
All right.
Our map is going to be Neon Violet Square. That's the map we saw Harston play in insane, greedy style yesterday against Nemchar. It was almost a little too much when he got caught in the middle of the map, but he had so much to fall back on that he was still able to recover. We know what we can expect from Showtime, and I think it's safe to say, as long as he doesn't do anything weird, he doesn't lose a prism with 2 Archons in it, then normally Showtime is a big favorite here. You know what they say, Vanka, numbers don't lie, and it's still 19-1 in favor of this man, who's spotting in the right bottom side. Can he perhaps bring it home all the way for Deutschland? It's Showtime.
In his opponents, he broke the streak yesterday of his opponents. He is for Sweden, Namshar. Blue Zerg.
Played good against Hero Marine, though. I really enjoyed that game. There were a couple of moments where I thought he was in a little bit of trouble, especially that first big Tor tank push at his third base. I was like, oh, I'm not sure. The upgrades weren't done yet, but he was barely able to hang in there. And he did, I must say, a phenomenal job in keeping his queens alive throughout the entirety of the game. And I mean, with the queens, it's a macro support unit, but it really does add a lot in some of those vital fights. And I honestly think if he would have been more reckless with those queens, if he would have ended up losing a bunch of them earlier, I think he would have been in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and obviously the creep being covered almost everywhere on the map didn't make it easy for Hero Marine to take decent engagements. But we are here in the PVZ for ages. Showtime takes on Namshar. They've got a lot of history together. We said it's 19-1 in favor of Showtime, but that one happened yesterday.
So there is a chance.
There is a chance.
You're saying there is a chance.
And I actually predicted Sweden to take it. So yeah,
this entire nationwide?
I went for 4-3 Sweden.
Okay, I mean, it's not impossible. We saw that yesterday.
I went for the cute prediction.
It's not the craziest thing ever. You know what I also like, Vanka, that in 2018, we don't really compliment people anymore on their creep spread because we just kind of take it for granted. Yes. If anything, we criticize players when it's not good enough because it's not really worth talking about anymore because just so many of these top-level Zergs are phenomenal in covering the entire map in creep. I mean, in 2012, we got excited over a creep highway. We're like, oh my god, he spread 4 too much through the middle of the map. That's amazing.
He's using overloads as well. It's so crazy.
His reinforcements, they're like arriving a little bit faster. And these days, it's like, yeah, Zerg sees everything. And unless you like prevent that from happening, that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, he did super well last game, and obviously opening with, I think, 7, and then actually pushing the number of queens to 9 also helped out. But you said it, he kept those alive against the Cyclone Hellbat composition in the early game, and it made it way easier for him to build the creep everywhere on the map, and it was really tough for Hero Marine to do anything.
We saw Showtime have a phenomenal hold yesterday as well. I mean, if you die to Nidus, that works all the time, guys, and you want to get some notes on how to possibly defend against that, if you open up with the Stargate and you go up to 3 bases, take a look at Showtime versus sort of yesterday on the Violet Square. An absolutely spectacular hold. That still, you know, we would like to resume it. Maybe if he notices somewhere else, maybe not necessarily in the main, but maybe somewhere that's not trapped between all those buildings. There is still a chance he gets on top of that robo, but that doesn't take away anything of the fact that Showtime showed us a spectacular hold. No other way to put it.
It was brilliant on the side of Showtime.
That's a fast layer as well.
It is a really fast layer. It's already started here, 335, I believe. The Oracle will make its way to the main, try to get some damage done, but the spore timing is pretty nice. The Queen as well.
It's going to be late for a couple of seconds, and now the Queen is out of position as well, so Showtime is going to grab a couple of probes here. The total kill count will end up to 4. That's a pretty sweet start for your first Oracle.
Yeah, without losing any HP, any actual HP. The shield will regenerate after that. Phoenix will do its job in the middle of the map. Obviously, we're talking about overlords with speed, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. And Namshar should get the follow-up scout if he needs. As Showtime takes the 3rd base. The 3rd base, the pocket expands, so we'll get some more gas going his way. Ooh, that was quite committed. Yeah. That Phoenix will take a lot of damage, but that's another overlord, and that's a supply block, Roddy.
Yep, I mean, it does all add up in this matchup. Anything you can do as a Protoss to disturb that smooth flow of Zerg economy. These overlords have speed as well, so you're really not supposed to lose overlords against a single Phoenix. Showtime knows that he's not going to be able to get that one out. as Nemcha is sending it to the other side of the map, and he's going for a very fast Hydra then. We saw Nemcha also have a couple of really good holds yesterday, especially that game on Acid Plant. He did a fantastic job in not taking too much damage from the follow-up of Showtime, which often is that Prism, the Archons, and then a bunch of Zealots. But this game, Showtime invested in a very fast +1, so I don't think he's going to go too crazy with the Zealot commitment.
Yeah, for now it's just probing up as much as he can with his 3 next eye. The Oracle tries to find a way to get a little bit more economy going, but he did confirm that it was Hydras. The Hydra then has been revealed. Now the Overlord scouts everything suddenly. We have all the information in the world for Namchar. It is the forge spinning.
This is kind of nice though for Namchar. I think in general when you get Hydras out this fast, you survive the scariest phase of the game, you know that it's unlikely you're going to die at any given moment now against just a couple of gates. Obviously the gateway count is getting higher and higher, but it's going to take a long time before all are done. And you already have your Hydras out. I think that he's quite okay with this start. Of course, the economy isn't fantastic yet, but we also know that if Namchar throws down that fort base, he can squeeze out 12 drones in the blink of an eye. And so far, so good, I'd say, for Namchar. Other than losing 4 drones against the first Oracle, a little bit too much, but we'll forget about it.
Yeah, he looked amazing in the mid-game, and he looked amazing with his Hydra micro in general. Was able to dodge the storms, and that's what gave him the victory against Showtime in quite a hectic game. Pretty cute stasis ward here that will get triggered by only 1 drone, perfectly defended by Namchar. That's what we expect.
This Phoenix is like a mosquito. It's really not killing anything, but it's just like, I'm super annoying right now and I'm not going to go away. It's like, no, I will not give you that vision. I will not show you where my Prism is coming from. What's happening with the Prism? Is he wiping a bunch of Zealots?
Yes. He is. The 2 Archons will get...
just gotta cancel on the fort base. That's already pretty big. This queen is trapped in these neon violet square. Where are these Hydras, and can the Hydra save the fort?
He doesn't even want to go for it.
That's a big loss, though.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting that he didn't even make a single move to try and defend it. Actually, Showtime would commit more Zealots.
No,
I really want to go up the ramp right there? I think he wants to go for it with the +1 attack. He realizes that there is not that many units there, and those Zealots, they're not dying at all.
There were 18 Hydras on the production tab. That's an insane amount, but where are they coming from? Will they show up in time? I guess the answer is yes, but how many drones are going to go down? This is still tough for Namchar. He needs to micro Hydras in multiple angles. 18 Hydras on the production tab, Funka. That's ridiculous.
That's a lot. I feel like Namchar really tries to build those units as late as he can, but now even pulling the drones against Archon, I'm not even sure that's the right idea. Losing 7 drones right here and there. Didn't lose that much. I mean, Showtime lost a lot of Zealots, but only an Archon for 16 Hydralisk and a lot of drones. I like it a lot.
I mean, if Namchar would have kept his fort base alive, I actually would be okay with these trades, because 21 Zealots is also an insane amount of Zealots. But not having the fort base, I think that's the biggest loss of all of them for Namchar, as he's going to take some additional damage. Still a very playable game, of course, guys. But, I mean, Showtime has a fort base technically a tiny bit faster than Namchar. With Storm already done, yeah, you kind of need a Lurker then, and perhaps eventually a Hive if you really want to play this game out in the locker room.
Yeah, exactly. I think now Namchar needs to realize that there is no breaking Showtime in the mid-game. It's not happening now. So he needs to figure out what's the next step is. It could be Lurkers, as you said. He showed tendency to go for Lurkers yesterday as well. He's got a lot of upgrades going for him. He does go for the double Evo usually, and he got melee and missiles at the same time. But you need that Lurker then, I think.
I'm surprised that Showtime is moving out. Does he have any normal High Templars out on the map? I don't think he does. A couple, actually. He's got a couple Storms. All right, so this is a little bit like the classic push. You know, you've got 3 Archons, you've got 3 Immortals with very fast Storm. So that is tough, but we also know that on creep you can absolutely micro against Storms. You can just micro away. Namchar did a fantastic job in that yesterday, but this is always a difficult hold. If you can get a couple Banelings atop of the High Templars, you're kind of out of the woods. That's what happened with Rogue versus Classic and that Intox 3 Masters final. But can these Banes don't have speed though.
No speed and no range as well on the Hydralisk. That's a little concerning to me, because those Hydras, if they want to actually fight, they will be super close to the army of the Protoss, which means that those Storms, they will be easier to land. For now, Showtime killing a little bit of the creep will relocate towards that 4th base, but Namchar expects it maybe. He moved his army a little bit towards the right side, and that's the beginning of the multitasking from Showtime that warped in a lot of Zealots on the left side as he moves to the right side.
Yeah, I mean, could potentially work out, right? Once again, it's tough. But if these Banelings would just be defending on the other side, then I think it becomes a little bit easier. But there isn't that much space here to kite with the Hydras, and you cannot stand in those storms. This is going to be tough. The Zealots are probably moving in towards that fort base as well. The first 2 storms don't do that much. You need a couple Banelings on that left side, Namchar. Otherwise, you're going to have a very tough time against those Zealots.
Okay, thank God for Namchar. The Grooved Spines just finished, but the Zealots, there's nothing here to defend against those. So now it becomes really tough for Namchar to micro both of them. But the Banelings, they connect super well on the Zealots, but that means that this army on the left side might not be enough against that high amount of Immortals and Storms. This one lands perfectly, and there's still some Storms available on the side of the Protoss. It will rain down on those Hydralisks. More Zealots coming in, and I think Namchar is in a lot of trouble, Kevin.
Yeah, he only has a single. Well, there's one more Archon actually morphing in the back end. The Lynx and Hydras pull off a miraculous hold here. Those Zealots are doing a great job as well. I think you're spot on. I think there's a little too much HP on all those Immortals, and Namchar is, once again, as so often in the past, going to fall against Showtime.
Yeah, but what a great game from Showtime. I think it was pretty well executed, and you know, he took his time, set up the counter-attack, well, at least a double-pronged aggression, and that's something that will take a lot of your attention away as a Zerg player if you have to defend against that massive amount of Zealots, and that means that you will take those Storms to the face. GG, Showtime takes it and makes it 2-1 for Germany. Important victory right there.
These Protosses make it look easy on Neon Violet, don't they? It all seems like makes sense. What I also don't understand, and I think that goes for some of the viewers as well, you sit at home, everyone opens with an Oracle. It's like the most standard thing in the world. And you play your ladder game, you sit down, you're like, I'm going to be like Showtime, and your Oracle shows up in the main.
In this regard, like I get my 3 bases, I've got 66 drones, now I can take a 4th. You want to go something really streamlined on the side of Zerg, and if you get countered and you lose your 4th base, it's suddenly that equilibrium is just gone, you know?
Next player for Sweden is Zenster. Of course, he's the left.
It said Germany?
I think it did.
Good job, guys.
Unless I was imagining things, but... so Zenster, I mean, Zenster did have a fun game yesterday as well. He tried to get funky with all those links with +1. I like those kind of styles, but it is kind of tough to pull off against the Stargate that everybody has. I feel the real power of those Ling upgrade styles is not necessarily in cancelling the turret, because I feel if you make them in that phase in the game, you're almost putting yourself all in. If you don't get that Nexus, it's like, okay, you're going to have a very tough time, and getting that Nexus is hard, obviously, but I think you can do a lot with those early upgrades later on, like the +2 Banelings. I still think back of the days, like let's say 2016, Elaze's ZVP. You know, he was spectacular to watch with his like +2 Banelings, Baneling dropping all the time, non-stop run-bys. Elaze and Showtime had some epic battles back in the days, and in all honesty, it feels not that much has changed, other than the fact that everyone opens up with a Stargate now. Back then, it was a little all over the place. Sometimes it was Archon drop, sometimes it was Twilight Console, and of course, if you don't have that single Phoenix or the Oracle, it's a lot harder for Protoss to spot drop lords coming in. So I understand why, but I still feel we see it a little, you know, too little.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you can reach that timing where you have +2 melee, well, use those drops, use those Baneling run-bys. They will do a tremendous amount of work. We'll see if this guy will lose some probes to that harassment we mentioned, those Zerglings, those Banelings. For Germany, is the Red Protoss Showtime.
And on the right top side of Blackpink, we're looking at another Zerg for Team Sweden. He needs to bring it back for them here. It is Zenster.
I really enjoyed the way he played yesterday. Obviously on a totally different map that had I'd say a better setup for those Zerglings counterattack, those Banelings. Obviously, Blackpink, not the worst one to go for those counterattacks as well. I mean, when you spread out to 4 bases, there's 2 avenues that you can use to go and harass. We see a lot of Baneling run-bys on this map as well. So we'll see if Zenster goes for that same kind of strategy, even though the map is a little different.
It definitely does seem, though, since the latest patch, that things just got a lot better for Protoss, right? It's like always these minor buffs that really do add up over time. Shield batteries are just amazing. The scouting of Protoss is solid. Able to go up to 3 bases, almost uncontested. The Hydra timings are not scary anymore because it takes 2 upgrades right now. And then suddenly, you know, you take the Drop Lord out of the occasion. You don't see those silly mass Link Flood all-ins anymore. And suddenly, it really does seem that Protoss is starting to do a lot better in this matchup.
Yeah, life's better when you're Protoss in PvZ. I think it also, just in general, pushed the matchup into you know, a higher level of quality as well. I think we were seeing a lot of kind of the same games, and now we see, even though the Stargate is still prevalent in the matchup, I still think we see a wider variety of games, so which is a good thing. Kudos to the balance team, obviously, for this one. Those tiny buffs that you mentioned that made the PvZ a different matchup, a different beast. So Zenster.
He pulls the workers out of gas, so we're not expecting a very quick +1 melee here. While Showtime will once again go for that Stargate. Of course, we have mentioned it many times. You just kind of like to have some map presence as we take a look at the upper tree Ballerino. And Showtime's still scouting. Scouting is excellent. So, Funka, I've got a question for you.
Tell me.
What portrait are you using on the ladder right now?
I did use France for a bit, and I switched to Korea because I do think it looks amazing.
Because you called yourself out. I see you, Korean portrait buyers.
I've seen you guys. I know.
That video is just full of lies, man. Like, T-shirt like a boss? Like, where is my T-shirt, Funka?
But you're already a boss. You don't need it.
I do need it.
You're an official Nation Wars caster. How much of a boss can you be?
Well, not as much as with a T-shirt.
Okay. Well, we might make that happen. We'll see.
Of course, guys, massive shout out to Omen of HP for actually allowing me to stream all this time as well. I wish this was the gold standard, Funka. If I get hired somewhere, like, you want to be here for 3 weeks? It's like, oh, 3 weeks is an awfully long time without StarCraft. Massive shout out to those guys for not only supporting the tournament, but also providing the casters and our observer with a computer at home that allows us to play a little bit of StarCraft. And of course, guys, make sure to head over to matcherino.com where you can still get your Nation Wars portraits and a lot of other cool stuff, sprays. But the portraits, Funka, is the one thing that makes me really excited.
It is kind of great to have Nation Wars being officially part of the game. I think you also have a tiny animation that got into the game when you log on to StarCraft in the back.
I saw it today.
As in WCS. So you guys might know about the tournament because of that. And if you do, and if it's the first time you're watching Nation Wars, we hope you're having a good time. We can still make the prize pool actually go to $60,000 if we sell a little bit more of those items.
We're getting very close, right? No, I think we're past that already. No, I thought we're
maybe 800, 500, 8,500.
So I see you, Korean portrait buyers. Head over to matcherino.com.
Let's go.
All right. So as we saw this Oracle, once again, somehow, some way, Showtime always finds a couple of drones with his Oracle as his Phoenix is flying around as well. Curious to see what Zenster goes for. Zenster does not skip the Roach Warren like we saw Nemcha do, as Showtime gets 4 extra gates already. So there's a good chance that Showtime is going to be quite aggressive. Now, of course, it's a little easier to micro Roaches against Zealots and Hydras. Hydras in very big numbers, they do fantastic. In the smaller numbers, you kind of have to micro your heart out. All those Protosses, they just send in their Zealots. Disgusting.
Disgusting Protoss players.
Protoss players literally want one thing, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, actually, you kind of spot on this one. Templar Archive is getting dropped down. We've got charged lots. We expected that out of Showtime. The timing is quite perfect. Prism has not been scouted by Zenster. Might expect, once again, the Phoenix doing work, but now the Zerglings did see it.
That's good.
Can you avoid those Templars being warped in? That's the thing, right? Like, while they're being warped in, they can get destroyed, killed by those Zerglings.
Yeah, the Oracle was there as well to potentially save the day. But we've got the Roaches on the way. But now I want to keep a close eye on the production tab. Zenster has 59 drones. I really wonder what happens is, what if he just not builds another drone for the rest of this game and just finally tries to do one of those old school Zerg aggressions where you just make a silly amount of Roaches and you try to run towards the other side of the map. This Archon drop shouldn't get much done. That's a Roach. I mean, it's something.
It's already something.
I would really love to see Zenster not go back to droning and just go all out. Do something different once, you know. Show us some old school Zerg passion.
You know, I think you might be onto something as we see a drone that might go for a 4th base. The cancelled Zealots are being handled in the main. Some Roaches will have to defend back at the 3rd base. 2 drones are falling at the moment, targeting good on the side of Showtime, getting a couple more drones
here.
That's
a lot of Roaches, though. I think he's doing it, Funka.
Yeah, you were onto something. There were nothing but Overloads and Roaches. He goes back to 5 drones, but I think just only to replace the ones he lost, I think.
Yeah, and this is 61, this is of 61 army supply already, the entire army of Zenster. So I think that's enough. Like we saw TLO only having 10 Roaches. That's obviously not enough to scare. We see Tunneling Claws and Burrow being used as well.
I love it.
That's cool. It's a little different. Not sure if Blackpink is the best map ever for it, but we'll see where Zenster takes this. I mean, it is always hard, though. That Oracle is annoying. Force fields are scary. Whoa, Zenster shows no fear, and that means he's going to end up losing a couple of roaches here.
He might have shown, he should have shown some fear a little bit, because he's going to lose a lot of roaches for this one. Not getting that much out of the equation. A couple of zealots, and that's about it. More roaches join the fray. And we have, as you mentioned, tunneling close. So there's an opportunity for Zenster to deal some damage after that. But for now, Showtime handles the first part of this attack quite perfectly.
Yeah, I really felt that Zenster losing those drones kind of scared him and made him change his mind, perhaps, because he was firing up a lot of roaches. And I think if you just go absolutely ham on the roach count, it's hard against the Oracle and maybe that Immortal. And of course, shield batteries are fantastic, but you know, nothing is impossible. But after losing a couple of drones, it felt like, okay, I don't really want to die on this hill. So he decided to sort of transition. But that means that now he has this awkward situation where the Immortal count is at 3. Whoa. The Zealot count is quite high. There are a couple of force fields still available as well. That Hydra then is super exposed.
Oh yeah, and I think the game is super exposed for Zenster, because right now I don't think those roaches can handle that amount of Archons. They are so stuck, and once more force field will bring the roaches closer to the Archons, as one Hydralist will pick off the Prism, but it's not gonna matter. GG, Showtime takes another game and now puts Germany 3-1 against Sweden.
These Protosses are just rolling the Zergs right now. I mean, Showtime barely broke a sweat in both games. You know, I really would have liked it if Zenster went all out, let's say 51 drones, and you just go for it. And at one point you have this awkward moment where maybe Immortals are stuck in a natural, and you can maybe still reinforce, and your roach number gets so high that maybe you can break him in the third base. But I honestly think that losing the drone scared him. And then it was a little bit of everything. The tunneling claws and Burrow as follow-up, but also the Hydra then, the +2, the fourth base.
Range. There was just a little bit too much. He went middle of the road against Showtime's timing. That was just perfect in terms of, well, of execution in general. Even those two Archons that are not even part of the fight at the beginning and still working out tremendously. So, yeah, Zenster, maybe a little bit indecisive in this fight. Didn't have Hydra range back then. I mean, no +2 attack either.
He just simply took too much damage from those Zealots. I mean, if you make that many roaches, you're really supposed to take 0 damage. He absolutely had the numbers, he had the units, but yeah, Showtime just doing Showtime things as well and always finding openings. And once again, goes back to the Oracle. The early game is very, very important. It's one of these things that it's hard to put in words, other than, you know, Zerg economy snowballs, and that's just what it is. Showtime is just annoying. He always finds a couple drones here, a couple drones there, and it stacks up and makes everything else that Zerg has to offer, especially if they want to go for some sort of a timing, so much less scary.
Yeah, definitely. When you go for a timing like this, you just don't want to lose any economy. You don't want to replace those drones. Like you said, it's 51 drones. I think the time for droning is over. Just go all out on the roaches. Loses a couple of drones, loses a couple of roaches at the opposite side of the map without losing anything on the side of Protoss. It was just a little bit too much, and when Showtime comes in with perfect execution, suddenly you're looking at a lost game.
There's GG for Showtime here, and there's only one last chance left for Sweden. So who's going to get revived here?
I'd probably say Namchar, even though he doesn't have the best track record. Maybe it depends a little bit on the map as well. Maybe one of the Swedish guys feels very passionate about the upcoming
Backwater?
I think Backwater is a map where Namchar actually, in general, plays pretty good because he likes his Drop Lord style. And that's a good map for Drop Lords, but no Zerg gets very excited about playing ZVP on Backwater. That's one of those maps, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
and Namchar is getting revived for Sweden.
Such a good map order for Germany, though. Yeah. I mean, having those two maps right on top, you know, like 3 times in a row, I think we've got a pretty good map for Showtime, and now he's just showing how good he is in the PvZ matchup when the maps are a little bit favored for him. He does it perfectly, and Zenster, who showed, to me, one of the most entertaining game in PvZ with that Zergling style, well, just couldn't do it here on Blackpink.
Okay, so the next game might be the last game of the day, and now we have another nice PvZ, so stay with us. Hello and welcome back with us. I'm Haji and I'm here with Zombie Grub and Rotterdam.
Yep.
So it's gonna be an amazing game.
We're excited, Hajin.
I hope so.
Hopefully. I mean, we already went over the story, of course, a little bit with Namchar, you know, having his statistics. But he did break the streak yesterday. Unfortunately, on Neon Violet Square, he just wasn't clean enough. It's pretty damn straightforward. If you want to beat Showtime in this matchup, you need a very, very clean first 5-6 minutes. And if you go for a forward base, it's absolutely like unexcusable to lose it, because Showtime will punish you. If you lose that forward base, you're going to have a very bad time against this man.
It's going to be tough. I mean, I'm still like really on the fence if that really counts as breaking the streak. Namchar with Showtime. He wins one game and loses 2 others.
Numbers
don't. Best of 3, man.
Numbers don't lie. It doesn't matter. These are best of 1 series, and he won that series.
It should count as a series.
It is. It is absolutely a series. Namchar, you did it. I'm proud of you.
So will he be able to do it again to take down the Mauer to keep the Swedish hope?
I mean, I personally am thinking no. Showtime had a couple of silly mistakes yesterday, like losing the Archon drop immediately. So, you know, I know that this games versus Namchar wasn't as, you know, only based off of one mistake, but it's kind of the point where like Showtime was a little off yesterday, and now he seems to be perfectly on.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and also Backwater is the one map where Protoss players in general. It's like, yeah, I'll play a PvZ on Backwater. You go up to 3 bases at 3 minutes and 45 seconds or something. There's very, very little that Zerg can do about it. So what do? Do you build it out, or you bust out a Nidus? As we've got some tweets coming in as well. All right, let's go Sweden. IKEA boys.
What's the gift?
It's the Swedish meatball chef or whatever.
Oh.
I know some things.
Miracle is alive. Not exactly sure if I would go as far to call it a miracle if Germany beats Sweden, but all right, Borsty.
Oh, I'm trying to see what these... I recognize all the movies. I'm just seeing exactly what's being said. I can't quite read it, except that one.
That's quite creepy.
Is it Beetlejuice?
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The last one was creepy.
Yeah, this movie is creepy for kids, I think.
Now I can sleep.
I only said it 3 times. Darn it.
Gonna have a very bad time.
Okay, so we are about to play the last game. Maybe. It might be the last game. But it's not finished yet. Sweden can still qualify for the round of 8, and it starts right now.
All right. If it does, then we are going to take a look at that beautiful map image of Backwater. And we know that Namchar has a very, very tough task ahead of him. He's going to have to pull off something special. I mean, I do feel that if he hits his comfort zone with those drop alerts, he often gets himself in a pretty sweet position. But it often doesn't seem to be enough either. Like, he gets himself in a good position and suddenly the mothership still pops, and then it's 11 Immortals and Archons. It's like, okay, you did fantastic with all your drops, but you can't kill this army.
Yeah. All right, it could be the last game, as Hajin said in the top left. As the red Protoss for Germany, he is Showtime.
And on the right bottom side of Backwater, we're looking in the main base of the man that doesn't have a nickname, quite as cool as D Mauer. So if you guys have any suggestions, make sure to tweet them at us. What is a cool nickname for this man who right now goes by the ID of Namchar?
That kind of summed up almost, in my opinion, the games versus Hearthstone that Namchar played, where it felt like if he did get into a comfortable position, then maybe it would have been okay, but every single time he almost did. Hearthstone was there to cut him down just before he was ready to go, whether it was preparing for the Overlord drops or preparing for the Lurkers. So, yeah, once he's in that position where he can kind of control the map, then sure, fine, but Namchar's not really a guy who does that before he has 4 bases. So I feel like Showtime doesn't really have a lot of fear here, or maybe against some of the other Zergs today he has, and that he can just reliably play to that, see if he can deny the 4th base like he just did, and then take it from there.
I'm with you, but I still want to go back to my speech. Hashtag NW5, give us your suggestions for a cool nickname for Namchar, because why don't we have a nickname for this man?
You can only have so many nicknames.
No, there is something out there that we're just not aware of. Give us something cool in Swedish, anything. He deserves it. He's been around long enough. He makes good runs in WCS events. He's waiting for that big championship, but even at those WSG qualifiers, he's there every year. 2 years in a row, he qualified for WSG. That is not easy. This man deserves a cool nickname.
Does Xanser have a nickname?
Yeah, Anton.
I was going to say, I just hear everyone going Anton.
But that says it all. That has a very, very deep meaning.
Okay, all right. Well, so be it then. Namchar needs a nickname. It's the new goal of Nation Wars.
And be quick, guys, because it could end here. And we still want to have it before the run of Team Sweden ends. But Nemcha did play a fantastic game against Hero Marine, of course, different matchup. Ooh, takes the forward base. Okay, okay.
He did this versus Hearthstone, right? On this map. I mean, it was a ZVP with Namshars, as much as I remember, and I'm like, well, there's only been 2 Protosses, so in the Protoss 1, so I think might have been Hearthstone. Might have been. Did Showtime win against Namshar that first day?
No,
Once?
I don't think so, because Showtime lost on Acid Plant. I think maybe then he got revived. Yes, and then he did win against Nemchar.
Right. Yeah, he did.
And that was on Backwater.
That was the game I was thinking of, not the game versus Hearthstone. There we go. We figured it out. Awesome. But still stands that he did take this in another ZVP, and then this is the game I remember where he was just so close to kind of being prepared. He had the 4th base, also taking in that forward position, and was cut down just slightly before he was able to do it.
Yeah, I know Nemcha played against Hearthstone on Neon Violet Square. And he must have had one more map as well, but I don't think it was it Eastwatch, actually? I mean, he played 4 Zergs in a row.
Right.
But I think against Nemcha he played on Eastwatch and
I think you're right
Neon
about that.
Violet Square.
Yeah, because I remember bringing up Xanster's style being more preferable perhaps in that map than Namshar's, but oh well, we're on Backwater, and Showtime looking to continue his run here, make up for yesterday where German had a surprising loss to Sweden. Everyone expected them to make it through to the winners, have an epic match versus Netherlands probably, and instead they found themselves in the losers and then get through the decider.
But he was still full of confidence, Showtime that is. He tweeted out yesterday, he's like, not our best performance, but don't worry, we will still advance tomorrow. And that's a pretty bold thing to tweet when you know that you have to take out Neep twice and then potentially beat the team that you just lost against. But it seemed like the spirits were high for our German team, and perhaps for all the right reasons, because Hero Marine had a really good showing today as well. That game against Neep was sick on Acid Plant. Unfortunately, we didn't see too much of Dr. Dario just yet. Would like to see actually Dario play a ZVZ against one of these Swedish Zergs and potentially get his revenge for the game that he had yesterday on the Biogenesis.
Yeah, it's sort of game, sort of versus TLO. TLO probably figures should have had that one.
Good defense so far against the Oracle though, right? I mean, he only lost a single drone at his queen's in the right position. This is already looking a little bit better. It's much better to lose a single drone than 4, obviously. Past Hydra then. Now the 4th base for Nemcha, maybe that's why he does that actually, is going to be a much safer one. And obviously it's harder to lose a hatchery that has 1500 HP than a potential 4th base that is like 300 or 400 HP on the way.
I see.
Which is kind of what happened in that previous game. So maybe that all makes a little bit of sense.
He does take the 4th still out though, and I'm a little worried that might still happen.
You think he takes it at 6 o'clock?
He did last time.
The crazy man, James.
I know.
why does he hate his pocket expand so much?
I don't know. Some Zergs are really quite greedy. They figure they can get to 4 or 5 bases and then have that as a very secure, like much later base. But it's always a bit of a trick, isn't it? We do have both of them playing as expected, which is basically what they always play against each other. So we've got the Oracle opener and a charge, +1. 3rd base, of course, was faster as it is on Backwater. And Namshar went for the Ling Hydra. You know, he's not even going for Banelings this time, so perhaps we'll see that Lurker Den be thrown down.
Yeah, no, he does take his 4th base, and you are spot on. He takes it over here at the 6 o'clock position. The Phoenix scouts it immediately. There's really no HP on this base at all at this point, but there aren't Zealots out yet. So just 2 Archons are obviously not going to spend too much time, I assume, dealing with this hatchery. This is kind of dangerous, though, because if you put all your Hydras here, right, then going from 6 o'clock to your main base is actually pretty difficult. This is really cute. This is like a little escort, but the Hydras is still here. Showtime!
Maybe it was a little too obvious. Grabs a Hydra and gets out. Now the army is drawn all the way to the main, though, and the main to the 4th by air is not that far. It is, of course, far by ground, but looks like there was just barely enough of a response. It's not like he's warping in charge to help out quite yet. 4th base will continue to live, and he does throw down the Baneling Nest.
It is a much better start, though, for Nemcha. I feel like this has been a very clean game so far. Really hasn't made a lot of mistakes. I'm not sure if he knows about all these Zealots. Does he have an answer against it? Nemcha, you need all the Hydras here. You are on creep, so you have some micro potential. You can also micro up a ramp, which obviously is always nice. These Queens are going to be a little bit of a buffer as well. The first few Zealots go down, but a couple of Hydras go down already as well. But here are the reinforcements.
Yeah, where's that Warp Prism? Did it stay in Warp? Okay, so it could come and save the Archons at the very least, although it seems like he's willing.
More.
Yeah, he's going to go for it. He did kill a lot of Hydras. And he knows the base is trying to be saturated, so maybe a couple Zealots to the south could kill a lot of that.
Yeah, if you just split off a couple Zealots now, you set them in the drone line, that would already be very tough. But instead, Showtime once more. He goes in very deep, and he gets a couple of Hydras, but he's losing Zealots, of course, in the process as well. This is quite cute. He's going to use a drone, I guess, could potentially trigger it. There is a Hydra on the south side. I don't know how many. Ooh, those two Hydras, if they would have just been shooting at that prism, I actually think they would have been able to do a lot of damage on it. But still a good hold by Nemchar, still on 74 drones. Very well done.
Yeah. Storm does finish up for Showtime, and he manages to save the beefy units, Oracle or the,
move your Hydras.
And the Oracle.
To the left. Everything you want is in the air. To the left.
He managed to save the Archons and the Warp Prism, and that continues to hold true. I was a little worried he was going to miss micro there, and he's got Storms down his back pocket, so Namshar will not be able to push forward. I believe Namshar was a little delayed on starting his upgrades just because he had to deal with that, but now Centrifugal Hooks is on the way, along with +1 melee.
This economy by Namchar, though, 81 drones, 4 bases up and running against 3 bases of Showtime, who is, of course, soon going up to 4 bases. He is getting his, he's sending out that probe now. He does have Storm already, but I still like it, and this is that phase in the game where, you know, you need to find openings. So either you make a massive frontal attack, you come from multiple angles and sort of avoid the storms, or you start using those drop alerts that we know Namchar is pretty comfortable with. I'm getting excited for Namchar because I feel so far this has been a pretty damn good game by him.
See if it continues during the engagement with Storms. Now this seems
that's an Archon.
Little forward. Yeah, the Archon gets taken out. He's going to have plenty of them, but if he goes up the ramp, then perhaps Namshar has that superior concave. He showed some excellent micro versus the Storm issue in prior games versus Showtime.
Yep. He sniped the Observer. That would be nice. That's a lot of Hydras, though. You want to be a little bit careful there. Namchar gets another Zealot, doing a really good job. One Archon super low in HP. Sends a single Hydra forward, but Showtime is going to save that High Templar. Cute micro being displayed here on both sides. Bailing speed is down. 13 additional Bailings are on the way. It's a lot of Zealots. Bailing should have gone from the other side. That would have been so sick.
It absolutely would have. And I'm not even sure he would have known there was speed Bailings ready to go. Now he has a little bit more knowledge, and the High Templar is a little bit more protected in the middle of that army. Now Namchar's also going to a choke.
North. Come on, that's Namchar. Yeah, okay. Now he's going to split it up a little bit. Warp Prism is still there on the left side as well. 17 more. The Bailing count is very high, but we also know that Storm sometimes doesn't care about how many Bailings exactly are truly out. But Showtime does show respect for his army. He's like, okay, maybe not.
That's a good plan. Was 40 Bailings ready to go from multiple directions, trying to find some place where he knows he can just focus on one area. But the High Templars go a little too far forward.
Wow.
They try and retreat, but are gobbled up by the Banelings.
Last one goes down as well in the back. Now these Hydras are just gonna go for it. Namchar gets an absolutely fantastic fight. Excellent game so far. And at this point, Namchar, you don't want to stop. Showtime was already thinking about the next phase in the game. Fleet Beacon is not gonna help out. I don't know if he has any storms to fall back on at all. I don't think he does, Jess.
No, I think he he didn't even warp in High Templars. This is actually might just be it. Namchar might stop Showtime's dominance.
Damn.
Right here, right now.
What
with
a game.
Single bad attack. High Templars too far forward. So many of them as well. And then you have a very powerful counter. And this looks like it's it.
An absolute killing spree here for Namchar over Showtime, who's just, he's really putting him in his place lately. I mean, this is 2 out of the last 3 times that Namchar gets the victory, and he played really good. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Just when, you know, it's starting to look like, oh my god, like, you know, I've got a Protoss heart that beats for ire, but I'm always starting to feel bad for those Zergs. I'm like, damn, they just can't catch a break in this tournament. Then Namchar shows us a game like that. It's like, that's the way you do it, boy. Like, I feel like he did almost everything right.
It was very solid. You're right, he did everything right. It wasn't that Showtime necessarily did anything super wrong, though, and he was on his way to 4 base, maybe even looking for a 5th. He was thinking of the next step, which was a little bit bold of him, but it really just all came down to one bad fight. He made the smart decision to back off originally, and then he got a little too cocky, I suppose, or maybe he just miscontrolled, simply put, as the High Templars, all of them went to a little too far forward. I guess we'll get a recap of that, so I'll hold off on it. But this was the start of the aggression. Showtime just really looking for Namchar to mess up the slip up somehow, but he was just reinforcing with Hydras.
I do think that Showtime could have sent a couple of Zealots here to the south side, because there are quite a few drones there, and it's super annoying as a Zerg if those drones start getting attacked as well. This is, of course, that moment where the Bailings connect with the High Templars and even make their way all the way into the back line, where that final High Templar goes down. The Immortals take a lot of damage. Showtime just did not expect that amount of Bailings, but yeah, that's also what happens when you just don't get economic damage done against Zerg.
It was really bizarre that he pushed forward, you know? He was getting himself back into a choke. It seemed like he was really going to play the safe game because he was transitioning to the Stargates. And instead, he pushed back through it into the wide concave, High Templars first. I guess he assumed Namshar wasn't the type of person to pounce on it, and sometimes Namshar can lack that bloodlust. But in this game, he went for it. It was an obvious move, and it worked.
Yeah, and the switch up between units, drones, I also feel was perfect this game by Namshar. He always had just the right amount, went back into drones, just made a few more units back into drones, and then you're looking at 81, 82 drones, you're like, okay, now this is Zerg's playground. This is when, you know, you start indeed just throwing those banelings in. And he even missed an opportunity or two where we were looking at it as well. It's like, if those banes come via the north side, then you basically activate 2 or even 3 storms, otherwise all those High Templars go down. So there was even more potential, but just a beautiful game by Namshar.
And now he has to face a ZVZ against TLO, the remaining player from Germany, until we have the potential ace match.
Is Dr. Dario looking for his first map win of the tournament?
Yes, I would hope so. He's just like, nah, I don't need it.
No, I wasn't. I didn't mean it like that yet. I know he's going to try to win. Otherwise, we have a serious problem. Yeah? No, I was just like, did he already pick up a map win? But I don't think he did, right?
No, I don't think so.
Because he didn't play in the round of 32, because that was his Showtime all-kill. And then he started off twice, I believe.
Well, once against sort of, and then another versus Neeb. So.
Ah, yes, against Neeb, yeah. And that's it, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Showtime looking literally unstoppable.
The timing of these tweets are amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? Now, where's the nickname? Because Borsi on stream, I would be... That is absolute. That goes for all of us, Juliana. That goes for all of us. Now it's payback time against Sweden. I want to see the suggestions for cool nicknames. You guys better have something for me. If I don't have a single tweet with a hashtag NW5 suggestion for a cool nickname for Zenser, I'm going to be very disappointed in the interwebs.
Showtime once again tweeting after a loss.
I think that was maybe the second tweet after he forgot to build a pylon, because he already made one tweet where he said like, whoops, forgot to drop a building.
Yep.
Really? Nothing? For Namshar? Unbelievable.
It's hard to
what
think
if we
names,
just call him the Destroyer of Showtime?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yes, it does. He has a 66 win % record the last 3 times they played. That's really good.
Okay, but overall.
We forget about the past. We live in the present.
Very recent past. Forget about it.
A very selective past.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, that's what I'm going to go for now, until someone gets something better.
If you want, man.
This Showtime's nemesis.
You can trademark it then, if he does start just demolishing Showtime every time they meet.
What is the opposite of, like, Showtime? Not the player, but let's say, like, it's Showtime.
It's Showtime. It's closing curtain.
Closing curtain. That's the one. That's the one. Namshar, also known as the closing curtain. I love it. What a nick.
Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. A totally realistic photo right there.
That's cute.
Yep.
I have no idea what it's supposed to do. Showtime in his element. I would hope he doesn't play on a laptop. Looks bad on all of us Protoss players.
Swedish Protoss. Oh, I know that feel. It's Terran cheering for USA. It's really the noob show. Namshar for the revive.
That's Showtime, also known as Conor McGregor. That's cool. That's intimidating.
Good tweets.
He got arrested today. Yesterday,
heard.
Actually.
Yeah, yesterday.
He was in handcuffs, and now Namshar just put Showtime in handcuffs. It's all connected.
Is it? Is it connected? what happens? What do you say when Showtime comes back for the revive?
Then he posted Bill.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna answer. Don't worry. So Germany still favored, according to you guys, 62% over Sweden. Of course, it is looking very promising for the German team. I do feel like we got kind of robbed of my my little classic rivalry between the Netherlands and Germany when it didn't happen in the group stage. So I would be pretty excited to see it happen in the playoffs potentially. Obviously, it cannot happen in the quarterfinals. Guys, we're going to do the drawings tonight for the quarterfinals. The way it works is obviously that first place finishes will play against second place finishes. And the only rule, I think we have 2 rules probably, but the first rule that's set in stone is you can obviously not play the second place finisher of your group. And then the second rule, which I'm not 100% sure about, is that you should not be able to meet a team that you played in the group stage till the final. So you should be placed on opposite side of the brackets. But that is the way if you want to do things correctly. Now, Aromi is in charge. I don't know. That's a dicey call then. Normally, he is a man that does love his rule books, if I recall that correctly. But
yes, he does. Maybe lately he's been not as in love, I suppose.
We're not allowed to talk about it anymore.
No.
He got a little slap on the wrist.
Yep, a little bit. But he does usually have it all laid out in stone, so I'm sure we'll get the clarified information on that. And their drawings are really my favorite. I think they're quite fun.
What are you hoping for tonight? I am like for the Netherlands side. The Netherlands, obviously, that's already set in stone. We can potentially go up against either South Korea or Norway or Mexico. Now, I would love, obviously, not South Korea. I'm okay with Netherlands in semifinals against South Korea here in Paris, live. I believe that the boys on LAN, but you know, online, and sometimes the underdogs can squeeze out a victory.
I'm not sure what I want to have happen. So I just immediately thought of Mexico versus South Korea, but that's the one thing that can't happen. Yeah, exactly. I'd have to wait until the finals. So what else would I really be excited for?
Mexico could go up against Germany if Germany wins here.
Yeah, it's pretty, but I'm thinking of like the classic TVZs, I suppose, and of course that would be more about the TVP, I think.
Okay.
Or TVT, but yeah. I'm trying to think through every possible scenario, but it's quite difficult to do on the spot.
All right, well, it is happening tonight, though, guys. There's going to be a very small break after we do the winners interview for this last deciding match, and then we'll be back. As it seems like we are waiting for a few moments on Dr. Dario versus Namchar to start. We are still open for suggestions. We're rolling with closing curtains for now, but if you have guys something better. And of course, make sure to head over to matcharena.com. I was joking a little bit in that last match with Fonka, but in a more serious manner, you can pick up all your portraits there. T-shirts, sprays are available, and it's actually a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. Like, I'm not a big lore guy, as we got more tweets coming in. Showstopper.
Wow, that seems...
I like closing curtain better.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose, maybe.
But yeah, okay, let's focus on Namchar nickname, Showtime rival, more like No Time. Hey, No Time is kind of cool. I can deal with it. Whoa, Namchar.
It's not so much.
It's No Time.
What?
I don't get that one. I mean, obviously referring to Scarlet, but why? The Showstopper. It seems like that is a popular suggestion.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty popular one. It sounds like the game is beginning to start. There we go. And I was wondering what map it was as well. So now we know it's Eastwatch.
Ooh, ZVZ on Eastwatch. I feel creativity. I smell it in the air right now. Like, it just has it written all over it. Of course, there's a lot of cool things you can do. Yeah, but just to wrap it up real quick, guys, head over to matcharena.com. Take a look at all the amazing things that we have in store for you. And you support the tournament directly. Nation Wars 5 is brought to you also by Omen HP, but of course Match Arena as well. Anyways, yes, here we go for what could be the final map of the day. Can this man, the captain, bring it home for Deutschland? It is Dr. Dario, TLO.
In the top right, as the blue Zerg for Sweden, he is Namchar.
I've got a question for you, Jess.
What's that?
Do you know where the name Dr. Dario comes from?
I guess not, no.
No, someone asked me that once, and I was like, I don't know, because he looks like a doctor, he plays like one, I don't know, what are you asking me? But in the very early days of StarCraft 2, TLO actually did a pretty long stream once upon a time for a good cause. Now, I don't remember the good cause exactly anymore, but something, maybe, you know, like Doctors Without Borders, among those lines. And apparently that's where the nickname Dr. Dario came from.
Oh, I didn't know that. All I remember is seeing him as dressed up as a, well, photoshopped, I should say. He wasn't dressed up, but photoshopped on a doctor's uniform.
That's how he dresses up as well, though.
Oh, okay.
Carnival twice a year in Cologne, he's going for it. Dr. Dario roaming through the streets.
Oh,
making sure everyone's heart is still beating. It's like, excuse me, I'm a doctor. Is your heart still beating for StarCraft? Oh, yeah, wie geil.
Oh, I never thought about why that would be. It was so natural to say, man.
It does have a good ring to it. It's a good nickname.
Well, no shenanigans quite yet, as both players do take their bases, their hatcheries at the normal spots. So let's talk about the gold or the pool timings. But now TLO is fine. You know, before Namchar showed really great games here at Nation Wars, you know, specifically in, you know, ZVP, but still, I would have definitely put these guys at pretty even in ZVZ. I'd be like, either one of these could take it. I don't know how to call it. But Namchar seems to be on a pretty good roll for this tournament. He did just beat Showtime once again, so morale should be high. And I do wonder what his ZVZ will look like
Traditionally, it's good. Namchar is one of those guys that a lot of the top Zergs in Europe don't actually enjoy playing ZVZ against Namchar. Some of them say that, you know, he's crazy, plays blind, he gambles, but at the end of the day, he's getting pretty damn good results. So actually, in a ZVZ, in a straight-up match, I think most of the European pros that are not involved in this matchup would actually favor Namchar over TLO. Then again, if there is someone we can never count out, it's absolutely TLO. And we know that he's obviously very, very eager to get a big win on the board here for Germany. Because if they lose this one, then suddenly it goes to that ace match. And obviously things get a little bit dicey. Do you send out Showtime again after he lost 66% of his last 3 matches against Namchar? Showtime versus curtains closed? I don't know, man. It's dangerous.
Oh, we're really rolling with this one, aren't we? Yeah, it's a little scary, of course. TLO would love this to be a kind of pivotal point to his introduction into the German team. Obviously, he's already on it, but to get a win here, to close out a series would feel quite good to be your first win of the tournament. And ZVZ is, I guess, a solid enough start. I feel like it was so good versus sort of, even if that was against a cheese. He did have the victory in sight, and then he said, he's just kind of went to autopilot. So hopefully he's fixed whatever has been on his mind to do that. And
where are the Banes morphing of Namchar? Can we take a look at that real quick? Because I didn't see. Okay, just very defensively on top of his own ramp. Also hiding a couple of Zerglings. So far, obviously, everything is very standard here, as both players doing the exact same thing. But this is also that phase in the game where, you've got a decent economy. So if you decide to open up with like 12 or 14 links here, even if you don't do damage, it not necessarily mean that you're super far behind. And we absolutely know that TLO is one of the Zergs that loves to, try to find an opening and find a cute angle of engagement for a couple of banelings.
Yeah, I did a quick look, and it was the last time these guys played together, best of 5, I think. It was last year. It was basically a year ago, April 2nd. So, and of course, back then TLO did win, but they were both very different players back then as well. TLO was only getting stopped at tournaments because of Neeb, including Austin, I believe. So Namchar also was like always talked about, but never quite on everyone's mind. Now I think he is, but he still has to prove even more, of course. So it's a very different series here, I guess, technically. Best of 1 between these guys.
Yeah, like we said as well, TLO, a little bit of a question mark, right? Since he's been traveling to Canada quite often, has played quite a few games on the American ladder, then stopped, went back to Europe. But we don't really see TLO all the time. You don't see him that often unless a big tournament is happening. He had a rough tournament in Leipzig. Like, he barely squeezed through even like the very first group stage. I think he lost his first series against Blue Cheese and then eventually won the deciders match to even make it as far as he did, and he ended in the round of 32. But it wasn't, in the past he often had a close series against Neeb, and then we were like, well, it's pretty good showing. It's just a shame that you had to go up against Neeb. Leipzig wasn't super convincing out of TLO, and ever since then haven't seen too much else, Got stopped in Challenger by, one hell of a Protoss player.
I wonder who you're talking about. I suppose I did kind of forget about that. Maybe not TLO's highlights tournaments there, but all right, we did have enough time, basically, bot, to really start looking at differences in the builds. They were going both same third base timing, same drone counts. There was maybe a 2 banelings that could have happened, but they were denied by TLO. And then a gold base, I guess, is the difference here. TLO takes the gold, Namchar takes the forward 4th, and goes for a Hydraliston as well, much faster.
I do like this. I mean, this is that little bit of TLO creativity that we always expect. You make those banelings early on to make sure you don't die against something crazy, that you won't get caught off guard. But if you do have those banelings, running 4 banelings into a bunch of roaches is not going to be very useful. If you can squeeze a drop alert to the other side of the map and the banelings somehow connect with like 10 drones, then suddenly you find yourself in a little bit of an advantage, because other than that, there's not too much has happened in this game. How many units have gone down? I think it's like a couple links, right?
Very few.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a drop. That's always fun. And upgrades being even. This drop, unfortunately, is scouted, perhaps TLO.
There isn't much anti-air, though. I mean, even if you scout this drop... what are you going to do about it?
The Hydraliston was finished, but he's not starting any upgrades. They both are getting pretty far in supply on just pure Roach. The banelings do look for the 3rd.
Yeah, I feel like he almost expects roaches to be dropped here, but it's not roaches. These are bane. Okay, good job by Namchar. He does identify that this is potentially a baneling drop. I mean, it's not a bad connection. He's going to go for more, though, as there is a little skirmish in the middle of the map as well. I mean, Namchar did have a drone advantage. This Overlord is going to get sniped. But still, you know, he got a couple drones. It's something.
Concave is fixed by TLO, but I think he just has fewer units, or fewer Ravagers anyways, but now that the Roach buffer for Namchar is gone, the Ravagers did look a little scary.
Yeah, Ravagers are powerful as long as you keep them safe. And with the reinforcements, it actually seems that Namchar, as long as he saves his Ravagers here, is getting a pretty decent fight. And I think he will. Roach speed is nowhere near done for TLO. He's cornered.
I think he just forgot it.
Yeah, I mean, he has +2 missile attacks on the way.
Yeah, I didn't even really notice that. I assumed that it was done along with Namchar's, but that is huge when it comes to microing in a situation like that, basically.
Yep. Was super committed to a fight he really didn't want to commit to.
Yeah, TLO did manage to make the best out of a bad scenario there, and his upgrades are evening up in just a couple seconds. He finally has Ravagers in his own mix, too.
But Namchar is already getting +2, though. A little bit quicker, I guess. Same going to be set for TLO. But can Namchar somehow start this fight? He's got a couple seconds, and he decides not to go through that side blocker and running into that concave cell. TLO still in this one, but Namchar definitely won that first big battle.
It's really difficult for Namchar to, you know, think this is going to work out. The upgrades are even. He was pushing into a concave. TLO was ready to go and is now pouncing on him as the army supply is in favor of our German Zerg.
And obviously fighting this close to the main bases of the German Zerg as well means that the reinforcements are going to arrive quite a bit quicker. The Ravagers have all been sniped. TLO strikes back and gets a pretty convincing victory there. And now Namchar needs to scramble all his reinforcements together to make sure he keeps that fort base alive. Does use that side blocker pretty well. But of course there was an overseer in the air as well. TLO is starting to lose quite a few units though.
Yeah, he's also not dodging some of these corrosive biles, but he is trying to push forward, use his momentum. He's reinforcing a bit quicker. Namchar kind of paused, started +2 Carapace, but with Defender's advantage, it looks like that's going to be okay. Even a couple of Banelings rolling forward.
Oh, very close fight. +2 armor is on the way for Namchar, not for TLO. TLO, of course, you know, he won that fight, but still running to the other side of the map and winning the fight there is a whole different story. It's very close. TLO has a little bit of money in the bank. If he would spend all that money, his army would actually be bigger. And of course, he is mining off that gold base. So technically, you know, he does have a decent advantage. But I think positioning and engagement is going to be a lot more important than that minor advantage you get of the fort base being a gold.
He did have a minor supply block there, but considering that he wanted to be have so much momentum, that is a pretty big momentum stopper. Now, the Hydrogen, as I mentioned before, was finished a while ago. Now he's finally upgrading into it. Now, I guess he feels the threat is over.
I don't understand why Namchar is getting aggressive now. He barely survived. I actually feel like he should just take down his overlords. You really don't want to fight on TLO's side of the map. You've got +2 armor on the way. TLO does not. TLO gladly takes this fight, but he does eat a couple of very big corrosive balls.
He might still be able to push forward, though. Namchar keeps pushing into a defensive setup TLO. If he loses the Roaches, his Ravagers will go down, and that is a big part of his army. Things are trading out evenly so far, and Namchar is ever closer to +2 Carapace.
What a bloodbath.
Yeah.
Piggy just woke up in Australia. He's like, whoo! Bloodbath somewhere around the world. And he knew it was a lot of Roaches as well, because that's what gets Pig truly excited.
TLO has managed to fall behind in that upgrade finally and truly, so that's not going to be something he can repair very quickly. Namchar might not have gotten the gold, but he's been able to support his Roach count enough that now maybe he can start adding in a couple Hydras.
Yeah. And with +2 armor as well, I kind of like this for Namchar. I was very worried for a split second, as I'm quite worried about what's going on our preview monitor as well, or everything else. Like, no, roll up the curtain! The curtain is not closing! The curtain is going up! And this is us on camera, but this game is still going on. Curtain is going up. I hear Roaches dying. For the first time in my life, I am casting a game. It's a pretty close fight. Numbers are even across the board. But I do like this engagement from Namchar, as I just knew he was in a strong defensive position.
Of course, with that upgrade, it looks like it went amazing. TLO is trying to get to a 5th base, but he is lacking on upgrades. He's lacking on tech, as we have Hydras now on the way from Namchar with an appropriate Roach buffer. Their extra DPS will be fantastic.
Yep, still running into this circle, of course, into this concave of TLO is tough. But Namchar feels confident enough with the upgrade advantage that he still has. The Ravages in the back. TLO pulling all the Queens in the mix as well. Trying to get the damage done, but he's losing a lot of Roaches. Can TLO hang in there one more time? It seems like the answer is yes, actually. Pretty damn good hold.
And he does have at least one advantage off the back of this hold, which is the 5th base. So I guess he can transfer his drones, which are also probably running dry from the gold base. But does that make up for Hydras? Does that make up for the 2nd upgrade? TLO is still in trouble.
Yeah, and don't forget that this gold base obviously runs out soon as well, and that makes things very complicated. He is taking a 5th, but that 5th I feel so awkward to defend, right? Because, you know,
if it's scouted.
Yeah, and like, how do you go in there as Namchar? But if you do go in there all the way, then TLO can technically say you'll never get out, and then both armies have a Mexican standoff, because that is a very tough choke point. So we'll see if TLO can actually ever use that base. He's still down in upgrades, and the Hydra count is going up, though.
I kind of like this.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
Well, yeah, he's going to kind of like lose the huge concave. Still has one, however. The Hydra's also kind of in the middle of this army. Could also be pounced upon. They weren't quite protected well enough, but the DPS might be good to make this an even trade, which still would favor Namchar. No, it's not even an even trade. Namchar really starting to skyrocket ahead in supply.
Armor and Hydra's pretty good unit. TLO is forced to tap out. Namchar has no time for any of this as he pushes it to the Deciders match. And none of us kind of saw this coming when Showtime was just rolling these Zergs. It's 3-1. We're sitting down. We're like, yeah, good games, but I think that Germany gets their revenge. And suddenly, things get very interesting here.
It's very close indeed, but the revive has got to be Showtime, right?
We have one map left. What have we not seen yet? Acid Plant? At the top of my mind, I would say that we haven't seen Acid Plant yet.
No, it was Abiogenesis, and then it was Catalyst, and I think that is the correct call, Acid Plant.
Damn, I mean, this was, of course, a painful moment. TLO not having a roach speed, being forced to take this fight forever. Like, even if he has roach speed, then it's so much easier. Roach speed is obviously just not about running away from fights. It's also about getting close to Ravagers. And he had potential there to get on top of those Ravagers, but poor Dario forgot roach speed.
It was forgetting roach speed. There was another fight where he backed off, but he still had maybe some momentum, maybe the one after this, and he didn't have the supply. That was problematic as well. Anytime Namchar pushed in, he did make it a bit harder for himself. He was getting ahead in the macro game, but not that he would know necessarily right here, right now. But eventually that +2 really did pay off. I think it was this fight that he pushed him all the way back and then got supply blocked.
Yeah, he's close, I mean.
It's close. He loses an overload at one point, but regardless of the supply block, his momentum was pretty strong at this point. And it just wasn't quite enough to really deal the damage. It didn't hit the mineral line. It didn't hit the hatchery.
It also felt that TLO ate way more corrosive balls than Namchar did throughout this game. I honestly think that was a pretty big deciding factor in the outcome. And of course, +2 armor is a very big deal. So even when TLO in that final fight had a beautiful concave, was ready to collapse on top of those Hydras, his unit simply died a little bit too fast. As I think we're getting ready for it. This was a very cute little old school tug of war roach ZVZ, wasn't it? It's like, you win, no we win, no you win. It's like,
Usually at one point someone decides not to start +2, which Namchar did, but they also go for like tunneling claws. So they usually have a moment where they're kind of waiting for that to do something to set up the big, multi-pronged punch, but just constant back and forth. And then this fight happened. It looked like it might go okay for TLO with such a huge concave with the Hydras getting dangerously close to being killed, and they just didn't really die. And you can see the bloodbath of the red roaches as they just disappeared in health.
It's not easy. That's why Pig is the greatest.
Yeah, right?
He says it in such a convincing way. Shout out to Mapu, by the way, there. That's a beautiful zoom in the beginning. Maybe could have zoomed in a tiny bit faster, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Good start there to the battle, Mapu. That was beautiful. I'm with you. I'm going to go with Showtime here, but I'm not sure if Showtime is feeling this. He's probably like, damn, like, I really thought that we kind of had this one in the back. I was going up against Namchar again. Now, it's a tough match for Germany all of a sudden.
I feel like if it's not Showtime, if he's like, you know what, Namchar might just have me today, like I'm going to do the right decision and move someone else out, then it might be Hero Marine.
But Acid Plant is not, it's not horrible for TVZ, but I also don't think it's Terran's dream map.
It's not necessarily, but there are some strong pushes. I want to go Showtime, and that's what it is. And see, I feel like Showtime's not the guy that says like, oh, I'm not feeling it today after winning so many games. Just all of a sudden like, Namchar is winning. You won once and
twice,
maybe
twice. Yesterday, today.
Well, I meant today. Yeah, exactly. So
I don't know, man. It's tough. I really did not expect to go here 4 victory. Either way, Sweden really refusing to die. I gotta love the spirit of Nemchar. Nemchar really coming into his own in this tournament as well, though. Like, yeah, like in the beginning, we look at it, it's like all three of them are really good. You've got two Zergs that qualify for GSL Code S, and then you have a strong European Zerg. The strong European Zerg is really getting the work done here.
Yes. I wish there was a way they could have played 5 games, though. This could be a real best of 5.
Maybe it is going to be a best of 5. Maybe it's a 3-1 victory. Curtains closed.
But I mean,
no
okay,
time for this nonsense.
You would be right there, I suppose. It'd still be if it's 3-1, then fine, so be it. But we are going to find out who advances on, as this is the decider match. You know, whoever loses is just out. No chance to play tomorrow, no chance to play in Paris. And of course, they won't be a part of that fun group draw that's happening right after.
You know, you guys want to hear a funny backstage story about the group drawing? So normally they use these cute little balls, right? The see-through balls for, you know, the drawings, and like you always see at all the other sport events as well. But O Gaming didn't have nice see-through balls. They actually didn't have anything. So what they did is they bought a bunch of Kinder Surprises for us. They gave us a bunch of chocolates and said we need the yellow egg back. So they've been feeding us Kinder Surprise eggs to make sure that the group drawing can actually happen.
Yep.
Unbelievable. And they've been spraying it black, but if you see through it, you'll see a little bit of yellow.
Pretty sure almost everyone saw through that, okay? Yeah. I took a picture when they were all getting set up, and everyone was like, so who ate all the Kinder eggs?
Oh, really?
So, yeah, people were right on top of it.
I thought I spilled the beans here.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I didn't really say anything. I just said, like, shh, I think was my response. But
I had a couple. It was actually pretty good. I mean, if that's the problems, if that's what I have to do to save esports, eat a bunch of chocolate, you know what? I'll do it.
I had one. And I guess a lot of people think America still has them banned, or like Americans never had them. It's kind of silly, but no, I've had them. But I had one, and it had the lamest toy inside, and I just didn't want another one after that. Everyone else got something kind of cool, but I got a thing that goes in your finger, and it's like a butterfly. It's like
I had a little Joker. It was pretty cool.
Some other people got the DC stuff. Yeah. Why did I get the one I got?
I'm just gonna say on broadcast that I had one as well. I didn't have one, guys.
11.
Yeah. I had one, but with a number behind it. Something along those lines. Alrighty, guys, here we go. Deciders time for Sweden versus Germany. The map is going to be asset plant between the two star players of these two respective nations. So we have loaded in. And we're looking at the main base of the man who has to almost do it all by himself. Can he do it one more time? It's showtime.
In the top left, as the blue Zerg for Sweden, he is Namshar.
I'm pumped. Same spawning positions as when Namchar got the job done last time. This would be one hell of a story, though. That if Namchar, out of nowhere, after in his entire career being 19-0, down, obviously 0-19 against Showtime, would now win 3 out of 4 matches to send Sweden into the playoffs. I mean, come on, that's a story.
I would count that as the best of. I would say that that's absolutely a story. It's not just that he won one game and his other teammates had to really pull through for him against Showtime. It's that he really is pulling himself against the star player of Germany and might just be able to knock Germany out to be the next ones to advance. And no one really pinned Sweden as the ones to advance out of this group.
Nope. They were the underdogs. A lot of people were thinking Netherlands, Germany, and USA, of course, always have a good shot as well with Neep. And Sweden, yeah, they're not easy, but they're not going to make it out. Well, right now they are one map away from potentially making it out. And what do both players have in store for us? Super excited, man. This must be weird for Showtime to suddenly play such a high-pressure game after you think you're almost there. I think the finish line was in sight for Germany. And suddenly, we're looking at a deciders match.
Yeah, but Showtime has been under these pressure situations before, and it's almost always pulled through. I'm going to go something a little more interesting here.
Proxy Stargate, perhaps?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I was going to just, right before this, I was going to say they usually both play some pretty standard games. I mean, a Proxy Stargate doesn't make it, like, really that necessarily unstandard, weird, I guess would be the other word, but that's what it's going to be.
You cut a couple seconds off, and that can make the difference between that Oracle getting 1 kill like he got in the previous game, or getting potentially 4 and 5 kills. Because Nemchar or his Sport Crawlers is sometimes a tiny bit late. Like the one on Neon Violet Square was a little late, and that's why I ended up losing 4 drones immediately. So maybe Showtime feels that even though this doesn't change much, it changes a couple seconds, and on this level a couple seconds can be the difference between getting 1 drone or perhaps 5 or 6 drones.
Yeah.
And that would obviously put Showtime in the position that he wants to be.
If there are extra queens, they usually go down to that natural, expecting the Spore Crawler, well-timed anyways, to be in the main, and the queens of the natural. But of course, if it's a little bit earlier, Spore Crawler isn't done, queens have still been moved to the natural, well then maybe the main drone line is entirely open. But sometimes, and it's really disappointing for Protoss players, sometimes there's 2 there anyways, one just pops out, or you know, it's in perfect positioning or something along those lines, and the Oracle really doesn't do as much as they were hoping. So it's can definitely be hit or miss. You want to, of course, keep the Oracle alive for later revelations too, so you just don't want to give that up, and you necessarily don't want the Stargate to be found either, which I think it's going to take a long time to be found.
Well, I mean, the Spore Crawler is up, but the Oracle is already heading towards the main base. It's at this point just a single queen for Namchar. I think this Oracle is going to have roughly 4 or 5 seconds. It's a very close call, but it may just be enough. Spore Crawler is almost done, and now this Oracle shows up, and that forces all these drones of being pulled immediately. 4 drones go down.
5? Oh, okay, hasn't quite grabbed the last weak one. That's... maybe he shouldn't have pulled away like he did, but oh, there we go.
The adapts show up in the natural as well, and that complicates things quite a bit. Gets 10 drones already. Now, of course, Namcha should look for that Stargate immediately. Because sniping a pylon is nice, you do a little bit of damage. And also, if Namcha is able to take down that Stargate, that means that Showtime can't rush into that mothership like he normally does. That Phoenix, you can potentially prevent the Phoenix from popping as well. Would be a big deal. Oh, instead...
okay. Almost saved that last
Zerglings! Zerglings!
But 14 drones in total is not too shabby, and the Lings will eventually find the Stargate. It will be able to pump out the nope, they're not going to find it.
So indecisive.
I
think he's trying to pick off the probe that is supposed to warp in that Nexus. Instead, he's going to find that probe as more adepts have gone down. This Oracle is relentless. Wow, what a disastrous start so far. Only 34 workers at this point for Namchar. Namchar obviously knows already at this point that this is going to be a very tough game.
Definitely one of the more effective proxies we've seen with the combination of the adepts. It's really quite good. Namchar now throwing down the Hydra stand, but
he has no money for Hydras.
Exactly, it's a much lower economy than he's used to having. I'm thinking to all those times that Showtime has had the Archons and the Zealots run forward, and he barely has enough Hydras. I wonder if that'll be the same situation here for this game. He is trying to delay the third base, and he will successfully do so.
Yep, this is nice. Of course, Namchar keeping those Lings around because he picked off the 2 adepts in the natural, so he knows it would be a little bit harder for Showtime to expand. So at least he's delaying this Protoss expand, but what is he going to do about this Protoss aggression? It still takes a while to make charge, but his first Hydras are on the way of 43 drones. That is an absolutely miserable Zerg economy, especially to make expensive units like Hydras.
I'm quite scared for Namchar. If he holds this, then I think he's got enough time to recover, but it is about, you know, this next push, the next point of harassment. Charge is getting closer to finishing up. He is going to have a good number of Hydras, but yeah, by sacrificing what could have been a lot more drones to make up for the earlier attack.
Even losing an Overlord is painful now.
Yeah, of course, 2 Hydras weren't that scary, but he seems more on the way.
These Lings are trying to pick up maybe a couple of probes that are being transferred, but yeah, not a good start for Namchar. And don't forget, Showtime already warped in a couple of Zealots on the high ground, so this is going to be a lot of Zealots showing up at once as Charge is about to finish up. This Queen is in the middle of nowhere. Namchar is going to have such a tough time. Showtime is still hiding all his Zealots, and those Zealots are about to perhaps be found. Because he wants to like pretend that these are going to be the first Zealots he warps in.
Oh, of course,
and then suddenly it's like, surprise, surprise, Showtime is back. This is more than just a couple Zealots, and I have no idea how Namchar is supposed to hold.
I thought Namchar was going to push forward off of Creep, which would have been quite the disaster, but he does pull it back. Unfortunately, some of his Hydra is just not along here. He's making 2 more, but that's really all the army is what we're looking at here. Lings come from behind. A Queen even from behind does bother the Warp Prism quite a bit.
Yeah, if he gets the Prism, he keeps his dreams alive. Now, he still needs to deal with all these Zealots, and he's losing. But Namchar snipes the Prism. I said I have no idea. Well, that's always one way to stabilize. Getting the Prism is massive. Namchar lives in this game. And now suddenly, the fact that Showtime's third base was quite delayed is starting to weigh heavier and heavier. Showtime could have potentially done so so much more damage there.
I really thought it was also an awkward decision to send like half of his zealots, or quite a few anyways, over to the third base. Like everything was getting kind of far away from each other.
I didn't mind it that much because that makes it so tough for Namchar to micro right all over the place, because the Hydras always need to run, shoot.
That's true, but it kind of like backfired, didn't it? It made it so that Showtime was microing in a lot of different places. He did lose the Warp Prism.
I think like the Prism is just the biggest mistake. I think if he keeps the Prism a little further back, then I think it would have worked out for German Protoss. In a way, I'm kind of happy because this game could have ended there. That was 52 supply of Protoss against 36 supply of Zerg, and lots of Zealots ready to slice up some Hydras. And now suddenly we've got a game on our hands again here for Game 7. Oh man, the epicness is also, they're really lucky here in this O Gaming studio. I think honestly, we should have the finals here in the studio. Cancel the venue, because there is something special about this place. I have no idea how all these groups, like it felt like they came down to the wire. They all had a magical story.
Yeah.
Like even like Raynor winning Group A by himself, obviously a 15-year-old, that's super crazy. Mexico just all killing South Korea, and well, obviously Special did it, but you know the rest was there as mental support. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's been quite a wild ride for this round of 16, and tomorrow starts even closer matches. But this game, it's definitely gone into a lull. They both are recovering here. Showtime did not have a successful attack there. Maybe could have ended the game, yeah. But Namchar needed that after taking just too much damage to the early game attack. So now things are looking a little bit more even.
Yeah, Bailing Speed not done yet. We have these storms. This is the traditional push we see so often, that Ling has got his work cut out for him. But eventually that target will go down. That means no Mothership a little bit later on, so that's nice. But right now Namchar doesn't have to worry about a Mothership. He has to worry about, once again, not dying against this push that we see Classic make all the time as well. The creep spread is absolutely phenomenal, by the way.
Yeah,
that's really going to buy some time for Namchar, which is very nice. He's lacking upgrades, but he will probably get Bailing Speed. If he gets the Prism or he gets the High Templars, then this suddenly becomes Namchar's game to lose.
I guess maybe that's what the tweet was talking about. His creep spread has been really quite amazing in every matchup so far against different styles. So it's going to be quite difficult for Showtime to get the jump on him. Even the very far right side is entirely covered in creep.
I'm lost.
There was the one that said like Charlotte or whatever.
Ah, yeah. Long days. No, that Ling! Its life work was take down that Stargate. And now I'm sure it's like, all right, we're sending the reinforcements. Showtime is rebuilding his Stargate. There you can see that he does want to have it. So the main difference between this game and some of the other games of Showtime is where Showtime normally pushes when he's on 3 bases and gets a later fort. This game, Showtime is like, no, we're going to do things a little different here. We are going to defend that fort base. Maybe scared by all that creep. Very possible. So that means that he's going to rely on a little bit of harassment, while Namchar is going to try to attack Showtime. Now, obviously, attacking a Protoss with stasis wards, shield batteries, maybe a cannon, and defensively postured High Templars is very difficult. But let's see if Namchar can somehow find an opening.
I was going to say that is usually quite the task, but he tries on the right side. Or initially, actually, it's the left side. It was the third base. There we go, coming in from the right side now.
Oh, Banelings. Man, that's a lot of storms, though. Not really connecting with any of those Hydras on the north side. The Banelings coming in from the right side as well. They're going to do a little bit of damage to the probes. I mean, a lot of drones are going down at home because there's probably been a massive warp-in the main base. But does Showtime have enough to deal with all these Hydras? I think the answer is yes.
Yes, it looked a little scary when there just didn't seem to be a lot of Protoss units, but then the Archons came in from the left side. The Storms were never truly touched, and even a couple Sentry Force fields to help out at the end. And Namchar was pretty committed to that. There was nothing back here to help out at his home base. He might just lose the lair. Now, it's going to be close, but it's not going to go down. But I was going to say, even without that Zealot pressure, Namchar committed a lot to doing that.
Yeah.
He's still committing to his upgrades. He's still committing to this lair tech army. And Showtime has already thought about the next step. So as long as he survived, I wondered how Namchar was going to be able to follow up.
Yeah, Namchar needs a miraculous fight. Where I kind of like where that fight was going at first, but imagine if he did have +2. I know that he couldn't really wait for that because that's just way too long to wait. But imagine the Banelings with +2. There's a good chance that they do way more damage whenever they connected. They got close to those High Templars. I like the the possible engagement from all over the place. As Showtime is just in such a strong defensive position. It's like, what do I do in dire times? I channel my inner Hazewoops and I sit back with my entire army, and now we wait. And eventually my opponent will attack me and make a mistake.
That is what's happening here. And if Namshar is going to continue on with this specific army, then eventually Showtime's army will feel confident enough to push out onto all of this creep spread.
The mothership is what really complicates things, right? It has so much HP. That's kind of cute. He just recalled a couple zealots. Look at Showtime. He's showing off. As Banelings are going to try to connect. These are +2 Banelings this time. Can they get into the mineral line? So far the answer is no. Shield batteries are very good, but those Banelings will. So that's obviously very nice. High Templars, High Templars.
Yeah, the High Templars are going over there by their own, but luckily there weren't any more Banelings left over. There's the rest of the army, and that was a lot of probes to take down. That was not so bad, but Showtime is still pretty comfortable on 4 bases.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Warp is going to go down too.
Yep, I mean, that's all very nice, but this mothership, I honestly feel that you need a Viper against it, or maybe Corruptus is not really when you put your supply in. I just think it's very tough to kill Protoss armies with a mothership with just Hydra Bane. Not impossible, especially not on creep if the Banelings get connections that you're looking for. Damn, this is scary though. Look at the top side of the map. Everything belongs to Namchar except for this powerful army.
Yeah, this is... it's like the map versus a Protoss death ball. It is scary. Carrier's now coming into play. I believe Namshar knew about the mothership. He had already built 7 Overseers, so on the production tab. Pretty crazy. Showtime did not bother fully upgrading his ground army. He's going to get +1 ship weapons.
Big stasis there. He's going to trap a lot of those Zerglings, and that's going to keep this base safe for now. Nemcha is denying a 5th base, so that's a risky move. Nemcha does Archons.
Oh, that's a lot of storms. He was also going to go up the ramp against. The Banelings are not going to get connections with the Archons protecting them, and that was a smart pullback. He's going to take out the Archons.
Banelings very close to the High Templars. Will take down a couple of them. Not bad at all. Nemcha is playing a good game, but he's still trailing in this game. He needs more than what he's getting so far, but I do like the way he's playing. Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh.
Take everything back.
2 storms instantly make the Hydra army disappear, and a couple of Zealots going to kill the rest of those. Namshar was just kind of stuck on this tech that really needed to take some very smart engagements, and I'm not sure that was a smart one to stick around for.
Yeah, a little bit too long. He connected with a couple of the High Templars, but in the end, now Lynx will come in from every angle. A couple of Archons will get picked off as they are not getting too close to these Hydras, but now Banelings rolling forward as well. They do connect with a few High Templars, but I think in the end, Die Mauer, Showtime is going to do it here for Deutschland with this very, very powerful Protoss army, as there simply isn't an answer against all these Immortals, the Mothership and the Archons.
I don't think there is. Showtime even maybe dancing a little bit
That's
here.
so not like Showtime.
No, not necessarily.
I have never seen Showtime dance. You can send him to a nightclub in New York and this man will not dance.
The Nation War spirit perhaps is getting to him. He was lacking a couple of storms, but it seems like reinforcing High Templars might die.
Well, that's a nice pickoff, but...
All right, then.
Yeah, this army still doesn't lie off Showtime. As the last few Bane is going to try to crash in. Namchar played absolutely fantastic in Nation War Season 5. Unfortunately for him, it will not be enough. GG! Germany will advance to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, Namshar being such a fantastic guy gives us the long, just...
Sweetheart.
Yeah, sweetheart message. Good luck, have fun. GG.
He's an absolute babe.
He is, yeah. So very nicely played. He's not able to quite take it for Sweden, but man, he really had quite the good showing. Finally showing that he is not just someone who loses to series against Showtime, but someone that can really realistically take him on.
I honestly think it says a lot that you have a all-Swedish team with 2 Zergs that qualify for GSL Code S, and the star player is Namchar. Like, that just shows that he did really well, that the competition is fierce in this tournament too, and he played fantastic.
Yes, indeed. Namshar here was so close to close this game, but Showtime wins this. And we have some replays now.
Pretty crazy as well how Showtime literally built his Stargate inside of his main for like 17 PVZs in a row. And then the decider, Game 7, playoff qualification on the line. He proxies it and 19 drones. It's insane.
Here's that moment where the Warp Prism was sniped. It wasn't just the Zealots off to the right side. The back attack had drawn a lot of the Zealots back instead of forward, and then the Warp Prism, was picked off. So that was a pretty big stopper to Showtime's momentum. Namshar had a good opportunity here, but this fight just lasted forever, it felt like. Got so close, but never really quite reaching all those High Templars in the back.
It's funny, because it felt like the entire Protoss army was pinned back, and then suddenly 7 Archons show up. Because maybe he should have tried to get the Nexus there with the Hydras, you know, to just get something. He did a lot of damage on this Nexus, and the army was still kind of bottled up there in the left bottom side. I mean, It was always very hard, but I think with this playstyle, especially if you stay on layer, you need to do severe economic damage. And this is big, but obviously sniping the fort base would have been a lot bigger.
Yeah, and perhaps if those upgrades had been faster, he also would have had the fight go off better. Maybe he would have gone for Overlord drops earlier too, as I do see he was getting Overlord speed now, but that's obviously too late, as this was the killing blow. He had already lost the majority of his army with little bank to replace it.
Still a really good performance, I think, by the Swedish team overall. It was a lot of fun to see them participate, but I'm happy for my Eastern neighbors that they advance as well, so we can actually take care of them in the semi-finals or the finals.
Yeah, but it was expected overall. It was very, very close.
Yeah.
Now we'll have the interview with the winners if they're here. So Germany takes the last spot into the round of 8. Congratulations, boys! Can you hear? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, Hero Marine is freezing. Is freezed.
Yeah, I think he's trying to change his webcam.
Yeah, it's like wrong webcam.
There we go.
Yeah, nice.
This is better.
Yes, congratulations. So Showtime, tell us how you feel right now.
Mostly relieved, I would say. Was kind of playing shaky games, I think. Not the best performance overall, but I made it, so I'm obviously kind of happy.
So during this game, in any moment, did you think that you were losing this?
The last one?
Yeah.
Yeah, after I lost the Prism, I was like, God damn it. Because losing Prism with these pushes is really bad, because you lose like even if the push doesn't do much, you still have the potential to drop the Archons and stuff like this. But yeah, after I lost the Prism, I wasn't too happy.
And Cielo and Hiroman, you were obviously watching this last game, I guess. How did you feel during this game? It was so close and stressful, maybe?
Yeah, it was pretty scary to see the creep spread of Namshar. That was actually excellent. And when Showtime was being attacked on his 4th, I thought it was potentially being game, but his defense was just completely perfect. He could have lost way more there, so good job.
Anything to add, Hero Marine?
Not really. After the first Oracle and the second Oracle, eventually too, the game was pretty much not over, but he had a lead. Then he kind of missed his opportunity, losing that War Prison, and that made the game kind of close, but because of the tech advantage, I was pretty confident he was going to win that game.
Yeah. All right, so I've got a couple questions for all of you guys. First of all, congratulations for advancing, keeping that potential Netherlands-Germany matchup down the right. It has to happen, guys, you know it. Showtime, first question for you. It's like 12, 14 PVZs in a row. We see the Stargate in your main base, and then that final game when everything's on the line, you decide to proxy it. What made you come to that decision?
Mostly because Namshar, he never sent his Overlord in right away. He always kept it either at the natural or ready for Overlord speed. So I knew if I proxy this target, he's like no real way of knowing it's proxied. So that was the main reason.
I see. And we didn't do a winners interview, right, with Germany after their first match today. So this is also the first time. Big Gabe, I want to talk to you a little bit about the game of the previous series, because you had a pretty amazing game against Neep in Germany versus USA. Like when the Dark Templar showed up, obviously you weren't totally ready for it. You took a lot of damage, and you still turned that one around. So tell us how you experienced that game and how did you feel afterwards?
At the beginning of the game, I knew what he was going to do. I thought it was something else and not Dark Templars necessarily, but I knew he had 2 build orders that he likes to use. Unfortunately for me, he chooses to do the build that I didn't really predict it. He didn't scout and went like blind Dark Templars even, and I lost the Reaper because of bad control, and therefore he could have he was able to proxy the pylon. So that made the game kind of awkward. But I managed to recover a little bit. For example, the Dark Templars died, so I didn't like literally die, which is good, because I had the army advantage. I could just recover by doing some harassment and eventually the timing push that led me to the win.
The harassment
worked out because it worked out because he didn't get Blink, I think, and too many mortars. If he had gotten Blink and Gateway units, it would have been, I think, pretty hard to pull off.
Yeah, I think the attack and the execution of the final attack was beautiful, but I honestly think the harassment is what it set it all up for you, right? Like the Liberator, the scouting with the medevac, seeing where the units are, and then getting the probes in the third base. I honestly thought it was a very cool game. Dario, of course, congratulations as well for advancing, but I'm sure you feel a little bit bitter about it. You did have a very close game against Nemchar. It seemed like road speed was very late. Talk to us. What happened on Eastwatch?
Well, basically just that. I didn't start road speed even though I thought I did. I think if I have road speed and don't use that big pocket of units, I think I can just run away with the game having the gold base and not having to have as many drones. And it was still really close when I pushed out to his fourth one time. I got very close to just killing him. If I have a few more roads, it works out. But yeah, I'm very disappointed, of course, by my performance. And I'm sorry that I kind of let the team down. But luckily, I got carried by Showtime and Hero Marine.
So Hero Marine, for this match, you started things off with a bang against Sort of. That was a very interesting game on Abiogenesis. Like, can you just explain like that build, and did it go according to plan, or did you kind of have to like roll with it?
Yeah, it went according to the plan since he all-in me. That's what I expected on Abiogenesis. But the start was kind of weird since he just went into a triple hatch without scouting. I made like the high ground CC and he didn't even react to it. And then the two cyclone push didn't do as much as I thought it would too, because he played so greedily in the beginning. Therefore, I think I was a little behind. If he had a sport crawler there defending against the bench, it would have not worked out as well. But since I expected a Roach Ravager all in, yeah, I think it was a perfect build to choose.
Yeah, it ended up being quite perfect. And the second game was against Namtron on Catalyst. Like, it seemed to be a fine enough game, maybe even like some really good harassment with the Cyclones again. Can you explain like how you think you lost it, and also is the Cyclone opener is just strong now versus TVZ?
I don't necessarily think it's strong. I just choose to play mech today. However, losing the first Reaper tipped me off too much in the beginning. I wanted to do something else, but then I had to rely on the Reaper for that build, and since I lost the Reaper, I had to improvise a little bit. And I didn't realize that I was in a good position and didn't capitalize on it as well.
All right, I have one more question for you, Gabe. Now, obviously, I'm sure Hajim will ask you guys as well. You've got 3 potential opponents. You guys can potentially go up against Finland, Mexico, but there's also potential of going up against Italy. Now, will there be a conflict of interest when Big Gabe turns into Gabriello and suddenly decides to represent Italy here?
First off, it's Gabriele in Italian. And not really. I mean, IM was a tournament organized by GSL, and this is another organization, O Gaming and Blizzard.
It was a joke.
So,
it was a joke.
I don't really care about the opponent. And in this event, I played for Germany, and that's it.
All right, all right.
Really
I'm happy
care for Italy in this event, at least.
I'm happy to hear. Well, congratulations, guys.
Okay, well, congratulations so much for your qualification. And I'd like to hear your predictions for the top 4 this season. Should I remind you that 8 nations qualified so far, or is it okay? Showtime?
I think I know, kind of. Like I would say South Korea, Germany, of course. Netherlands, unless they face South Korea, I think they have a good chance. And 4th country, maybe Finland.
King Sarol. Okay, and when regarding your team, the German lineup, how far you could go this season? Could you be the winner of this season? Maybe.
I think South Korea is pretty tough to beat. Like, we faced them last year in the round of 4, and Innovation all killed us. And he's on the team again, so I don't know. But I think we can make top 4 for sure, and then just depends on the opponent, I would say.
Okay. TLO or Hiroman, do you want to add something to this?
Well, yeah, I think pretty much the same as Tobias. Let's first get to the top 4, right? And then it's quite a few days until Nation Wars in Paris, so it's always hard to know how people are going to play 2 weeks from now, right? So I think the Korean team is a little bit weaker than last time, actually. And Innovation is maybe a little bit weaker than the last year, but it's still going to be very tough to beat them or to beat Serral, I think.
Okay, so maybe Hero Marin, can you give some last words for your fans around the world? You can speak in German if you want to. Or in Italian.
Or Italian.
What does Italy have to do with it? Ja, okay. Alright, then we'll start then. Dankeschön an alle, die heute zugeschaut haben. Ich hoffe, die Games haben euch gefallen. Lief nicht ganz so wie erwartet. Wir haben zwar erwartet, weiterzukommen, aber ich denke, wir alle haben ein bisschen mehr erhofft. Wir werden dran arbeiten und im Viertelfinale dann versuchen, die Matches noch ein bisschen mehr Selbstbewusstsein zu spielen und diese dort dann auch zu gewinnen.
Alright.
Okay, thank you. Anything to add? Cello, showtime? Okay.
Not really.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Congratulations, and see you tomorrow or Sunday for your round of 8.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See you.
See ya.
Liebe Grüßen.
So now we have our 8th nation, and as Rochi said, I think this edition is so crazy. Like, we had really fun games, and we have really crazy scenario like Rena for Italy, etc. And all of this couldn't be possible without our partners. So we have Omen by HP, Matcherino, and of course Blizzard Entertainment. So we talked a lot about Matcherino. So it's matcherino.com/NW5, and actually you can participate for free. You just have to create an account with Twitter, and if you follow Matcherino, you can participate into giving in the crowdfunding for the prize pool. So check it out on the site.
Wow, cool.
Absolutely. And it's not over actually for today, because what's coming up after the break?
The group drawing.
It's gonna be really exciting. So should I remind the 8 nations just to be sure? So the 4...
Get them excited, Hajin. Get them excited.
Okay, so the 4 nations in Seed 1, we have Italy, Mexico, Finland, and Netherlands. And in Seed 2, we have Norway, Korea, Brazil, and Germany, who just qualified.
I'm excited. Obviously, I'm very curious to see who Netherlands faces. Korea is obviously the scariest on paper, I think, against everybody else. I honestly believe that the Netherlands will be fine. So yeah, let's bring it on.
I guess I gotta choose a new country to cheer for, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The Dutch are very
Sorry,
loving,
man.
Jess.
I gotta go to my default. South Korea.
Yeah, go Korea, go Korea. Okay, well, we are getting everything prepared for the group drawing, so stay with us. It's going to take 5 minutes. So go on, Matcherino, do this thing, and see you after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back, and it's time for the group drawing for the round of 8 in Nation War Season 5, and I'm here with Iromi, who is the director of this tournament, and Funka, of course.
Yeah, I will try to explain as much as I can what's happening here in this round of 8 draw. Obviously, it's a really important one because the teams that will make it into the next stage, they will qualify to Paris. So obviously, those matchups are really important. Hey, Romy, I know you like to see pain in the eyes of the guys that will be playing. So who do you think is going to land on Korea here?
I hope Netherlands.
I hope Netherlands. Okay, now you heard it. Roddy is actually already crying in the backstage. So let me explain how this is going to work. This is the seed ones. This ball here as the 4 teams that finished first in the group stage. Those are basically the teams that finished second. The only rule there is that you cannot face a team that you had in your group before the finals, right? Everything else is random, but you cannot face a team, whether in quarterfinals or in semifinals, that we were in group with. So first of all, we will draw the 4 teams that finished first, and we'll place them in the bracket. Iromi, you want to do the honors and start? So this team is going to be at the top of the bracket.
And it's gonna be Mexico.
Mexico takes top end of the bracket. So that's the other team that will be in the same side. So just wait a second as we can show it to the stream. And we'll draw the team that will be placed right after that. We can go now as we have a third
people can see you. That's the second team.
And
take place.
It's gonna be the Netherlands or France? Netherlands.
No, it's not France. We lost in the round of 32. So the Netherlands would be in the same side of the bracket as Mexico. So that's a potential round of 4 between Mexico and Netherlands. And now we'll place the other teams. Italy will be at the top of the bottom side of the brackets,
And
if I may say.
And of course, the fourth nation is Finland.
And we have Finland.
So now it's going to be fun.
Okay, now it's a little bit more difficult. As we draw the first team, if this is, for instance, at the top of the bracket, if we draw South Korea, can't be in the top. Well, actually, South Korea just can't be in the top.
Yes.
Okay. So that's good for Netherlands. Roddy is already woo-hoo. So let's see, which is the first team that you're gonna draw?
And it's Brazil.
Okay, and this is an actual matchup, so it's going to be Mexico versus Brazil. This can work. So first round of 8 match is Mexico versus Brazil. Interesting. A battle of the South and Central America. I like it.
So
no, which one is this one?
And it's Norway.
This work as well? This work as well. Netherlands versus Norway. Is that better, Roddy? Is that really better? Oh my God. And now we have to draw the last 2 nations.
It's going to be Finland against Korea.
Or Italy. I want to see Sue against Rainer. And it's South Korea.
Italy versus South Korea in the round of 8. And the last matchup.
So this is the last nation who just qualified, and it's
Finland
Germany.
versus Germany to finish off the bracket. Ooh. All right. I like it. I think the bottom side of the bracket is kind of tough. What do you guys think?
The top one too.
You like the top one better?
Yes.
Which one is the best matchup in your opinion?
I would say Finland against Germany.
Finland, Germany. Yes. What about you, Ajin?
Italy, South Korea.
Italy, South Korea.
I want to see Rainer going up against MMA, the legend, Sue, one of the best Zerg, and of course, innovation.
What happens if Italy all kills South Korea as they did against France?
I will cheer for Rainer till the end.
Okay,
yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah,
A fangirl nonetheless. So here you have it. It's the round of 8 matchup. Only one round to win to qualify to Paris on the 22nd of April. Mexico versus Brazil, Netherlands versus Norway, Italy versus South Korea, and to finish things off, Finland versus Germany. Here it is. Yeah. That's the group draw for Nation Wars 5, guys.
Are you excited?
Yes, quite a bit.
Of course. That's the excited voice of Aerobi for you guys, if you guys don't know.
Can you imagine in 2 days we will know the 4 nations coming to Paris to play the semifinals and the finals at the PAX for the first time ever, huge stage. So, wow, it's going to be awesome.
Yes. It will be awesome. And you know what? It's going to be quite close, actually, those quarterfinals. We will be playing those tomorrow and the day after, right?
Exactly. So I hope you really enjoy this round of 16. There are only 8 nations left, and it goes on tomorrow on 7 p.m. on the same channel. So be here. I see you tomorrow.
See you guys.
See you.
Il nous reste du coup. Ah, il nous reste que 3 matchs en main. Marosso, ouais, mais Marosso et Innovation Rogue.
Oui, ça c'est beau. Bonsoir, de retour avec Ibré sur cette GSL Super Tournament, les amis. On va attaquer le deuxième match de la soirée, Trust contre contre Trust, du Zerg contre Protoss, avec un homme taquin pour la personne.
C'est ça, pour un petit point sur les matchs qui nous restent, parce que voilà, on est sur replay, on fait un peu les matchs dans l'ordre qui nous arrange, c'est l'avantage de travailler un peu en différé. Du coup, oui, il y a un Marosso et c'est le prochain match. Voilà, Marosso de vos joueurs favoris, de nos joueurs favoris. Donc, j'ai oublié de prendre ton pari d'ailleurs sur le fait que Stroll ait gagné une GSL.
J'avais dit au début de l'année que Stroll allait gagner une GSL, mais en vrai, vu son état de forme de ce début d'année, mec, je me ramise un peu.
Mais c'est ça.
Je trouve ça moins bon.
J'ai oublié de prendre un pari avec toi à ce sujet, c'est ce que je veux dire.
Ah oui, à l'époque de me voler mes sous.
Voilà, tes
sous. J'y croyais.
C'est ça.
Ah là, je ne remettrai pas ma main coupée que Sou il gagne quoi que ce soit.
Ah non, tu ne miserais pas tes sous sur Sou.
Exactement. Oh. En ta C2, bien sûr.
Alors.
Pour ton sub. Merci à toi, poulet. Vous voyez que j'ai un bouton.
Ouais.
Pendant la journée.
Je pense qu'il va falloir faire quelque chose ici.
Ah bah attends.
Mais du coup,
je sais que ce soit pas là le 22.
On voit les résultats de Trou qui vient voler l'argent de ses confrères. Après,
il fait des demi-finales.
Une année de
il a fait 100 000.
Ouais. C'est le moment où tu dis que Trou, du coup, reste un joueur qui pèse un peu dans la scène foraine.
J'ai pas suivi à ce point-là le double. C'est pas possible. J'étais sur place en plus, Valencia, j'y étais. Bon, c'est Montréal-Austin, non. Le mec, il a fait. Oh.
Mais du coup, il s'est qualifié.
Ouais, et puis il s'appelle Tessou. C'est quand même drôle.
Et il s'était qualifié également en GSL.
Ouais, mais finalement, il a.
C'est ça, mais en battant notamment Hero dans le business, donc des bonnes perfs ici qu'on retrouve ces derniers temps. Et face à lui, Trust, pour qui on se qualifie de temps en temps en GSL.
C'est plus pauvre, hein, on va dire clairement. Dans son parcours WCS, GSL.
La conscience est pas au top.
Bah là en plus, il va affronter du sale.
Ah bah là c'est le moment d'oublier tout ce que tu as appris et d'étendre l'univers du possible dans ton cerveau.
C'est ça.
Tout est possible. Alors moi j'espère que Trou va nous faire ça spécial, parce qu'en ce moment le BO macro PVZ de Trou consiste à faire double hatch avant la pole, avec la deuxième, enfin la hatch numéro 3 chez le Protoss. Hatch numéro 2 sur ta naturale, hatch numéro 3 sur la naturale du Protoss,
et
puis une poule
ouais.
Et un gaz tranquillement.
Si, alors on va avoir le débrief un petit peu des cartes à venir. Catalyseur, Neon Violet, Eastwatch, Acid Plant et Blackpink. On a Veto logiquement Darkness Sanctuary, le premier à avoir le vote en général, Veto en premier, Darkness direct.
Bah, le problème c'est qu'elle n'est pas jouée en ladder et qu'aujourd'hui la majorité de ces joueurs doivent spammer en ladder. Ici on est sur le match numéro 3630 et là c'est une des vraies échelles de StarCraft 2 je trouve ce genre de stats. 3630 matchs en GSL sur les 8 dernières années, c'est juste abusé.
Ouais, non, c'est clair, ça fait tellement de matchs mec.
Ça fait, imagine le nombre d'heures de cast qui a été fait.
Par Testless et Artosis, en tout cas en anglais. Mais même nous, hein, on a commencé à caster la GSL il y a 3 ans à peu près là.
Par contre j'ai un problème là. Tu vois la taille de la coupe?
Ouais.
Faut pas que Marou gagne hein.
Il y en a beaucoup qui vont pas réussir à la soulever.
Ah ouais non, là...
Là il y en a beaucoup qui vont bloquer au moment de la soulever je pense.
Bah...
Ils sont pas en mesure d'assumer
Après tu me dis
le poids de l'engin.
Que Dark soulève des poids, il a soulevé le live aussi, il a soulevé la daronne et la grand-mère de live en même temps quand même parce que c'était sale.
Les référents de la salle de sport c'est Dark et Zest en général. C'est sûr que tu retrouves.
Ici, aucun d'entre eux. Par contre, on a quand même un Zerg et un Protoss et en haut à gauche de la map en Zerg bleu du coup pour Psystorm Gaming. Oui, ce joueur est un pro gamer et on va se le remettre parce que ça fait plaisir. Magnifique, laisse trou. Mais on va admirer en mondiovision le fait que ces mecs peuvent faire les mêmes erreurs de merde que vous.
Il va arrêter tous ces drones, c'est ça?
Tu vas voir, c'est
pas le fait gaffe.
Alors je sais pas comment ils avaient. Ou alors j'ai bugué.
Non, on va.
J'ai bugué. Bon, il y a tout reste en bas. Sérieusement?
On était à moins de 18 secondes.
On était à plus de 10 secondes du coup?
Je
suis pas voilà. Magnifique, voilà, l'arrêt des drones.
Exactement, tu veux sélectionner ta hache, faire SD pour lancer un drone et finalement tu appuies sur tes drones et tu fais S qui les stop tous. Mais ce qui est pareil en Terra, c'est un problème que les Protoss ne connaissent pas.
Ouais.
Oh, Red ici, True American Hero, bien sûr, en parlant du joueur coréen vivant aux US.
Ouais, rapide ici qui est une machine à dégainer des mêmes. En gros, c'est un TKL sous stéroïde américain.
Bah, en fait, les kills du même sur la CNSC2, c'est si je devais donner un top 3, ça serait Optimum, Rapid Casting et Liquid Thermique.
Ouais, j'avoue que les deux néerlandais sont très forts.
Les deux néerlandais sont très forts et pour eux, à mon avis, ces trois-là, c'est le top net e-sport. Genre vraiment, je vois personne qui peut les concurrencer.
Non, mais.
Vilo, on voit qu'il y a un même vivant.
Ouais, mais il s'est fait out même.
Mais il s'est fait out même par le groupe.
Ouais, et puis par The Riddler aussi.
Oui, tout à fait aussi.
puisque voilà, les qualifiers WSS ont été fantastiques pour...
ils ont été longs pour nous, ils ont été encore plus longs chez les...
Ouais, ils ont été fantastiques pour tout un tas de raisons différentes ici. Alors je suis tellement déçu par cette opening de trou, voilà, je vois des crostillages, des trucs fun. Et le mec joue normal, please. Ton rôle dans la vie c'est d'être fun, pas de jouer comme ça.
Tiens, regarde d'ailleurs, il y a un petit truc de texture qui me choque un peu là, juste à côté. La limite du creep ici n'est pas clairement définie. Et je veux pas faire chier, hein.
Mais là, ça se voit.
Ouais. Il bouge. Il remue pas beaucoup là.
Après, ça remue pas partout.
Ouais, c'est là sur le côté, sur la bordure, il remue pas. Mais bon, voilà. Je notais bizarre.
Le mec fout la merde. Bien sûr, dès le début.
Bah, TK il est pas en même, mais il produit moins.
Ouais.
En fait, non, TK c'est surtout un amateur de même plus qu'un producteur.
Non, TK c'est pas tant le même que le jeu.
Ouais, c'est plutôt ça, c'est plutôt
le pun.
Le pun chez lui, là.
Ouais, non. Non, le calembour, effectivement, bonne définition de TK. Voilà le troubadour de StarCraft. Qui, des fois, se troubadourise lui-même et se trompe. Se perd dans ces jeux de mots. Mais la plupart du temps, c'est plutôt productif. B3 pour Troupeau, ici. Stargate pour Trust à côté. Alors, ça, vous commencez à avoir l'habitude, pas beaucoup d'innovation du côté de notre joueur. Tandis que notre joueur vert, lui, s'est dit alors, le mec, potentiellement un adepte en face, je vais donc sortir avec mes sols.
C'est ça, exactement. Je vais aller voir. Produire le potentiel de les perdre de manière rapide et efficace. Et il a trouvé la méthode ici. On va trouver sur YouTube notamment certaines méthodes pour devenir millionnaire et lui il nous fait des tutos pour devenir visiter gratuitement.
Bah, c'est important quand même, voilà, la générosité, la donation. Bim, c'est deux Erling avec deux petits frères qui ont pris une croix.
Qui se marave aussi. De la même manière par des coups de sonde.
Alors, LOL, est-ce que tu prends la fight, un premier Erling qui va en pousser, c'est un deuxième. Que fais-tu? Acceptes-tu? Cancelles-tu? En tout cas, t'es bien passé, tu acceptes directement dans la ligne de minerai. Et Trou est en train de prendre ultra cher avant d'avoir pu faire quoi que ce soit dans cette game.
Ouais, pour l'instant, déjà 4 drones de perdu, 4 lignes de perdu aussi. Le 5ème qui va. Ah non, 8 lignes, non, il y a d'autres lignes qui sont mortes. Il y a une Trust qui s'en va comme un prince. Et ce qui est marrant, c'est que Trust, il y a des périodes, tu fais oh, il est chaud Trust quand même. Et après, il tombe face à un vrai joueur. Mais là, en l'occurrence, c'est trop, donc ça devrait faire pour le joueur coréen.
Non, mais c'est sûr que ces derniers temps, on a un peu progressé, je pense, chez Trust et Trou, là, bah, forcément. Ce n'est pas étonnant, par contre, que ce spoiler soit à la bourre, au vu de toute l'action qu'il y a eu des suicides collectifs et réguliers.
C'est fermé, moi j'ai pas vu la date.
Ouais, pas d'adepte.
Mais il y en avait un, la porte était fermée. Ici, les Erling un petit peu ambiancés se sont fait recaler. Les deux vont rentrer chez eux pour eh bien, finir la soirée. Et pendant ce temps, on envoie le tir 2. Et qu'est-ce que c'est de plan quand tu fais un tir 2 sur 32 drone?
Je sais pas, mais si j'étais dans le trou, je me dis que là, clairement, t'es parti en soirée rêve, dégueulasse, et que t'as oublié ta drone pour ces Erling qui n'ont pas l'air de s'amuser dans leur after. Côté Trust, tout va bien. Et côté Trou, je n'ai pas la moindre idée de ce qui se passe. Mais ça, on nous a prévenu tout à l'heure. Hein.
Nous non plus, on n'est pas là, on ne sait pas lire Trou et on n'en a pas la prétention. On préfère regarder et admirer. Parce que.
Mais en fait, soit c'est fort, soit c'est nul, mais dans tous les cas, c'est drôle.
Et c'est hors du commun.
Extraordinaire.
Extraordinaire. Sans commune mesure.
Voilà, pour bien sûr.
Survendre un peu le petit père.
Ah non, être enfin, correct au niveau des mots.
Et magnifier son jeu grâce à la langue française.
C'est ça.
Alors du coup, oh la 5. J'avais combien de drones quand t'es déjà 10, non?
Ouais, 10 drones, Zerling, 2 Overlord, il y a un supply block. Bah du coup, il y a un mec qui joue normal, puis il y en a un autre qui n'a pas d'unité et qui sur 36 drones décide de faire une tenure d'Idaris qui est scouté.
Mec, c'est un carnage.
Oh
là 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 là, un kill. Là, ça c'est le symbole de cette game que Trou, il faut pas qu'il la gagne. Il peut pas, il a pas le droit.
Celle-là, il a pas le droit. Mais sérieusement, Trust, par contre, tu l'as dit, et je trouve que tu as très bien dit, et je dirais que c'est un phénomène récent, il y a des moments où son jeu, je vais pas dire qu'il est godlike, mais il est sacrément fort quand même. Hein. Puis il y a des moments où c'est comme d'habitude, alors...
C'est roule, mais...
c'est sacrément UHC.
Je t'avoue que tout à l'heure, quand j'ai vu sa fiche, j'ai été surpris quand même. Parce que pour moi, il y a mieux que des Euro 32 de la part de Trust.
Attends. Là, il y a une tentative de faire vachement moins bien. Comment tu défends ça? Peut-être ramener les oracles, les deux élotes qui sont en haut, le pylône qui va se faire gratter, les deux oracles qui sont en train de venir accompagnés du phénix De l'autre côté, on morph 2 archons, on a la charge qui a été lancée, peut-être un peu
tardive.
tardive.
Ouais, qui est un petit peu late. Mais elle vient peut-être, c'est peut-être du fait qu'aussi qu'on ait fait 2 oracles souvent en ce moment, maintenant on n'en voit plus qu'un, ce qui accélère notamment le conseil crépusculaire, logiquement parce qu'on limite les dépenses en gaz ici, attention. Oh là là, oh il y a que... Oh, ouais, mais mec, c'est tellement la police.
Alors, est-ce que tu warp pas quand même? Toi, t'as pas envie de warper parce que tes zélotes sont des...
Ils sont des marathoniens sur leur 40e kilomètre.
Ouais, c'est ça, et ils sont clairement pas gagnants.
Ouais. Ils sont plus américains version McDonald's quoi.
Ce qui veut forcément faire un 40e kilomètre très long dans le marathon de Paris. Bon, après, est-ce que tu as vraiment besoin d'autres unités que tes 2 archons? Tu vas migrer un petit peu pour tuer l'intégralité de ce qui sort des œufs.
Semblerait que non. Semblerait que tu n'aies pas besoin. 28 lignes en production pour un truc sur 45 drones. C'est la PLS, c'est la PLS de ouf.
Et tu dis que là, il n'y a plus qu'à warper. J'aime bien ça, le petit... on a déjà commencé de warper d'ailleurs. Trou qui logiquement devrait attaquer avec ses arrêts sans upgrade. Parce qu'il fait que des unités. Tu as raté de respecter. Ah bah Tross lui passe à l'attaque. On a changé de leader. Il y a une queue de cheval.
Et donc c'est un hipster moins performant.
Voilà.
Vegan.
Un putain de hippie. Et tout le monde sait que 50 ans après le Ro.16, les hippies sont des bons à rien.
Oh
ah
ouais, non,
regarde. Lui il a été payé.
Non, mais lui,
par la CIA, au minimum.
Lui, mai 68, il a plutôt donné les positions, les plans de révolte des étudiants. C'était plutôt ce genre de hippie là.
Attention quand même, du coup, parce que...
bien les menottes, mais pas pour... comment
Allô, Coca, attention, dérapage aussi sur
la tronche de trou.
Sur la tronche de trou. On rappelle que le proto, cette arme assez fort sympathique qui s'appelle le recall. Bonne position ici.
En poule les drones.
Non, c'est pas mal.
Son carnage, hein. Ouais, mais mec, il a 22 drones. Alors, il passe pas mal.
Non, c'est pas mal.
Non, arrête. Il a 42 pop. Il est en train de retourner en début de game. Là.
Oui, bah 2 secondes. Moi, je veux voir la kill sur César. 26 et 14, 40 kills. Parce que je voyais qu'il y avait plus de bleu, puis je me suis souvenu qu'il y avait 2 trucs en l'air qui massacraient les unités légères.
Ouais. GG. Allez, GG. Hop. Trust, c'est le moment de faire quitter ton adversaire et de prendre le premier point ici. Winner. G, c'est Super Element 1. Trust, la version Harry Potter coréenne.
C'est ça, et tout a marché pour Trust dans cette première game. Le micro était propre, le macro était propre, et on a brûlé, on a tout simplement slidé sur la gueule de son adversaire, Trou qui s'est fait abuser. Ouais. On va voir comment ça se passe dans les participantes, mais pour l'instant, pour Trou sur le Catalyst, c'est décevant.
C'était pas bon, c'est violent, et pour l'instant, qui n'a pas eu le droit de s'exprimer du tout. Il n'était pas on point sur la défense de ses drones, il semblerait, au moment où il fallait sauvegarder tes récolteurs, il les a laissés se faire trucider.
Moi je trouve que du coup, ce petit incident de début de partie a été un peu à l'image de toute la suite.
Voilà, c'est-à-dire
des unités qui ne faisaient pas ce qu'elles étaient censées faire, qui n'existaient pas, qui n'étaient pas forcément au bon endroit, non compliqué pour tout. Mais voilà, quand tu es un joueur avec un style extrêmement étrange, c'est normal que ça. Bon là pour toi, faut pas que ça arrive 3 fois dans la série.
C'est clair, en fait c'est comme nos regrets un peu, tu vois. Quand tu tombes en lead, quand tes trucs bizarres ils passent, t'as l'air d'un génie. Par contre quand ça fail, t'as l'air du dernier des bolos quoi. C'est-à-dire que tu te retrouves avec 0 unité et 0 drone, et tu te fais victimiser jusqu'à ce que tu quittes. Et c'est la réalité du all-winner, hein, bien entendu. On sera des joueurs comme Az, comme No Regrets.
Ouais, alors Az a souvent l'air marrant. Dans tous les cas.
Dans tous les cas, bah, parce que c'est la force Protoss.
Ouais, c'est la force Protoss.
Tu peux tuer avec des bâtiments, donc c'est drôle, tu vois.
C'est ça. Allez, Trou, en bas à droite de la map.
Ça leur a ça, tuer avec des bâtiments, bien sûr. On n'arrive pas à faire ça chez les autres.
Et en haut, à gauche de la map, Trust. Alors, pour être précis, Ruff avait quand même un BO, gros CRP en tout de CPF.
Ouais, je m'en souviens. Ils faisaient des combos après.
Ouais, non, mais surtout, ils avaient upgrade de défense sur CPF. Sur une base.
C'était vraiment pas fin.
C'est génial.
On va pas avoir fait ça en multi. On nous a fait ça aussi. Ça marchait.
Alors, que veut faire ce drone? Tout le monde espère pour ce drone. Du fun. Des trucs. Je sais pas. Bon, c'est une nage ici. Tout va bien. Ok. Le drone qui s'avance.
Le drone, est-ce qu'il y a un projet cool? Oui, si on s'arrête là, il y a un projet cool. Il y a un projet cool, il vrai.
Qu'est-ce qu'il va faire? Ok, il s'est caché jusqu'au dernier moment. Il arrive, le 300 de migration presque là. Tu sais que t'en as envie. Et voilà, le fun commence.
Bon, alors, Est-ce qu'on l'a... Ouais, en vrai, on l'a nul, non?
Ah non, non, tu la laisses quasiment se finir, ensuite tu fais une chambre d'évolution.
Oui, voilà, c'est ça, c'est pas pour faire des spikes.
Ah oui, non,
les gens s'y tuent, parce que des fois on est là, on se barre, il un peu genre il va faire des spikes, non,
là il va juste côté la B2 de son adversaire.
Ouvrir le temps de pause du Nexus, voilà, forcer le gate cyber Nexus et non le gate Nexus.
C'est le pylône Zerg.
Exactement.
De l'autre côté, voilà, le 3 avant tout, avec Gaspool derrière, c'est incroyable. Alors, la bonne réaction, genre 1 zélote, 4 probes.
Je crois que c'est la 5ème probe qui fait.
La 5ème tu lâches, mais en fait au final le mec la cancel.
Ouais.
Ça change pas grand chose. Et ce qu'il faut surtout c'est être rapide et empêcher la pause de la chambre d'évolution.
Mais je sais pas si le mec fait un perfect en face, si tu peux faire
je pense que tu peux rien faire.
Moi je crois que tu peux pas, si le mec fait le perfect, tu peux pas l'empêcher.
Attention, attention le maximal. Bon après la chambre d'évo c'est un peu plus.
C'est très très court. Ouais.
Et alors là, ensuite tu cours avec ton drone, tu cancel, et tu tentes de poser une hache, raté. Tu tentes de poser une hache, tu vois comme ça.
Ouais,
un truc du bâtard.
Tu croques un coin.
Tu croques un coin, et le highlight est raide.
Mais c'est très très dur à faire, bien entendu, le zélote veille au grain dans ce genre de situation. Ici, regardez, la B1 elle est saturée et le Nexus V2 vient à peine de commencer.
Ah bah,
c'est vraiment relou pour le joueur Protoss.
Qui va nous faire un petit twilling des familles du coup.
Ouais. Un twilling.
Alors, j'ai un doute sur la survie de ce drone.
Pareil, ça me paraît compliqué.
Je vois pas d'extracteur à proximité, du coup il vient de se faire frisbee la gueule.
Allez hop, le deuxième lancé de boomerang qui le terminera. Et pour le moment, eh bien, on va pas poser V3 côté trou pour le moment. Pro rap. Oh,
drop DT.
Ça, ouais, drop DT ou même pire.
Ou Charlotte Zealot Factory.
Ou ouais, Zealot Factory ou même Adept. Hein. Pour faire les glaives, non?
Ouais,
mais je sais que c'est moins.
En théorie, tout est possible, en pratique, il va poser une Dark Shrine.
Ouais, c'est ça, c'est moins commun. En fait, la robot est trop rapide pour qu'il ne volonté de faire une upgrade. Mais bon.
Et c'est ça, et surtout, l'avantage du Drop d'été quand même, c'est que c'est une opening réellement macro, là où Zealot Factory et Adept Player Résonant faut vendre sa vie. Bon, bonne petite micro pour l'instant. Alors là, le problème, c'est qu'il n'y a plus de place pour ce drone, pour faire son bâtiment, mais on va en sauver deux, tuer l'Adept. Bah, ça commence bien mieux pour True, enfin T2, qui est une bonne idée.
Ouais, c'est bien mieux que tout à l'heure, côté True. Bien sûr, ici, qui pose sa B3, qui va...
Voilà, attends.
Quand on est sur un timing agressif, là.
Ne vois-tu pas un petit canal de Nidus potentiel derrière ce Roach Warren taquin?
Il faudrait qu'il y ait une queen dans la B2. Ah, ouais, voilà, ouais, du coup, au moment où je dis ça, les rajouter. Il y a moyen, il y a grave moyen. Ça sera sur 5 queens du coup, le temps que le T2 se termine pour face de ce queen de plus. Ouais, moi je pense que là, il y a moyen que ce soit un gros Nidus Sam.
Alors, il y a pas mal de drones. On va voir si c'est le cas, hein. On n'est pas en train de...
On n'est pas sur 100%, mais
il y a quand même seulement le potentiel, quoi. Qu'est-ce qu'on a vu d'ailleurs avec Retrouvez? Il a vu ça. Attention, la barre de vie plus haute, ce n'est pas un pylône, c'est une Dark Shrine.
Un clic dessus vous permet d'en assurer aussi. Et on ne doute pas que le trou avec son niveau l'a fait.
Ouais, et du coup, ne devrait pas tarder à rester vigilant. Pour vigiler, voilà.
La vigilisation. Ici, on va pas attaquer directement en arpon. On repère un peu loin en fait, hein, pour vouloir agresser direct.
Bon, du coup, je pense que face à un drop d'été, tu peux pas vraiment partir sur Tromedus. Parce que tu peux pas rester avec 0 unité chez toi, tu peux pas micro sur les deux fronts, et si jamais il y a un DT dans une de tes lignes de minerai, il va pas contester. Ça va très très mal se passer pour ton boule.
Attention ici, oh, on y va, ok, pour l'instant ça défend bien.
Il y va comme un bourrin, hein.
Stalker.
Ouais.
C'est pas la pire unité.
Alors ça fait mal au cafard.
Ah,
c'est tout.
Oh, c'est chaud.
Faut micro.
Ah ouais, moi qui a perdu les deux.
Ouais, bah il a perdu les deux d'un coup.
Comment il a perdu sa game aussi?
Lol, ah bah alors là.
Ah, c'est le pire truc, hein.
Il y a une deuxième prise qui arrive en plus.
Ouais, mais il y a un speed rush qui a été lancé, un truc, il a compris. Hein. Alors, je vais faire plus des unités presque maintenant. Je vais traverser la carte.
Il retente, hein. Et là, je suis pas sûr qu'il est mort. Je suis pas sûr qu'il est mort en archon parce que je pense qu'il faut un move qui fasse du dégât.
Allez, le all-in sur la T2, le all-in sur le T2. Mais Trou, il est pas né de la dernière pluie, regarde, il la ramène directement son overseer pour essayer de défendre ici. Il va aller voir CDT et il va pouvoir peut-être défendre sa hatch. Oh, cours.
Ouais, non. On va s'assurer de la survie. Alors, prendre la poule quand le mec a pas de speeding.
Ouais.
Pourquoi pas. En tout cas, ça met la pression. La B3 qui a peut-être été posée à un moment par Trust qui est en PLS sur cette game. On ne va pas vous vendre un Trust.
Il a eu trop
Roi
de
luisant.
en fait. Hein.
Ouais.
Franchement, il pouvait aller sauver. Hein.
Oui, bah en tout cas, il fallait le tenter parce que.
Bah, perdu pour
Perdre tes
perdu.
2 archons ou perdre tes archons est en prison. Alors, Stéphane, ce qui se passe, hein, il va faire 4 archons, il va les mettre au même endroit. Et si jamais Trou a pas assez d'unités,
Ce qui est très possible. Hein.
ça peut être très drôle.
Là, il se dit c'est bon, j'ai défendu, il n'y a plus de bouclier, il va plus m'embêter. Mais en fait, il y a 2 autres archons qui vont débarquer d'ici peu.
Et toute l'armée là en fait.
Ouais, il a vraiment pas compris Trou.
En même temps, comprendre que l'autre.
Il arrive avec ces 6 unités là, ça n'a aucun sens.
Bonjour.
Doigt d'honneur, poup.
Mon armée supply dans ta face.
Oh là là. Ok.
Trou maintenant qui est content d'avoir un speed roll, ça lui permet de venir plus vite, il ne perd pas tant
Oh,
ça.
est-ce que tu veux pas tirer sur les drones là qui se regroupent en dessous là?
La micro par contre de Truss,
Très bien. Ouais.
Est-ce que ça c'est. Alors, il y a un énorme supply d'écart, mais pas tant que ça au niveau des récolteurs. Il y a une B3 qui est la Pocket Expand qui pourra servir quand même. Et surtout, on est sur un mec qui fait des cafards. Et quand il fait pas des cafards, il fait des cafards.
Ouais.
Qui est quand même une unité limitée.
Ouais, une unité limitée par ses capacités. Tel un lycéen arrivant le jour du bac sans avoir révisé. J'ai pas les connaissances.
Ce qui est compliqué quand même.
Je suis bloqué. Je suis pas venu en cours. Attention. Oh là, non, pas moi.
Ouais, on en a déjà donné 2 là. Charlotte qui est lancé, 4 guides de plus, Trou qui décide enfin d'imposer un truc qui ressemble à une transition, savoir un coussin de missile, qui fait des roches, puis des roches, et encore des roches. Ah.
Cafard.
Vous avez dit qu'il faisait des cafards, des coucars à chasse.
C'est le mot en espagnol ça?
Si, c'est bien.
Fais pas le mec. Je parle pas un mot d'espagnol. Même quand t'as dit 6 seigneurs, il a fallu que je réfléchisse. Attention ici, carnage dans la ligne de minerai. Les gros doigts d'honneur qui sont envoyés, qui littéralement massacrent.
Attends, elle n'est pas en train de lui faire l'amour parce que Trou a décidé que les hydraliers c'était pas swag. Et que là.
Ouais, c'est ça, ça avait été que des zélotes à lui peut-être, mais là c'est chaud. Comme j'ai vu ça arriver, je fais 2 voilà, et 2 d'étaient de plus pour faire un archon de plus.
Ouais, alors est-ce que vraiment tu veux te battre maintenant tout de suite? Ensuite, par toi, cours. Cours. Non, c'est pas cool ça.
Ouais, tu te fais un peu attraper. Tu te fais un peu attraper le slip sur les
Alors,
chevilles.
les unités de parrain. Ce qui est cool, c'est qu'on va pouvoir récupérer ce qui valait de l'argent.
Ouais.
Ce qui est moins cool, c'est que Trou, du coup, devrait se sentir libéré, délivré.
Est-ce qu'en vrai, avec tous les archons, tu peux pas presque tout buter avec une bonne micro là?
Je sais pas, est-ce qu'il va le tenter? Il va falloir faire un truc, hein. Parce que l'armée à la maison.
Il y a quand même 51 à 125 quoi.
Pathétique.
De population armée.
Ne suffit pas à résumer. Ah, c'est dommage qu'il continue de gratter en fait avec des armes. Là, il a pas besoin d'attaquer. C'est ça le problème de Trust. C'est il a juste besoin d'harceler un peu. Et de rester au-dessus de ça. Recall.
Ouais. On traverse la carte avec toujours plus d'archons.
Bordel, par contre, il a recall, du coup, il peut plus recall ça.
Bon, il a pas vraiment besoin.
Ouais, je sais pas. Il y a beaucoup là. Est-ce que ça passe?
En fait, tu perds ton rôle, mais pour moi, il n'y a pas assez côté Z.
Alors, il y a 200 pop approach. Hein.
Ouais,
Stéphano sort de ce corps.
Trop bien inspiré.
Faut revenir ici.
Et qui va faire une ligne droite tout droit. En vrai, perdre des 2 gates, c'est relou.
Ouais, tout ce que tu perds, c'est relou. Mais il faut warper, faire des immortels, faire des archons, faire des zélotes, le plus d'armées possible. Un premier force field qui n'est pas oufissime. Et là, il faut micro ta vie. Les ravageurs qui vont être faits désormais.
Là, tu vas cliquer. T'y vas. T'y vas. Hein. Tu le fous le sang. T'y vas. Il y a encore beaucoup sur la carte.
Il y a tout ça sur la carte.
Parce qu'en fait, quand tu auras tout ça, là, pour le coup, tu ne sortiras pas.
On va doubler quasiment la pompe.
En vrai, je suis sûr que Trou il est capable
de
faire une reproche.
Trou, il nous fait 5 overlords quand il y a 200 sur 200. Il est là, je suis super bloc. Non, c'est parti. Du coup, ici, pour Trust, qui doit vendre sa daronne et micro like a boss pour gagner cette fight.
Et pour l'instant, il se débrouille très bien. Il faut les lignes de rouge qui prennent un tarot. Oh non, ça va, il y a beaucoup de nouveaux les archons qui n'ont plus de boucliers. C'est plutôt des changements que des zélotes qu'il y a dans cette armée Protoss ici. Les immos qui se font micro par les prises. C'est pas mal fait pour l'instant. Il a quand même réussi à beaucoup dégraisser. Mais le chiffre est quand même sans appel à la fin. 21 de population armée à 101 Trou qui littéralement applique son adversaire.
Ouais, bah. La touchère, fonctionnelle, opérationnelle, efficace. Ici, pour Trou qui déboîte tout simplement Trust. La défense plus efficace en early game. Il a posé son plan de jeu surtout.
C'est ça, ouais.
Imposer sage de filou.
Il lui a montré comment c'est qu'on fait.
Là, je maintiens, il y aura un problème avec ce trophée.
Bon, en vrai, mec, il est pas très beau comparé à celui de 14.
Ouais, mais quand même.
Rogue a réussi à soulever le trophée de Katowice. Ici, Vasily, 878, merci à toi pour ton resub, ton 9e mois, merci mec, ça fait très très plaisir. Et on va partir sur Wishwatch, enfin une map un petit peu grande où les deux joueurs vont pouvoir parler un peu plus sur le long terme.
Ouais,
bon, après c'est vrai qu'on vient de mener une validate qui est associée plus grand.
C'est ça, mais c'est surtout le spécimen en haut hein, qui pose problème sur le long terme, c'est-à-dire que là, Trou vient de faire ce qu'on appelle communément une macro game, il est monté à 200 pop, super.
C'est ça.
Je pense qu'il y avait 60 drones, 4 queens et le reste en cafard.
Je pense qu'il a une vision assez court-termiste des choses en général, Trou.
Ou alors,
si je coupe mes cheveux plus courts, je mettrais plus, j'irai chez le coiffeur dans plus longtemps. Tu vois, genre de réflexion. Où genre on oublie certains détails et on va au concret quoi.
Ou alors,
si je veux tuer mon adversaire, il faut des unités, donc je vais les produire.
Ouais, ou peut-être, et si je devais survivre à une apocalypse nucléaire, qu'est-ce que je ferais? Des cafards.
Des cafards. Allez, en haut à droite, ici, il est là. Le joueur de la team Psystorm, grand Manitou, grand dieu de la secte menée par Yogo notamment. Il s'agit de Trou.
Alors, est-ce que il ne s'agirait pas d'un moment coréen quand même un peu?
On est sur une forme de moment coréen.
Ouais, avec du skill, du coup, ce qui change pas mal la donne.
Ah, t'es dur quand même.
Non, je rigole, c'était taquin en bas à gauche. Trust.
En vrai, moment.
Moment, moi, jamais je veux le rejouer, mec.
Non, mais mec, moi non plus en fait. Genre, je veux pas le jouer, moment.
Alors, par contre, il y a des trucs fun. Je rigole. Mais non, moment, en fait, tu sais qu'il y a une chance. Déjà, si tu perds, tu vas te faire humilier.
Bah, comme.
Pas.
Tu le disais très bien, il y en a un qui a rien à perdre et l'autre qui a tout à gagner.
Ouais, puis en plus.
Enfin, c'est la même chose. Si la perdre, il y a tout à gagner.
Ouais, mais en plus, tu sais que ça va pas être conventionnel. Hein.
Ah non, clairement, il risque pas de t'amener en rendez-vous pour ensuite te faire des bisous.
Ouais, t'as le
clairement bloquer certaines étapes, passer dans un sens puis dans l'autre, et à la fin tu vas plus parler français.
Tu vois, t'as le crocodile de Kiel, mais t'as aussi l'alligator des égouts de Paris. Hein.
Arrête, j'aurais pu quand même dire, je sais pas, le paresseux armé d'un ukulélé madrilène, tu vois.
Bah, chacun son J'avoue que le paresseux madrilène, ça fait un peu catcheur raté quand même.
Ouais, j'avoue. Ah, ici, Trust qui n'est pas la dernière coup qui va rapidement vérifier la gold. En même temps, sur cette base, c'est standard venant des joueurs comme Trou. La question c'est, qu'est-ce qu'on fait après?
Ouais, je suis déçu, il a pas fait le BO de Dark, qui est un peu le BO le plus fantastique de tout le temps sur cette map en VDT. Et vous prenez la gold adverse, faites un ascenseur pour envoyer des queens et des roches bureaux.
Sauf que maintenant, il faut être T2.
Ouais, c'est trop tard. Ah bah oui, on peut plus le faire. C'est dommage, parce que cette strat là...
Elle n'a pas été faite beaucoup, mais elle avait beaucoup de swag.
Ah, c'était incroyable.
Ouais.
Ok, première adepte qui traverse la map pour Trust. On va voir ce qu'il arrive à générer, puisque sur Catalyst, ça avait commencé avec ce premier adepte. De manière assez incroyable, Trou semble avoir réalisé que faire traverser la map à ces airlings à ce timing-là n'est pas optimal.
Pour le moment, Stargate SG1 même, de la part de Trust. Et un premier Phoenix, bon ça c'est logique, hein. Premier Phoenix, deuxième Oracle.
Alors,
standard de l'Italie.
T'acceptes? Oui, tous les jours, petit micro. Des deux côtés.
Pourquoi tu tapes pas sur ceux qui suivent?
Non, tu les deux, je pense. C'est pas mal fait. C'est pas ouf.
C'est pas ouf, ouais. D'accord.
Et je pense que le sport là peut peut-être permettre de la laisser se finir.
Coca, je fais des peines encore plus que celle de TK.
Alors, j'ai un problème. C'est qui a dit ça?
Un mec dans le chat.
Est-ce qu'il est sub?
Non, il est pas sub, mais c'est parce que j'avoue que la blague Stargate était géante, c'est pas dingue, mais bon, ouais, c'est pas.
Oui, bah, je l'ai pas relevé du coup, mais ça c'était normal.
Ça ponctue quoi, en fait. Alexis,
Gate.
Oh
Gate.
Gate.
Alors,
qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On va faire des chargelottes. Pour moi, je fais basse chargelotte.
Ou alors glaive résonnant, mais un des deux.
De toute façon, il faut tuer avant que le mec ait eu le temps de gagner trop longtemps sur sa gueule.
Ouais, soit tuer, soit partir pour une game de 20 minutes.
Ouais.
Mais les deux options principales ici, arrivée de l'oracle, 4 gates de plus. Charlotte, hein, on n'a pas pris les gaz. Coca, on n'a pas pris de gaz sur la B2.
Il va y avoir un petit chargelotte qui va se lancer dans la barre de prod. Le chrono est jeté comme un gros sac.
Par contre, attends. Ok.
Non, mais il aura le temps de nettoyer. Oh non, c'est les glaives.
Ouais, mais attends, nettoyer. Si tu lui cliques tout le temps avec l'oracle.
Tu lui téléphones
alors,
l'engin, non?
c'est marrant parce que du coup, Trou lui est sortant de droite.
Il fait 20 lignes.
On a deux abrutis qui sont en train de se voler. Enfin, deux joueurs de haut niveau, excusez-moi. Mais là,
Mais c'est surtout venant de trou, ça n'a aucun sens.
Bon, c'est des lignes plus 1.
Ouais. Bon, ok.
Ça va être palpitant.
Ça va être
Ah, je crois qu'il a compris. Alors là, j'espère que tu as compris une partie du problème.
Côté Trust,
ouais,
t'as vu les 14 lignes passer?
Non, non, il est en train de voir le flux. Alors le pire, c'est qu'il peut gagner. Hein. Genre, les adeptes, si on a trop, il n'y a pas de belle linge.
Attention.
Il y a une B3 au cas où.
Ouais, mais c'est
Bah, je dirais l'avantage, c'est la B3 qui te permet de transitionner si tu ne tues pas.
C'est vrai, non, c'est clair.
Tu chronoboostes 3 par 3, le problème c'est que l'attaque elle est inexistante, mais du coup on a 10 adeptes contre 27 ligne. Glaive résonnant contre plus 1, sur qui est ton argent?
Honnêtement, je trouve ça dur. Hein. J'aurais envie de dire les adeptes quand même. Mais en même temps.
Après, les adeptes, il y en a un qui va pas s'attendre. Hein. Alors on va augmenter 18 lignes de plus, le plus 1 n'est pas encore fini. En vrai,
il peut s'en sortir.
Il y a une fenêtre de 13 secondes qui fait extrêmement mal. Trou qui va aller contre la base de son adversaire, je pense. Vous la tuer. Et là, tout va mourir. Develing, en haut de la rampe.
Allez,
on va donc la tuer. Oh. Attention, split.
Il les a ou pas? Je suis pas sûr qu'il les ait. Ouais, ok, il y a la queen en fait qui
a
envie de split d'elle-même un peu. 3 adeptes qui ont été sacrifiés.
Ils sont tous morts.
Ouais,
c'est la S.
Il est en train de se faire massacrer trop. Il est en train de se faire massacrer.
Et il a
tout
son armée du mauvais côté.
Oh. Ok. Alors il a annulé la B3, maintenant il n'y a plus qu'à défendre entre guillemets.
Ouais, mais il faut défendre avec des unités qui survivent. Et le problème c'est que là, la main est en train de se faire nettoyer ici. Il y a toujours ces 2 belles lignes. Regarde ce spread quand même. On n'ira jamais accepter les shades.
Non.
Faut qu'il tue des trucs par contre, Trust dans cette affaire. Il ramène son oracle.
Surtout il rewarp pas quoi.
Ouais. Et pas super bloc particulièrement, du coup il va se faire clean.
Il a 700 mineurs en banque et il fait pas grand chose.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais, Trust?
Il faut faire un choix, mon petit poulet là. Parce que c'est pas ouf là. C'est pas suffisant en fait. Après, alors certes, à 28 probes à 42, enfin à 42 probes à 28 mec. Voilà, il va voir.
Alors, je comprends que tu revois ici, en fait, tu te dis au pire, je rigole.
Ouais.
Genre, j'ai une centrée. On va tenter de poser une base coquine.
Allez, poulet, va falloir enchaîner Trust ici.
Ah, c'est bien fait ça.
Il le voit.
Ouais, mais il en voit que 2. Il est pas au courant que les 2 sont suivis de
25.
Ouais.
Donc, je pense qu'il n'a pas pour projet de refaire des drones trous. Ah, c'est dit ça. Oh, mec, 9. Oh là.
Bah, en fait, il y a que 31 drones, donc c'est compliqué de jouer avec 31 drones.
Est-ce que c'est pas le moment où tu meurs bêtement?
Je pense. Tu spreads tes shades et tu les acceptes.
Attends, il a pas vu les bains. Il a pas vu les bains.
Si.
Ok, au dernier moment. Oh,
ok, il y en a 3 qui ont pris, mais du coup, derrière, il y a l'ajout de l'oracle qui tape, et est-ce que Trou n'est-il pas mort sur cette attaque?
Oh,
il reste pas tant d'attaque que ça. Les lignes sont plus 1, hein, ça fait une différence. Là, par contre, le positionnement est extrêmement abusif.
Ouais, ce positionnement de poule est même dégueulasse, j'ai envie de dire. Et alors.
Bah, ça continue, hein, il y a game.
Bah ouais, il est pas mort, Trou, hein, pour moi. C'est ce plus 1 d'attaque qui le sauve complètement. Hein.
Alors après, il y a un problème de technologie. Mais son adversaire aussi. Disons que les 2 génies sont en train de faire des lignes plus 1 contre des adeptes depuis 20 minutes. Ah, il y en a peut-être un qui va faire autre chose.
Ah, très bien.
On va aller chercher des lignes plus 2, tu vois.
Allez, va falloir y aller en tout cas. Va falloir faire un choix un peu décisif ici côté Trou, côté Trust. Va falloir avancer et puis voilà, prendre cette gold déjà c'est un bon bail. On va repartir sur une game normal.
Ouais, alors. Je mettrai un bémol sur
le. Tu peux mettre du bémol.
Sur le normal, mais effectivement, il y a une game. Ah, une archive des Templiers. Effectivement, la fameuse compo Glaive Résonnant Storm.
Qui fonctionne bien pour tuer des armées.
Ah bah c'est un peu...
C'est un peu le must-have, hein.
Voilà.
Quelques élos.
Fonctionnel. Tu as bien dit. Shotgate toujours pas spotted. Et en vrai, pour tout, heureusement qu'il a fait ce BO, hein, parce que...
Ah, sinon il était mort, avec sa compréhension de boule là. Je pense qu'il était Omega Dead ici. Alors attention à ne pas se faire bloquer sur la rampe quand même, parce qu'il y a des aides qui arrivent derrière. On joue safe côté Trust. On pique pas plus que ça.
D'ailleurs, on joue safe, on rajoute, j'aime bien. La petite chute batterie placée comme un canon à l'ancienne. Ici.
Ouais, j'avoue, avec derrière 2 bâtiments. Mais c'est une batterie chip par contre, c'est pas un canon.
Ouais, comme un canon du coup.
Ah ouais, excuse-moi.
Like a cannon.
Like cannon. Allez, ici, on essaie de voir si on peut gratter de la prop, c'est pas facile, il y a une bonne défense qui est proposée de la part de Trust ici.
Oulala, où j'ai peur parce qu'il y a des forces faibles ici, je suis pas sûr qu'ils repartent ces derniers pour Trou. LOL,
la
la colonie de Bane. Alors, okay. L'arc en plus la chute batterie contre les Bane. Je suis pas sûr. Trou, je suis pas sûr de cette idée.
Il est pas intéressé par le force field. Ok.
Ah bah, il a force field et il a force field tous les bendings contre total l'arc contre esquive.
Ouais, c'était un peu de la merde. Hein.
T'inquiète, Trou, il progresse. Il tech.
Il tech vers un Zergling avec accompagné de bending roulant. Mais en tout cas, on reste toujours dans la même optique côté Trou. Hein. Alors, on rajoute des bâtiments, vraiment.
Non, on a pris une base supplémentaire.
C'est vrai.
Du coup, on a 53 drones avec 2 gaz. C'est fort. En vrai, ce jeu, ne nous dites pas que ce joueur n'est pas fantastique.
Le mec, il pousse tellement le délire plus loin.
C'est ça.
Moi, la mode, ça m'intéresse pas.
Alors, moi, la mode.
Slip sur la tête si c'était légal en fait. La mode l'intéresse pas, tu vois.
La
il
mode.
mettrait son bonnet autour des fesses et son slip sur la tête.
Ouais, j'avoue, c'est ce genre de délire ici pour un peu étrange pour le commun des mortels, mais extrêmement efficace pour le joueur Psystar.
Ah bah pour bind les gens, c'est ce que tu veux faire ici, les profs qui vont se faire de nouveau agresser par des Zerglings, 1 d'attaque toujours, des dégâts augmentés de ces petits Zerglings. Est-ce que tu survis là? En vrai, moi je pense que tu survis un côté trou. Côté, ouais, mec, il y a assez de peine là.
Je sais pas, il y a des forces vides. Spread d'année.
Ah non. Les Bane qui vont rien tuer. Oh, il est passé à côté. Allez hop, on va zigouiller la B1 ici. La population qui est un petit peu sans appel. Trou qui est en train de se prendre un tarot ultime par le joueur. Proto 6-6, c'est chaud. Oh là, non, il n'y a plus rien. Il n'y a plus rien, il n'y a plus rien, on en parle plus. C'est terminé.
Ouais, alors si, non, là moi j'aime bien ça, ça me détend.
Ah ouais, ça me détend. Moi, les adeptes qui font des trucs, ça me crispe un peu toujours.
Ouais, mais les drones qui meurent, ça me plaît.
Ouais.
Du coup, je suis un peu dans un entre-deux, tu vois.
Ouais, t'es un petit peu entre deux. C'est crispant, mais à la fois un peu. Enfin, c'est crispant et excitant.
Exactement, comme plein d'autres choses dans la vie.
Ouais. Ok, bon bah c'est parti, on va continuer le massacre. Hein.
C'est déjà vidé ici. GG. Trou qui s'incline au terme d'une partie.
Rondement monnaie, hein.
Étrange.
Ouais, avec des
incroyable
la carte, peu de drones, et puis au final. Mais bon, après, c'est true style. Hein. C'est comme ça que ça fonctionne quand on est un joueur de la team Seastorm. On aime bien les trucs un peu what the fuck à l'image d'un engineer.
C'est sûr que il y a de l'improbabilité chez Seastorm. Ainsi plante pour notre 4ème map. En cas de victoire de Trou, on ira sur la 5ème et dernière map sur Blackpink, comme vous le voyez ici.
Qui souffle dans sa main, qui réchauffe les doigts parce qu'il va falloir aller vite, là va falloir être meilleur parce qu'il est. Bon, honnêtement, je me souviens plus comment il gagne la première, c'est la deuxième. Ah ouais, sur le Nano Violet, ouais, bon, c'est plus un fail de trust qu'autre chose.
Ouais, ça se passe.
Pour l'instant, il se fait un peu découper quand même trop.
C'est ça, bah, il a appuyé sur les. Mais ouais, on va voir comment ça se passe pour.
Schwarzenegger. Il va falloir revenir.
Je pense vraiment que déjà le début d'une bonne game successful pour Trou, ça passerait peut-être par une capacité non négligeable à emmerder son adversaire avec son proxy H. Et on est parti ici. En haut à gauche de la carte pour un team Seastorm Gaming. Trou.
Quelqu'un dans le chat qui dit, Etienne qui dit déçu, toujours pas de storm, oui, il n'y a pas besoin. Pour buter Trou, on peut aller bien avant, il suffit de survivre à la cochonnerie, et puis après on le tue sans les storms ici en bas à droite. C'est le joueur Protoss, le ancien joueur STF, si je ne me trompe pas.
Katie.
Katie qui était sub Katie.
Trust. Enfin, sub du sub quoi.
Ouais.
À peu près le rôle que TKL aurait dans une équipe au gaming. Bien sûr.
Bah, en fait, qu'on aurait tous, hein, parce qu'on va recruter un joueur pro et puis derrière on sera tous des vieux subs dégueulasses. Il y a peut-être Yogo.
C'est ça. Non, il y a Yogo, je pense qu'ensuite il y a.
Mais Ponf en rôle de coach.
Voilà, qui a des capacités de
management.
De cuisine.
Ah, de cuisine. Ah, bah, t'es quel?
Je rappelle.
Chocolaterie, hein.
Effectivement. 2 gates pour Trust.
Ouais, suffisamment rare pour être noté ici. En prévision peut-être de ce drone dégueulasse qui vient poser des trucs, non, c'est pour rouler plus vite.
Ouais, j'en sais rien.
Non, il y a une volonté de faire de ta détrape.
Ouais, j'aime bien la rally point, tu vois.
Ouais.
Qui indique à
peu près. Voilà.
Évocateur.
Sur le point rouge du début de partie, genre votre adversaire est ici. Il va falloir très bien, je vais l'envoyer là.
C'est pas mal ce montage. Avec un seul gaz, du coup, il fait 2 gates.
Et 2-3 beaux gaz.
Il met un Nexus.
Il y a un truc à noter, c'est que c'est 2-3 beaux gaz depuis le début.
Ouais. Bah, je pense qu'il y a eu vraiment le strict minimum sur les propres gaz qu'on a essayé de maximiser le minerai. Alors on cote un peu les propres pour faire ça, mais logiquement on devrait trouver l'opportunité d'infliger un peu de dégâts.
Alors, ici quelques ouvriers qui ont été produits, mais peu pour l'instant, déjà 8 lignes côté.
Ah, c'est bien. Les
sur
deux,
un speed. Oh,
nos deux génies font des unités tous les deux, encore une fois.
Ah, les games, putain, elles ont aucun sens. Elles ont aucun sens, c'est vrai, ici. On va partir sur du double adepte. Ce qui est bien, c'est que c'est vu de la part de
ah bah, tout là, il est content, hein. Bien avec tes deux adeptes, les 40 zerglings.
Il sait que ça. Ah non, mais c'est surtout, vas-y, traverse la carte, pense que c'est à poil et moi je vais être chez toi.
Bah ouais, je mange ton pylône et t'as perdu.
Tellement le plan de jeu simple et efficace.
Alors là,
il y a un adepte en prod qui a été shift click, enfin j'ai vu le point rouge, il le met entre les deux. Donc c'est cher.
Mais tu sais, s'il est tout ça, ça va pas le faire. Hein.
Il aura pas assez de copies.
Toilette comptile, qui est quand même, comment dire, les glaives résonnants qu'on trouve, ça semble être une upgrade relativement sensée. Merde. Ouais, il va voir. Après.
Tu rigoles, non? Ah non, t'as déjà trop de dégâts.
T'as pas d'énergie en fait. Bonjour. Coco Samida.
Oh, le double chrono qui est envoyé. On est obligé de voler derrière, d'accepter la carte de cet adepte.
Mais est-ce que ça peut le faire? Est-ce qu'on arrive à défendre ici? La speed est finie. Et les trous, avec la bagatelle de 20 zerglings à 3 minutes de jeu, va mettre une pression monstrueuse sur son adversaire. Cet adepte devrait sortir quand même, sereinement.
Il va sortir, mais la gate va peut-être tomber s'il insiste trop. Honnêtement, ça peut être intéressant de tuer la gate ici, obliger la reprendre ici.
Tuer le cyber, c'est bon. Alors.
Et ouais, ou tout le mall, le wall,
voilà,
ici. Ça va rentrer. Ça va rentrer.
Il y a de la speed. Ça hold. Ça c'est la porte.
Ah ouais, c'est bien fait. Hein.
Non, ça rentre.
Ouais, mais il n'y a pas beaucoup qui rentrent. Hein.
Alors, il n'y a pas beaucoup, mais il y a tout ça.
Oh, il a reposé un bâtiment. Et tu prends la gate.
Tu prends la gate et t'es rentré dans la main, c'est le bordel.
Oh, ça part en stack complet trou ici, qui est en train de mettre une grosse arnaque à trust là-dessus, qui est en train de rentrer. Oh, le bloc, trop bien fait. Trop bien fait, full surround par les probes. Mais attention, il y a eu de nouveau l'entrée, une deuxième gate. Il n'y a plus de production. Il n'y a plus de moyen de production. Il n'y a plus de moyen de production,
il n'y a plus de gate ici, il va falloir tout faire avec deux adeptes.
Et il y a un pylône surtout à buter dans le wall, hein. C'est tout.
Ouais, mais surtout avec les adeptes, là tu montes les. Tu montes les probes, une par une, tu vois que ça travaille pas ici, bon ça commence.
Trou pendant ce temps-là, tranquillement. Alors il y a beaucoup de mines à envoi, faudrait peut-être envoyer une H, B3, quelque chose comme ça.
Je pense que macro H, je peux pas donner.
Mais là, faut lol. En tout cas, le plan de trust derrière est simple. Bon, alors je finis les gates et je le bourre.
Ouais, j'ai 4 gates, j'ai pas devant. C'est parti à l'assaut.
Allez, attention, pour l'instant on continue à ramasser tranquillement les aliens qui tournent droite, gauche, dans la B1, dans la B2. On vient choper des proies un petit peu gratuitement, on peut pas vraiment prendre cette aide, c'est trop près de la batterie shield.
Je pense qu'on va plus prendre grand chose, peut-être cette proie, c'est déjà ça de près. Et c'est fini. Non, bon call de Rochwarren en vrai, que ce soit pour agresser ou pour défendre, le mec qui est parti sur. Ce qui ressemble sacrément à des glaives résonnants à ce moment-là quand tu vois warper encore des adeptes. C'est trop beau pour faire un
théorie, il le sait quoi.
Après, moi je suis pas sûr que Trou il l'attende. Hein. Il vient de débloquer 2 over. Rochwarren c'est fini.
Cafard.
T'en vas plein de cafards, puis ensuite tu fais des spinning, puis tu traverses la map encore parce que t'as un énorme sac quoi.
Ouais, parce que c'est bon, normalement il faut arrêter de pousser le nez dans les orties. Ce pylône doit mourir, ouvrir la porte à beaucoup de zerglings et permettre à Trou de revenir à 2-2 peut-être. Ici, alors, sans les zerglings, il y a des larves pourtant.
Ils arrivent, ils sont dans la prod. Ouais, non, moi j'aime bien Trou, c'est des plans de jeu, comment dire, d'une élégance, tout en simplicité. Voilà, c'est minimaliste.
C'est voilà, on fait une réflexion simple, efficace, comment tuer.
Ah, il a tué la trichine. Ah, il va le regretter. Hein.
Ça, c'est pas une bonne idée.
Hein. Ah, et puis là, Trou, il va. Oh lol. Il y a un trou. Oh.
Ah, il va remettre un premier wall, ok.
Ok, le labyrinthe.
C'est ça, exactement. Mais qui fait l'avantage de trust, de Trou plus que de trust, hein, je trouve vraiment. Ici. C'est qui Trust, donc c'était un remplaçant de KT Rollster à l'époque. Et pour tout ce qui a fait ses petits moves à des périodes, qui a réussi à faire ses petits top 32 en GSL, mais pas beaucoup d'historiques.
Alors ici c'est le mec qui a que des adeptes.
Voilà, tu sers le coup. Oh là là.
Oh là là, il y a tellement.
Oh, il va.
Cancel. Est-ce que t'arrives à l'encercler pour lui balancer des billes sur la gueule? Pas encore. Même pas besoin. No need.
Pour moi, tu tues les pilotes quand même. Oh, les profs. Oh là 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 ici.
Oh le strike.
Ah ouais, non. Ah, c'est.
Super. 10 points.
Ok. Et le prisme pour conclure. Ah, il manque un shot. C'est lui qui est parti sur le structure. Bon, c'est pas un immense problème, on peut se l'avouer.
J'ai mettrai un, il y a beaucoup.
Il y a BD aussi.
Il n'y a pas beaucoup de pylônes aussi. Voilà, le pylône qui reste une structure utile.
Ouais.
Vous savez, cette structure qui alimente vos moyens de production.
Telle une cuisse de poulet, ça lui permet de se déplacer.
GG ici, KFC.
Protect like.
Non, j'étais en train de rebondir. J'étais en train de parler de KFC.
Ça.
Bordel!
Ouais, mais j'ai pas eu confiance en moi, les gens. critique, il vrai.
Les gens, le chat te critique.
Ouais, c'est vrai, mais toi tu restes le bro.
Bah, évidemment.
Évidemment. Alors Imre, comment ça va? 2-2 entre Trust et True ici.
Bah écoute, moi, ça m'amuse.
C'est vrai.
Parce qu'en fait, ces games, on n'a aucun moyen de les voir ailleurs.
Ah non, mais ça c'est...
Quel game où les mecs font 20 workers et s'attaquent à fou. Tesla, qui était fort beau, dis-moi, pour ce super tournament.
Toujours, hein, mais Tesla, ce mec, il a un swag de ouf en vrai.
Ouais. Non, bien swaggy. Le père Tesla ici. Et la petite Trust et tout. Bien swaggy ici aussi, mais un seul pourra passer pour probablement se prendre une branlée en quart finale, mais quand même. Avancer en quart finale, déjà, ça serait une bonne performance pour un de ces deux joueurs qui a eu un peu de la chance d'être sidé.
Tout à fait. On peut aller in game, hein, Cosbyte, si t'as envie.
Voilà.
On y va directement, hein, pas le temps de niaiser ici. On est parti pour la dernière map entre Trust et True dans cette game qualificative pour les héros du quart de finale directement après.
Et du coup, en bas à gauche, True, le chercheur de vérité.
Ouais. À la recherche de comment maximiser toutes ces histoires. Et en haut à droite, l'ancien joueur qui était Holster, un peu inconnu, Trust.
Non. Le vieux Zergling, True et son prophète. Qu'est-ce qui se passe pour True? Pour l'instant, tout va bien. La déception est maximale.
Ouais, grave. On est trop dans le classique là pour l'instant, Imre.
Ouais, je suis tristesse. Je suis Charlie, tu vois. À l'idée de cette hache posée ici, sans aucune velléité agressive.
C'est ça, Trust. True qui perd un peu
son mojo.
Son mojo, sa passion en fait.
Nul.
Nul.
Retoqué. Repassez plus tard, monsieur Sou. Puisque voilà. True s'appelle Sou.
True s'appelle Tessou.
Ouais. Mais Sou ne s'appelle pas True. C'est là où est toute la subtilité.
Sou et True. Oui, d'accord. Putain, le mec qui complique l'engin de ouf.
Exactement. C'était pour voir si tu suivais, Coca.
Ouais, je suis.
Je sais que tu as bientôt fini cette longue période de ta vie. Qui s'appelle un cursus scolaire puis universitaire.
Ouais.
Mais il faut suivre.
Je sais, non, mais c'est parce que je suis en train de faire mes timers là sur est-ce que je commande mon. En fait, c'est comment je sens cette dernière map pour savoir si mon McDo va réussir à arriver pendant la pause ou pas, tu vois.
Tu l'as commandé?
Pas encore. Justement.
Commande.
Tu penses?
Ouais.
Non, mec.
Merci.
La livraison elle est en 6 minutes à peu près, je pense. Un truc entre. Allez, entre 8 et 10 minutes, tu vois. C'est chaud de Paris maintenant. Mais en vrai, c'est.
Pour l'instant, on est sur 10 minutes de game. Hein.
Ouais, vas-y, j'achète sur. Je vais pas surpasser la commande. Merci, le timer est bon.
C'est ça, sinon il m'insultera. Mais dans tous les cas, frites, je.
Arrivé dans 14 minutes.
Ah bon.
Ah, peut-être il craque. Hein.
Alors, pour l'instant, l'Ozer est sur de base. Je t'inquiète pas. Hein. Je t'inquiète pas, mais True il est sur de base. Ouais. Bon, il fait des droits. Tout va presque bien.
Aïe aïe aïe, j'ai l'impression d'un Big Mac froid. C'est un signe d'ailleurs, mais
voilà.
Froid.
C'est avec toi qu'on avait eu une aventure horrible, on s'est retrouvé coincé dans une game avec toute notre bouffe qui refroidissait.
Ouais, nos deux Maxi Best-of qui étaient à côté de nous en train de refroidir sur une game bien trop longue. C'était l'arc contre TY sur Ascension to Allure, non? C'est pas ça?
Il n'y avait pas un Lousiard dans l'équation qui refuse de mourir sur Odyssey?
Ah, peut-être, ouais.
Je sais plus, mais merci à toi.
Physique Factor.
Choix étonnant ici de P3, le parade de True. Ouais. Et pour l'instant, ça ressemble presque à une macro game.
Et ça, c'est plutôt cool.
Bah, vu le délai de ta bouffe, ouais.
Clairement. Alors.
2 adeptes. Attention que c'est là le moment où tu t'aperçois qu'il perd ta zone. Que du coup, il win. Et du moment du BO suivant, qui sera un petit Maro contre son, donc je peux te dire déjà que ta bouffe.
Il vaut mieux que ce soit maintenant qu'à la fin du prochain BO.
Elle sera comblée. Alors, les 2 adeptes, bon, au lieu de tuer 15 types, ils ont vu des Zerglings, mais en plus, c'est le nombre normal de Zerglings, pour ne pas se faire pigeon justement par les 2 adeptes.
Et ils se sont fait quand même choper méga gratuitement.
Hein. Ouais, c'est ça, ils sont morts pour rien.
Ils ont
que dalle.
Ouais, 2 lignes, c'est vraiment nul hein, comme résultat pour 2 adeptes. C'est un petit peu comme avoir travaillé ton bac de philo pendant 50 heures pour obtenir un 10 sur 20. Tu vois. Ouais, en soi, c'est validé, mais c'est vraiment pas bon.
Tu t'es dit qu'il aurait mieux aller expérimenter diverses sensations. Pendant ce temps, Starbadox, seulement 3 ans, vous êtes les meilleurs. Certains diront déjà 3 ans. Mais ça fait plaisir aussi de voir ta longue fidélité. Et Au-delà de gaming, moi ce qui me fait plus plaisir quand je vois tous ces gens, tu vois, qui ont plus de 36 mois, c'est de me dire qu'il y a des gens qui suivaient du coup l'e-sport sur StarCraft en 2015 et qui ont persévéré.
Et qui n'ont pas lâché, on laissait tourner l'abonnement parce qu'ils savaient qu'ils reviendraient aussi. Parce qu'il y a cette version-là, hein, tu fais un petit break de 3, 2, 6 mois, mais tu sais que tu reviendras dans 6 mois et tu soutiens le projet de toute façon.
Moi je cru trop, il fait ses sports quand il a vu l'oracle.
Ouais.
Ah, il y a un oracle sur ma base. Faisons des sports.
On annule les sports même. Ici, DB Kind pour le 3e mois. Wallé avec un H même. On va faire cette version un petit peu plus soufflée.
Un peu anglophone, tu vois le Wallé. Bien joué, trop. Personne n'avait vu venir ça. Genre, personne ne s'est dit, ce mec ne fait pas de sport, ça va mal se passer.
Et il a surtout annulé sa sport. Il s'est dit, non, là, j'ai calculé. Elle me fait penser à la game 3, celle-là.
Ah. La game 3, c'est la game
1.
Ouais, parce que la game 3, c'est la game de l'improbable.
Non, ça me fait penser à la game 1 où, genre, juste le trou, il a tout perdu sans jouer. Et on a un peu pareil, il y a 44 probes à 46 euros, c'est vraiment pas bon. J'ai fait des B3 d'ailleurs pour Trust, on a envoyé la Temple Archive avant la B3.
Ouais, bah je pense que contre tout, c'est pas la peine de se précipiter sur la B3 dès qu'une fois qu'il y a 21 minutes, c'est fait ta B3 et tes unités.
Complètement aléatoire. Ici, Abo reparti de 0, mais toujours là, merci à vous. Merci à toi, Malcura. Tu fais partie de mon équipe. Ça, c'est mon équipe. Merci à Ardensou pour tous ces 39 mois. Oh là là, king de la soirée. Mais moi aussi, genre au début, j'étais sub avec les 5 euros, tu vois, les 5-7 euros. Et je suis passé en prime et du coup, c'est reparti à 0 le compteur.
Ouais, mais c'est
triste quand même.
Tout le monde sait que tu es GM dans nos cœurs dans le chat.
Ouais, c'est ça, mais j'en ai pas des clones.
Uniquement dans le chat.
Et toi,
je le sais. Non, moi je sais pas. Je pense que Coca sera un GM.
Il y a moyen
d'ici l'été.
Il y a moyen si je craque pas que ça passe. Parce que c'est ce que j'expliquais aux autres tout à l'heure. Puisqu'il faut jouer à qui a le plus gros. 43. Oh là là.
Zelota. Attention, il y a Drelan Labrondaz qui arrive.
Attention, ouais, Drelan Labrondaz, on va voir comment c'est. 31, pas moi. J'ai que 2,5 mois, allez, merci les gars. N'hésitez pas à célébrer vos resubs, de toute façon, il faut les renouveler, il faut nous le signaler sur ce, ça fait toujours plaisir. Deus of Deus, ici pour le 1er mois, merci à toi poulet. C'est le prime, ça, merci.
Zeus, du coup, le dieu des dieux, comme ça, à voir si c'était ça la réponse.
Mon cas, Coca, 6 mois d'arrêt, mais toujours présent, GG mec, merci à toi Experion. Pareil que moi pour la Twitch Prime. Et putain, on n'arrive plus à raconter l'histoire.
Voilà, petit point, le Twitch Prime pensé.
Ah, le point ninja.
Voilà, point ninja. Si vous voulez que nous aussi on ait 240 000 subs, ce qui nous ferait plaisir.
Ouais.
Parce que clairement, je pense qu'on commenterait tous les jours dans ça.
Ouais, voilà, on ferait clairement
un petit Olympia par jour.
La Pax tous les jours.
Voilà, non, mais plus sérieusement, Twitch Prime, il faut penser à le renouveler tous les mois. Voilà, si vous avez envie de continuer à nous soutenir. Et pensez à l'utiliser tous les mois, dans tous les cas, même si c'est pas chez nous. C'est de l'argent qui est offert gratuitement par Twitch aux créateurs de contenu à partir du moment où vous avez Twitch Prime.
Ici, Claire Thomarbe qui t'écoute à la lettre, je sais pas, j'ai pas regardé dans le chat, mais merci pour tes 20 mois de resub aussi.
Alors.
Et putain, on racontait un truc. Ouais, voilà, en ce moment, je disais à table l'autre jour au Martin, j'ai atteint un niveau de conscience supérieur sur StarCraft 2, c'est-à-dire que quand je gagne bien et j'ai les yeux qui piquent à la fin. Attention ici.
Oh, il y a beaucoup.
Oh, il y a beaucoup pour le Protoss.
J'ai l'impression qu'il y a beaucoup d'hydras aussi. Et surtout, c'est que les queens en contact.
Oh.
Il y a tellement d'hydras.
C'est pas le bon timing pour ma bouffe, ça. Ça, c'est pas le bon timing pour ma bouffe, ça, Yuri.
Ah là là.
Oh là là.
Le pain froid.
Oh là là. Ouais, quoique, il est en train de défendre. Quoique, les hydras qui se font un peu défoncer en bas. Il y a un Arcon qui met des gros doigts d'honneur. Les Imo qui font leur tâche. C'est les sentries qui prennent des coups. Les Arlines qui arrivent par le bac. C'est vraiment pas mal fait ici de la part des deux joueurs. C'est chaud, c'est chaud, c'est chaud. Le prisme.
Non, le prisme qui meurt. Et du coup, tout va périr ici. Énorme défense de trou.
Okay.
Bah, trou est bien. Alors, est-ce que le trou peut prendre cette game désormais? C'est la vraie question. Avec ces hydras sans speed. Parce que très clairement, il fallait mieux faire plus d'unités. C'est un génie. En vrai, ce mec est complètement un génie.
En fait, moi j'aime bien, c'est que à quel niveau tu t'en fous.
Mec, il fait le regarder avant la speed.
En fait, il me fait presque penser à Maru pendant sa finale de GSL. Ouais, voilà, regardez.
5 racks, 1-1 aussi.
Voilà, sans Medivac. C'est bon quoi.
Swinap, tu as tout compris. On vous enverra une photo du D-Burger avec. Je sais pas si on a un thermomètre implanté dedans.
Ah non, bah au doigt.
Ouais.
Mais c'est moi qui le plante parce que j'ai pas envie de manger. Ah, mais bon, faut tout le monde avec le doigt. Moi je pense que c'est un concept. Alors mon plat arrive dans 4 minutes.
Tout va bien.
Sofiane qui est en train de pédaler, prends ton temps Sofiane, t'inquiète, la game n'est pas finie.
Black Angel 972 qui du coup suit depuis Confétude sur YouTube. Merci à toi Prodige007, on espère que ton espionnage se passe bien. As-tu comment t'as découvert le gaming et pour fait
Moi, c'est en fait. D'abord, j'ai découvert StarCraft 2 avec un pote qui m'a invité chez lui, un pote du collège.
Pas le Nord,
non, un pote du collège, qui me fait ouais mec, là c'est l'été, on est en été 2010, hein. Donc je passe en seconde en fait, c'est l'été de la 3ème à la seconde. Et il y a un pote qui m'invite chez lui qui me fait vas-y mec viens et tout, on va norder toute l'après-midi et tout. Donc ça c'est ce qu'on faisait, on arrivait à 3, on était 3 devant son ordi et on passait là, on faisait des parties d'Heroes Magic, voilà, Heroes of Mathematics, comme ça.
Le 3 du coup
le 4 qu'on a beaucoup poncé.
J'espère que tu vois le dessin là.
Ouais, j'ai senti, mais j'ai pas connu le 3. Et du coup, voilà. Et là, il me fait regarde, c'est StarCraft 2. Je fais StarCraft 2, putain, j'en ai jamais entendu parler. Enfin, j'avais joué au 1 et tout, mais lourd, ça RTS et tout, trop cool. Et on essaye. Et là, je pète un câble, mec. J'ai déjà eu le droit à mon message de reset, visiblement un bug. On me dit ouais, merci à toi, Bionix. Des fois, il y a des bugs sur le logiciel. Merci à toi, mec.
Du coup, pour fait-il.
Voilà, et là, j'arrive et je pète un câble. Et ma mère, elle me fait non, t'achètes pas de nouveaux jeux. Là, c'est la rentrée. T'attends là, tout ça. Putain, alors là, je lui demande des clés gratuites. Tu sais, il y avait des cartes.
Attends, Ronde 12, merci à toi pour ton bisou au Pignouf.
Merci. Ah ouais, c'est pour moi, c'est moi le Pignouf.
D'habitude, c'est moi qui prends l'ours, c'est quand je suis avec quelqu'un d'autre.
Et là, il me passe les cartes de d'essai gratuits d'une semaine ou de, je sais pas, 10 heures de jeu ou je sais pas là. Et j'essaie de taper des codes random sur Battle.net pour essayer de choper une carte et tout, tu vois. Et en ayant eu le droit, ce pass a déjà été utilisé, hein, ça pour dire combien j'en ai essayé. Et puis au final, et là je découvre qu'on fait tout, parce que forcément je tape sur internet et tout. Putain, StarCraft c'est trop lourd, et là je tombe sur la VOD numéro 2 de Confétude.
Ah oui, du coup, t'as lu à l'étalé ici, Trust qui est bien revenu en supply et qui met du rythme dans cette game. On a vu des run by the Zealot un peu partout, c'est génial. Le problème c'est que Trou arrive comme un bourrin sur la rampe, il pourrait recall, mais recall quoi? Bonne première storm, est-ce qu'il va pas tuer des lurkers avec des storms?
Il y a du boulot, mais ça peut arriver, hein, il suffit d'appuyer longtemps sur le bouton.
Par contre, pourquoi trouver le meilleur joueur de la planète?
Parce que le mec arrive à mettre des haches de la map en sentant venir l'arnaque.
Ouais, c'est ça. Alors, si on met stretch, je suis déjà prêt, mec. En plus, je fais des mutalisques.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a?
Il n'y a plus qu'à conclure. Il fait plus que ça des mutalisques et des drones d'ailleurs.
Il refait ses drones.
Ici.
Du coup, il a repris le bon lead de supply et surtout, il a pas empalé tous ses lurkers comme une merde dans les storms de son adversaire, ce qui aurait été un peu le pire test qu'il aurait réellement généré avec ce groupe de mutalisques. On va s'intéresser à leur devenir. Crime et châtiment vont-ils être rongés par la culpabilité et se précipiter sur un affront ou une storm, ou juste faire le taf?
Ici, on court après les phénix, les mutas qui sont bien sûr contrés par les phénix, mais bon, au bout d'un moment, dans le nombre, tu continues à faire ta vie, si jamais tu te fais piquer par 2 moustiques.
Trou, il est parti. Hein.
Ouais, Trou, il fait sa life. Hein.
Ah, Trou, il est là. Laisse-moi utiliser la mort.
Bon, et du coup, pendant ce harassement, est-ce que tu veux nous raconter comment toi, t'as découvert StarCraft?
Alors j'avais un pote en primaire qui m'avait parlé de StarCraft 1. Au collège, j'ai joué à Brothers, j'ai fait au moins, je dirais, 5 fois toutes les missions.
D'accord.
Et 5 parties sur Battle.net que j'ai toutes perdues.
Bien sûr. Et là, t'as tapé StarCraft 1 sur YouTube à cette époque-là ou pas?
Non, pas du tout. J'ai découvert ensuite via les forums de type l'e-sport sur StarCraft 1 sans jamais aller regarder parce que c'était compliqué et ça rend aussi.
C'est pas le moment où tu meurs là quand même. Regarde sur le côté, regarde à gauche, regarde à gauche, regarde à gauche, regarde à gauche ici. C'est les lurkers, ils sont où les lurkers? Ils me lurkent pas.
Trop gamin.
Ah ouais, d'accord, rien à foutre. Oh, regarde les stats qui bloquent plus de sauce par les protos. C'est terrible, ce qui est arrivé.
Il y a du split de mutalisques. Ou alors c'est juste des mutalisques à move dans tous les sens.
Je pense que c'est du move global. Il y en a sur 3 fronts des mutants, mais il est légère sur les 3 fronts, c'est ça qui est drôle.
Ouais, alors il est légère.
14 3 20.
13, 12, 11.
Trust, je crois que c'est le moment où tu t'es fait arnaquer, mec. Oh là là. Oh là
là.
Elle
va mourir.
Attends, et tu sais que ma commande de McDo arrive dans 1 minute. Genre, est-ce que c'était pas le perfect?
En tout cas, Trou, il a compris ce qui se passait. Du coup, il fait des spreads sur tous les deux.
J'ai pas de minute en vrai là.
Mais non,
c'est pas le moment où sur le compte je meurs.
Et ensuite, sur StarCraft 2, je pensais pas l'acheter. Je l'ai acheté Day One à ma Fnac locale, Trou qui est en train de faire mass spécialiste comme tu l'avais prédit bien plus tôt dans cette journée.
La Fnac de Grenoble.
Ouais, et en voulant progresser, j'ai eu la bonne idée d'utiliser le hotkey dès le début. J'utilisais déjà sur WoW, tu vois.
En grille.
Ouais, en grille.
Ouais.
Et j'ai fini par découvrir D9 puis Ponfétude avec une VOD dont je me souviens plus le nom, mais entre Sen et Tiello qui jouait Tern à l'époque avec des battlecruisers à DPF, c'était du coup bien trop stylé sur Culas Ravine.
Trop classe.
À l'époque. Une belle map de merde. Vous connaissez le Zer qui est prêt en défense?
Oh merde, c'est immonde ça. Oh là 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 là.
Alors,
c'est toxique.
3, 2, 1.
Il en reste une quelque part. cliques là sur un petit. Allez là, bah tu l'as souligné. La mise du gaz.
T'inquiète, attends.
Il a vu le bazar, il a fait ok.
Trou.
C'est terminé.
L'arnaqueur. Trou le winner ici qui du coup avance. On a déjà eu précédemment l'avancée de Dark Imperial face au live et là Trust.
Bah, c'est les yeux qui grattent. Hein.
Ouais, c'est dur pour Trust. Du coup, la bouffe de coca arrive. Mais
alors, non, mais regarde bien. Le vélo est en route, donc là.
On va tenir un peu.
Il faut qu'on tienne à peu près 1 minute 30. Voilà, débrief.
C'est ça.
Et d'ailleurs, c'est l'occasion de vous parler de quelque chose d'extrêmement cool. Cosby, est-ce que tu peux nous passer le petit tweet dont on parlait tout à l'heure, mon bro? Oui. Donc, pour le scan, les amis, on a prévu une rubrique. Le scan arrive bientôt. Après Nation Wars, il y aura un nouveau scan, l'édition 2. Elle va être beaucoup plus travaillée que la précédente, elle va être beaucoup plus complète, beaucoup plus de rubriques, ça va être très très cool. Et dans le scan numéro 2, eh ben, il va y avoir un petit best-of communautaire dans lequel on veut vous mettre sous les spotlights, vous mettre un peu sous les lumières, avec vos moves, vos performances en ladder. Et donc, on a envie que vous nous envoyiez vos replays sur le mail cocareplays@gmail.com. Vous nous envoyez vos meilleurs moves en ladder, vous nous envoyez le replay, le timer bien sûr, parce que j'ai pas envie de regarder vos games de 25 minutes chacun votre tour, j'ai envie d'avoir le moment où c'est cool, les 10 secondes qui suivent et c'est tout. Et on en fera une petite compile, vous avez peut-être j'espère que vous serez nombreux à vous envoyer, à envoyer vos replays, comme ça je pourrais pas tous les prendre, tu vois. Si je peux pas tous les prendre, c'est-à-dire que c'est un succès, que vous m'avez tous envoyé vos replays, et on en fera une rubrique de 5 minutes à peu près pendant le scan.
C'est ça. Est-ce que je peux t'envoyer toutes mes meilleures nuques pendant
Tu
une
pourras
semaine?
m'envoyer ta nuque, Imre, tu fais partie de la communauté.
Ok, parfait. Voilà. Je vais le faire une semaine avec 10 replays et le timing de toutes les nukes qui tuent le plus drôle. Il
n'y en aura qu'une, choisis la meilleure.
Mais non.
Oh, il m'appelle. Ok les gars, il y a ma bouffe. A tout de suite, là dans 5 minutes sur GSL.